Kill them outright. Yi Chuan ordered, flinging steel spikes that shot forth in rapid succession. After all, monkeys were among the most troublesome creatures, if not eliminated. They would harass the island for an extended period. With Yi Chuan's command, the group unleashed their full fury, engaging in a one-sided massacre. Yet, a sense of bewilderment lingered. These were merely ordinary monkeys. Crushing them felt akin to squashing large ants, lacking any semblance of challenge. However, these monkeys seemed to engage in a frenzied, suicidal charge, relentlessly attacking despite their certain demise. Within mere minutes, the ground was nearly blanketed by the bodies of these creatures. Suddenly, as the last monkey collapsed, a thunderous rumble echoed from afar, causing the towering trees to sway violently. Then, a colossal ape emerged before everyone. They had previously encountered silverback gorillas, yet this giant was nearly twice their size. Is this the mastermind behind it all? The young dragon asked in astonishment. What on earth is this creature? It's enormous. It's a boo's ape, Yi Chuan replied. This species had long been extinct on Blue Star, known for its rugged skin and immense combat prowess. At that moment, it glared furiously at the crowd, poised to strike at any moment. Yi Chuan solemnly instructed everyone. Step back for now. Allow me to gauge its strength. With a thunderous roar, the boo's ape charged forward, crashing violently into Yi Chuan. He harnessed absolute gravity, meeting its charge head-on. A resounding boom echoed as two titanic forces collided, creating a faint shockwave that sent the small plants on the ground trembling. The boo's ape was knocked back several paces, crashing into a tree that could be embraced by 5 or 6 people, causing it to sway. Although Yi Chuan only staggered back 4 or 5 steps, he was nonetheless taken aback by the ape's immense power. After evolving the sea turtle, his absolute gravity had reached a staggering 250 tons, yet he hadn't sent the creature flying far and had been pushed back himself. Was the strength of this boo's ape truly excessive? Come on, you got this. The young dragon cheered from the sidelines. Yi Chuan narrowed his eyes, a cold snort escaping his lips as he advanced with a great sword, preparing to attack the boo's ape again. The ape roared, pounding its chest in fury, meeting Yi Chuan's assault head-on. With a resounding thud, its fist struck the sword, diverting Yi Chuan's powerful slash-off course. This left Yi Chuan astonished. He realized he could no longer rely solely on brute strength, but needed to incorporate agility into his combat strategy. The boo's ape exhibited a remarkable level of intelligence. Despite Yi Chuan's constant maneuvering around it, the creature adeptly parried his attacks. In that moment, it was as if two skilled combatants were engaged in a thrilling exchange. Unbeknownst to them, the young dragon had procured a crossbow from somewhere and, seizing the opportunity while the boo's ape was distracted, pulled the trigger. With a loud thump, the bolt struck the boo's ape. However, the creature's skin was so thick that it merely bounced off upon impact. Slowly, the boo's ape turned its head, casting a cold glare at the young dragon. Even when Yi Chuan's blade struck its back, it paid no heed. It felt insulted. If the young dragon had wielded a heavy crossbow or a cannonball, it would have been one thing, but to use a puny bolt was nothing short of a humiliation. The great ape was filled with fury, and the consequences were dire. Brother, what has happened to this fellow? Xiao Feilong inquired softly, swallowing hard as he sensed the heavy malevolence and rage emanating from the colossal creature, as if it were poised to unleash its wrath and rend him to pieces. I am uncertain, but you must exercise caution, Yi Chuan cautioned in a hushed tone. With a thunderous roar, the Bu clan's great ape bared its fearsome fangs and charged toward Xiao Feilong. Oh my! Xiao Feilong turned on his heels and fled. He did not consider himself a match for the mighty ape, which could easily hold its own against his elder brother. Adhering to the age-old wisdom of evasion, he resolved to flee. The Bu clan's great ape, disregarding Yi Chuan and the others, relentlessly pursued Xiao Feilong, causing several towering trees to sway violently in its wake. No one comprehended why the great ape had succumbed to madness due to a single crossbow bolt. After a brief circuit, Xiao Feilong found himself once again before the group. Stand aside, Yi Chuan commanded, drawing forth his desert eagle. Upon hearing this, Xiao Feilong darted to the side, while Yi Chuan swiftly pulled the trigger. The gunshot reverberated, and the bullet pierced the great ape's hide, embedding itself within its chest. Yet, this did not halt its advance. Rather, it seemed to incite an even greater frenzy. What have you done to it, brother? Xiao Feilong shrieked, leaping to embrace a massive tree and swiftly ascending its trunk. The Bu clan's great ape followed suit, climbing after him, leaving the onlookers in utter astonishment. System, why is it so intent on pursuing Xiao Feilong? Yi Chuan finally posed the question that had piqued his curiosity. It is possible that the Bu clan's great ape perceives a duel with you as a challenge for supremacy. Xiao Feilong's interference has disrupted the fairness of your competition, thus inciting the ape's wrath, the system elucidated. So that is the case. Yichuan realized, understanding that the great ape believed it was vying for leadership against him. However, having just shot it, he felt somewhat intimidated. Hey, big fella! Yichuan bellowed. Hearing the call, the Bu clan's great ape turned sharply. Yichuan then produced a large cup of monkey wine, exclaiming, "Care to give it a taste?" As if enticed by the aroma of the wine. The great ape abandoned its pursuit of Xiao Feilong, leaping down from the towering tree and curiously inspecting the cup. Under Yichuan's guidance, it promptly lifted the cup and took a sip. Instantly, the great ape became exhilarated. After consuming 500 milliliters, it began to shake its cup enthusiastically at Yichuan, who obliged by pouring another cup for the creature. After drinking, the Bu clan's great ape unexpectedly knelt before Yichuan, extending a hand. Yichuan was taken aback, suddenly recalling a scene from a movie where such an action signified submission. He quickly traced a line across the palm of the ape's hand. The hostility emanating from the giant ape dissipated instantaneously as it stood beside Yichuan, resembling a humble servant. This unexpected turn of events left everyone in utter astonishment. Was it truly this effortless? Just moments ago, they were locked in a fierce battle, and now, due to a mere bottle of monkey wine, it had submitted? It seemed almost absurd. Yichuan, equally taken aback, chuckled and remarked, "Very well, henceforth, you shall assist me in managing this forest." The giant ape appeared to comprehend his words, nodding in agreement, pointing at the gunshot wound on the ape's chest. Yichuan felt a twinge of awkwardness. The giant ape, however, remained remarkably composed. Powerful muscles surged forth across its chest, and with a sudden spray of blood, the bullet was expelled alongside the crimson torrent. As its muscles contracted, the wound miraculously closed, halting the bleeding. What a remarkable recovery. Impressive. Yichuan nodded in approval. Let us meander through the woods, and afterward, I shall bring you more monkey wine in a few days. The giant ape enthusiastically nodded, its excitement palpable at the mere mention of wine. This made Yichuan reflect on the simplicity of animal minds, particularly those of gluttonous creatures. Its behavior was reminiscent of a voracious mermaid. Fortunately, the giant ape refrained from troubling the little flying dragon, and despite the bemused expressions of the group, they strolled about with the giant ape accompanying them. Indeed, the presence of such a formidable creature kept the birds and smaller animals at bay. Some little birds, foraging nearby, fainted at the mere proximity of the giant ape, illustrating the formidable aura it exuded. After more than an hour, the group departed the forest. And to Yichuan's surprise, the giant ape waved goodbye with a hint of reluctance. Suddenly, a mechanical voice echoed in his mind. "Congratulations, host, for subduing an A-level terrestrial creature. A lucky gift package awaits. Would you like to open it?" Yichuan's expression shifted with intrigue. It appeared that even in sparing the creature's life and simply subduing it, a reward was granted. "Open it," he exclaimed with delight. "Opening successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of nutrient solution, 1 weapon enhancement card, and 1 triple enhancement card. Marvelous, what a delightful surprise." Yichuan exclaimed. "Tomorrow, could you procure 500 milliliters of monkey wine for me? I wish to deepen our bond." Upon exiting the woods, the little flying dragon could not help but voice its concerns, fearing the giant ape might come to strangle it in its sleep. "Come now, it's not that dire," Yichuan retorted, somewhat exasperated. "I have already communicated with it. It will not leave the forest without my command. Besides, do you think this monkey wine is trivial? I initially secured 100 liters, and I've already consumed nearly half." However, upon reflection, Yichuan suddenly recalled that on that island, the Monkey King, the black-faced leaf monkey, was classified as an S rank by the system. Yet, its prowess seemed inferior to that of a B rank lion he had encountered previously. Could it be that the ranking of terrestrial creatures was not solely determined by strength? Take for instance the cunning ferret, which possessed minimal power yet was classified as C rank, surpassing the more formidable D rank wind chaser wolf. Unable to fathom this conundrum, Yichuan decided to set it aside for the moment. The next time he encountered an S rank terrestrial creature, he would have the system conduct an analysis. "Brother, is the danger averted? Can we go in and take a look?" At that moment, Blueberry Jam approached, linking arms with Lu Yewei, her face beaming with curiosity. "Of course you can, but beware. There is a giant ape over 3 meters tall inside." Liang Honging spoke first. "If you think you can take it on, go right ahead." "Is that for real?" Blueberry Jam exclaimed in astonishment. "Absolutely true. We would never deceive you about this," Xiao Feilong replied earnestly. "We defeated many little monkeys. But when that enormous bushy giant ape appeared, we could not withstand its might and had to retreat. In an instant, the others nodded in agreement, fully endorsing Xiao Feilong's words. Then we shall not enter. Blueberry Jam shrank back, clutching Lu Yue's arm, and hurriedly retreated. This prompted a chorus of laughter from the group. The sea turtle aimlessly traversed nearly 1,000 nautical miles, yet remained devoid of any activity. Yichuan glanced once more at the public chatroom of the foreign district, seeking information regarding mineral resources. Have you all noticed? Yesterday, I discovered a massive island not far from me, spanning a full square kilometer. I initially found it in the morning, but after breakfast, to my astonishment, it had vanished. It reappeared at noon, only to disappear again shortly after. Is that even possible? Come on, are you joking? An island that appears and disappears at intervals? That's quite something, and it even changes location. After the last disappearance, it has not reappeared at all. What do you all think this island signifies? Observing the comments, Yichuan immediately inquired, My friend, has the island been consistently near you? It was within my vicinity for at least a day. After it vanished in the afternoon. It has completely disappeared, came the prompt reply. Yichuan pressed his lips together, contemplating. Although uncertain whether the individual was truthful, gathering information seemed prudent. After all, should he encounter it, he would have a day to explore. Hidden task detected. Would the host like to accept? Just as Yichuan was about to venture out, the system suddenly announced. What hidden task? Yichuan inquired, filled with excitement. Please tell me. The system responded. The host must locate the lost tribe within 72 hours to receive a substantial reward. Do you accept? Yichuan was taken aback. A lost tribe? What could that possibly entail? The host may choose to accept or decline. The system continued. Shouldn't you provide some explanation regarding what this lost tribe signifies before I make my decision? The lost tribe once belonged to a clan from a forgotten continent in the oceanic realm. Due to a fierce conflict with a rival tribe, they were forced onto a drifting island, subsequently wandering the various corners of the ocean world, yearning to find the elven sword and return to their lost continent for vengeance. The system offered a brief elucidation on the lost tribe. I accept, though perplexed as to why the system assigned this task to him. Yichuan felt compelled to acquiesce. It was a reluctant choice indeed. Detection confirms the host has accepted the hidden mission. Please complete it as soon as possible. The system promptly replied. Yichuan speculated that the elusive island mentioned by that fellow in the chatroom, which appeared and vanished, was indeed the drifting island, where the lost tribe surely resided. He hoped for a stroke of luck to encounter it within the 72-hour window. Otherwise, the mission would undoubtedly end in failure. 72 hours? Why not simply say 3 days? Yichuan thought, promptly informing the dolphin and the trio of little ones about the mission, urging them to inform him immediately should they make any discoveries. After all, the island would disappear roughly every half hour if they did not act swiftly. Completing the task would indeed be a daunting challenge. At that moment, Yichuan chose not to dwell on the matter further. The probability of independently locating the tribe was slim. He could only hope it would serendipitously appear before him. After finishing lunch, Yichuan glanced at the public chatroom of the Jiuzhou region, wary of his mineral resources being discovered. However, after a brief observation, he noted that the discussions were trivial. He could not help but inquire, has anyone found mineral resources? Found a load of nonsense. The ocean floor is far too deep. My miniature submarine simply cannot reach it. This predicament was somewhat ambiguous. Perhaps some prominent figures had indeed uncovered resources but were keeping it to themselves. Regardless of their findings, he could only assert, I have not found anything. Damn, how hypocritical. Yichuan felt that none of these individuals spoke truthfully. Perhaps some had indeed succeeded, but he remained unaware. After contemplating, Yichuan promptly constructed 5 flying machines, equipped with automatic shooters. After setting the coordinates, he dispatched them swiftly toward their destinations. These flying machines could reach their furthest points within 24 hours at full speed. The day quickly came to a close. That evening, Yichuan retired to his room early to rest. This day was particularly exhilarating, especially the battle with the gigantic ape of the Bu clan. Even now, Yichuan finds himself reminiscing about it, not solely due to its formidable strength, but primarily because he has now acquired a powerful combat force of his own. Even when confronting S-rank terrestrial creatures, one could say it would be a trivial matter. Detection indicates the host has yet to check in. Would you like to check in? Unconsciously, the system's voice roused Yichuan from his thoughts. With his eyes still closed, he replied, check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1,000 evolution points and the blueprint for a long-range speedboat. The system promptly responded. A long-range speedboat? Yichuan immediately examined the details, discovering it to be a massive vessel capable of accommodating 10 individuals, equipped with a colossal super battery, boasting a maximum range of up to 10,000 nautical miles and a top speed of 300 knots, along with a formidable weapon system. This speed was astonishing. It nearly rivaled that of a high-speed train. Elated, Yichuan wasted no time in crafting it, subsequently storing it in the system's inventory for future use. Afterward, Yichuan proceeded to the living room and glanced at the screens of several small flying devices. The sea was calm, and it appeared they had not been detected. However, upon viewing the last combustible ice mine, he furrowed his brow. On the coordinate sea surface, there loomed a massive assault ship. It was evident that this vessel intended to engage in a prolonged battle at this location, awaiting the opening of the novice zone to allow the family or faction behind them to arrive. Yet, clearly, their scheme was destined for failure. Chapter 251, Eliminating Threats, Racing Against Time. The automatic shooter was fully loaded, and a single burst could easily eliminate the island lord aboard the ship. Immediately, Yichuan began maneuvering the small flying device in search of targets, quickly locating 3 individuals dining in the ship's control room. However, the cabin's glass was bulletproof, and the bullets from the automatic shooter might not necessarily penetrate the glass to eliminate them. Yet, waiting for them to exit the cabin was not an option. If they left the cabin, it was uncertain whether all 3 would emerge simultaneously. Thus, even if one were killed, if the others remained inside, it would yield no benefit. Triple amplification card. After contemplating, Yichuan inquired, "System, if I use a triple amplification card on the controller, will it also amplify the external flying device and the automatic shooter?" "Yes," came the system's affirmative response. Without hesitation, Yichuan activated a triple amplification card. At that moment, the little flying dragon emerged, observing Yichuan's actions with keen interest. "Big brother, what is going on? A mining resource has been occupied by others, and I intend to eliminate them," Yichuan replied in a low tone. "I'm skilled at this. Let me handle it." The little flying dragon, with a glimmer of excitement, immediately took the controller, aimed at the 3 dining individuals, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Within the confines of the cabin, 3 individuals dined while engaged in lively conversation. What a delightful surprise. We have indeed stumbled upon great fortune, effortlessly discovering this mineral deposit. Thank the heavens. One remarked. "Brother, I fear we are being too ostentatious. After all, a large vessel anchored here will surely raise suspicions. We ought to submerge," another suggested. "Indeed, what the second brother says holds merit. We possess a small submarine, and it would be quite comfortable for the 3 of us inside." The eldest agreed. "Then it is settled. After our meal, we shall retreat to the submarine and let this grand ship drift with the tides." Suddenly, a cacophony of gunfire erupted, shattering the bulletproof glass. Bullets fell like rain, and before they could comprehend the situation, they were left riddled with holes. In an instant, the large ship began its slow descent into the depths, and within mere seconds, a whirlpool formed on the surface, restoring an eerie tranquility to the surroundings. "How exhilarating!" exclaimed the young dragon, bursting into laughter. "Brother, nothing compares to the thrill of firing bullets. A single magazine, and everything that needed to be silenced has been silenced." "That is indeed true. But firearms are effective only against ordinary island lords. Once we delve into the oceanic realm and encounter seasoned island lords, their prowess will be formidable, and we shall likely have to resort to melee combat," replied Yichuan with a shrug. "You make a valid point," the young dragon conceded after a moment of contemplation. "Let us return," Yichuan declared, taking control of the small aircraft for their journey back. Not to mention, having utilized a triple amplification card, this aircraft, now paired with automatic weaponry, has become exceedingly powerful. Perhaps it will serve us well in the future. A day swiftly passed, and by the following day, Yichuan had yet to catch a glimpse of the elusive drifting island. 40 hours gone, and not a single clue. He lamented after lunch, his lips twitching in frustration. Could it be that this hidden quest truly eludes me? Contemplating further, he perused the public chat room of the foreign region, finding no mention of the island. He promptly inquired, "Brothers, have any of you spotted the elusive disappearing island? Don't mention it. I actually found it yesterday and intended to explore, but it vanished a mere half-hour later, and I had only traversed half the distance." One replied, "I haven't seen it either. Are you all just boasting about a mythical island?" Another retorted, "I've yet to lay eyes on it. I shall reserve judgment on its authenticity." Reading these messages, Yichuan felt exasperated. They were utterly unhelpful. As evening fell, news from Wankai suddenly brightened his spirits. An island had appeared within its sight. Yichuan was overjoyed. If he failed to locate the island today, the likelihood of failing the hidden task would increase dramatically. However, to his dismay, this island lay over 140 nautical miles away. Even the swiftest among them would require an hour to reach it. How could they proceed? set sail for the distant shores. Yichuan, with a sudden spark of inspiration, exclaimed, "You Gu, Hong Ying, Xiao Fei Long, come with me onto the speedboat. We have work to do. Lu Shuai, you stay here with the two girls and keep watch. If danger arises, simply use the cannon, fish guns, or crossbows." With that, he swiftly led the three onto the speedboat. Once it roared to life, he navigated it towards the island, guided by his connection with Wang Kai. The speedboat was equipped with a sleek, bullet-shaped glass shield, rendering the fierce winds imperceptible despite its blistering speed, though the roar of the engine was quite loud. Xiao Fei Long was once again taken aback. "Big brother, when did you acquire this speedboat? It's astonishingly fast." Naturally, Yichuan shrugged. If it weren't fast, it wouldn't be called a speedboat. His words left Xiao Fei Long momentarily embarrassed. Yichuan urged the vessel onward, and in a mere 20 minutes, he caught sight of the island's silhouette, approximately a nautical mile away. "TMD, please don't vanish now." Yichuan clenched his teeth, eyes wide open, pushing the speedboat to its limits, yet he felt it still lacked that final push. Moments later, as they approached within 200 meters of the island, it began to slowly fade from view, infuriating Yichuan to the brink of cursing. It was akin to spotting a mountain of gold 100 meters away, having traversed 99 meters only to find the last meter vanished. What sort of nonsense was this? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Yichuan activated the speedboat's weapon systems. Bullets, resembling rays of light, unleashed an onslaught upon the island. Originally, this was merely an expression of his frustration at being unable to land, but to his surprise, the targeted area didn't disappear entirely. Instead, a circular patch, roughly 5 meters in diameter, remained visible, albeit temporarily, and even under the intense firepower, it slowly began to close. "Go!" Yichuan shouted, charging into the remaining gap as the circle shrank to just over a meter in diameter. In that instant, the speedboat was reduced to half its original size. Yet fortune smiled upon them as all four were still seated. Otherwise, their safe entry onto the island would have been uncertain. Chapter 252, SS-class terrestrial creature. The Shadow Panther. "Wow, that was exhilarating." Xiao Fei Long laughed with delight. "Big brother, so this is what it feels like to race against time." Yichuan's pounding heart gradually settled as he remarked seriously, "Thankfully, we had this speedboat. Otherwise, we would never have dreamed of reaching the drifting island today." "Drifting island?" Xiao Fei Long asked, puzzled. It was then that they finally had the opportunity to observe the island. It was now evening. The sun had set. Yet this island remained bathed in daylight, with the sun hanging high above, as if it belonged to a different dimension from the oceanic world. This island is immense. To put it into perspective, 1 square kilometer equates to 1 million square meters, which is nearly equivalent to close to 100 turtle islands, stretching endlessly beyond sight. Xiao Fei Long could not help but swallow hard, whispering, "Brother, do you feel a shiver running down your spine? Is it not rather eerie?" Yichuan retorted, "What about you?" Xiao Fei Long pouted and extended his arm. Indeed, his hair stood on end, an astonishing sight, though he was the only one among the four to experience such a sensation. The others exhibited no symptoms at all. "What on earth is going on? Why am I the only one feeling this way?" Xiao Fei Long exclaimed in disbelief. "Perhaps you share a connection with this island," Liang Hongying remarked casually. "Brother, do we have a specific mission for coming to this island?" "We are in search of a lost tribe," Yichuan replied with a slight smile. "What is a lost tribe?" The others looked on, bewildered. Yichuan then proceeded to share the details of the hidden quest, leaving the trio utterly astonished, for such tales were entirely new to them. Even the veteran island lords were unaware of this so-called lost continent. If this drifting island is already so vast, then the lost continent must be at least dozens or even hundreds of times larger. Could it, like this island, intermittently appear and vanish? However, such considerations were not their immediate concern. Their priority was to locate the lost tribe. Without further ado, the four set off on their journey. This island boasts towering mountains, expansive plains, flowing rivers, and dense forests, resembling the natural island belonging to Lu Yan's family, yet it is over 200 times larger. The group searched tirelessly for over 10 hours, yet they encountered no sign of humanity. Xiao Fei Long, feeling disheartened, remarked, "Brother, we've been searching for quite some time now. I suspect we have explored all the likely places, yet still no trace. Are we perhaps on the wrong island?" Yichuan, too, felt a twinge of doubt. But according to the system's description, this should indeed be the island in question. Surely, they could not be hiding underground. Damn it, this island is inhabited solely by our kind. Why would they hide beneath the ground? Forget it, let us eat first. Yichuan replied with a slight shake of his head, glancing at the sun still hanging high in the sky. He retrieved several roasted wild chickens and some monkey wine from the system's inventory, and they sat in the woods, indulging in their meal. However, just as they had consumed half, they were startled by a violent panting sound, reminiscent of a massive bellows. The four furrowed their brows and turned toward the depths of the forest, only to behold a colossal black panther emerging slowly from the thicket. This panther stood over a meter tall and stretched more than 3 meters in length, its glossy coat gleaming, exuding a presence that surpassed even that of the formidable Boo family giant ape. Beware, for this black panther is at least an A-grade terrestrial creature. Yichuan immediately whispered a warning, drawing his desert eagle, poised for a shot. The black panther confronted the four men, a mere 10 meters away, for over a minute before it suddenly swayed and vanished from sight. Where did it go? Little Flying Dragon inquired suspiciously. No sooner had he spoken than the panther leaped from the shadows, launching itself directly at him. In that instant, Little Flying Dragon felt a chill. It was no wonder that he alone among the four had his hair standing on end. The danger was lurking right before him. With no time to evade, he unsheathed his mountain knife and charged headlong at the panther. Little Flying Dragon, Yichuan shouted, firing 3 shots at the beast. The next moment, the panther struck Little Flying Dragon, sending him sprawling. Even though he was clad in a bulletproof t-shirt, a deep gash was torn across his chest. Damn it, he lamented as he lay on the ground, overwhelmed by despair. What misfortune! He could not defend himself. This t-shirt, supposedly so resilient, had been effortlessly sliced by the creature's claws. Was it his fate to perish? Moreover, the 3 bullets he had fired merely ricocheted off the panther, their tips crushed upon impact. As the bullets struck, they diverted the panther's attention toward Yichuan, its emerald eyes fixating on him with a predatory coldness, as if ready to rend him apart in the next heartbeat. What the hell? Yichuan exclaimed, gazing at the creature. System, what is this thing? Underworld panther. SS-grade terrestrial creature, peak adult form, measuring 3 meters in length, impervious to blades and bullets, its claws capable of slicing through any material. The system promptly elucidated. By heavens! Yichuan's expression shifted dramatically. System, did you not say that the maximum creature grade in the novice area is S? How can an SS-grade entity appear? The host is currently not in the novice area of the oceanic world, but rather in an alternate dimension. The system clarified. Yichuan was at a loss for words. Then how can I defeat it? Impossible to defeat, act wisely. The system replied tersely before falling silent. Yichuan was left bewildered. Damn it, are you trying to push me to my doom? As the underworld panther crouched, readying for battle, Yichuan ceased his chatter, gripping his long knife and activating a 3-fold enhancement card on it. The blade instantly became over 300 pounds in weight, its sharpness tripled, gleaming under the sunlight. Sensing the change in Yichuan's weapon, the panther's eyes flashed with a hint of wariness, and it became increasingly agitated, letting out a growl before charging at him. The sheer velocity of the creature was such that even Yichuan, enhanced in agility, struggled to keep pace. In that moment, he could not afford to hesitate. He unleashed absolute gravity while simultaneously deploying an air blast to strike its face, propelling himself forward to collide with the beast. It is either your demise or mine. The massive blade, weighing over 300 pounds, became exceedingly burdensome under the influence of absolute gravity, slicing through the air with a resounding crack as Yichuan advanced towards the spectral leopard. Chapter 253, Discovering the Lost Tribe, Task Accomplished. Thud. The long blade collided with the leopard's body, producing an ear-splitting sound, immediately followed by Yichuan crashing into it. Although the spectral leopard is an SS-level terrestrial creature, Yichuan's strength, amounting to 250 tons, combined with his innate power, likely surpassed 500 tons. The sudden gust of air struck the leopard's face, causing its eyes to squint and its claws to lose precision. Then, man and beast collided. The spectral leopard let out a wail before being sent flying, crashing into 3 massive trees, each capable of being embraced by 5 men, and lay on the ground, momentarily incapacitated. Yichuan, too, was dazed from the impact. His long blade fell to the ground, deeply embedded in the earth. He knelt on one knee, gasping for breath, his condition far from ideal. Fortunately, the SS-level creature was not excessively powerful, comparable only to an A-level Bushi giant ape. Otherwise, he would have struggled to send this beast flying. Most importantly, the wound inflicted by the blade on its chest, though imperceptible from the outside due to its impressive defenses, must have caused internal damage. Following Yichuan's subsequent assault, the spectral leopard suffered a second injury, compounding its suffering. After taking a moment to recover, Yichuan chuckled as he stood, brandishing his long blade and beckoning to the spectral leopard. Beast, let us continue. Oh woo. The spectral leopard screamed and turned to flee. Though its speed remained swift, it stumbled, confirming Yichuan's suspicions that it was indeed gravely injured. 3 minutes passed, and upon confirming the leopard's departure, Yichuan finally sank to the ground, forcefully swallowing the blood that threatened to choke him. He retrieved S-grade freshwater and gulped down several mouthfuls, feeling his breath ease considerably. A few companions were gathered around the little flying dragon, who appeared truly miserable. The wound on its chest was horrifying, and it seemed to be in a state of utter exhaustion, as if on the brink of death. "Brother, I may not survive," the little flying dragon lamented upon seeing Yichuan. "Enough of that nonsense," Yichuan retorted sharply, pouring S-grade freshwater over the little flying dragon's wound, ensuring at least 500 milliliters was delivered to its mouth. "As long as I am here, it will be difficult for you to perish. I have witnessed the miraculous power of this water," Liang Hongying interjected. "Though we may not notice its effects in our daily lives, its true utility reveals itself in times of injury." In a mere 5 minutes, to the astonishment of all present, the wound on the little flying dragon's chest began to heal gradually. Its condition also began to improve. At the 10th minute, the little dragon finally managed to sit up on its own, turning its head to spit out a mouthful of blood before letting out a long sigh. "Brother, it's truly not easy. I thought we were facing certain doom. Why all this talk of life and death?" Yichuan, with a hint of irritation, landed a playful punch on the little dragon's shoulder. "You're 19 now. Aren't you embarrassed?" "Ouch," the little dragon lamented while cradling its shoulder. 19 is merely the threshold of adulthood. I'm still a child." "Enough of that." Laughter erupted among the group. "Let us continue our search. We'll follow that Black Panther. Perhaps the surprise lies ahead." "Perhaps," Zhao Feiyu shrugged lightly, "but everyone be cautious. With such a formidable Black Panther around, there may be other terrifying entities lurking." Nods of agreement rippled through the group, their vigilance heightened. 2 more hours. Yichuan muttered through clenched teeth, realizing why the system measured time in hours rather than days. Precision was paramount. Otherwise, the hidden mission might become unachievable. "Look," Lu Shuai whispered, pointing ahead. Before them lay numerous adobe huts, constructed with thatch, scattered in an organized manner, estimated to be around 50 or 60. The Black Panther lay among the earthen structures, appearing listless, a testament to the grievous blow Yichuan had dealt it. "Whoa!" someone exclaimed, startled. Suddenly, a cacophony erupted as hundreds of individuals surged from the huts, wielding makeshift weapons fashioned from wood and stone. The sheer force of their appearance startled even them. "Is this the Lost Tribe?" Yichuan's expression shifted. Detected that the host has located the Lost Tribe. Hidden mission completed. Surprise gift pack obtained. Would you like to open it? With this announcement, the system's voice echoed in Yichuan's mind. Overjoyed, he promptly replied, "Open it. Opening surprise gift pack. Congratulations, host. You have received 1 evolution value pack, 1 resource pack, 1 magical pill, 1 elven sword, 5 body enhancement potions. Quite a good haul." Yichuan mused as he observed the Lost Tribe encircling the 4 of them. He immediately consumed the magical pill and raised his hands. "Everyone, raise your hands. I will communicate once I understand their language." Yichuan surmised that the ability granted by the magical pill would likely allow him to comprehend a minor language, not that of the merfolk, but rather that of this tribe. The tribe's people continued to shout loudly, while the injured panther slowly rose, its emerald eyes coldly fixed on Yichuan, ready to strike again at any moment. "Congratulations, host. You have mastered a minor language, allowing for seamless communication with the Lost Tribe henceforth." 5 minutes later, the system suddenly spoke. Yichuan let out a quiet sigh of relief as he finally comprehended the voices of these individuals. "Who are you? What do you intend to do?" "You are the ones who have harmed our guardian, the leopard." "Silence, all of you." Yichuan shook his head slightly and bellowed. Instantly, all sounds ceased. The onlookers gazed at Yichuan in disbelief, unable to fathom how this stranger could speak their tribal language. Could he be an illegitimate child, cast away at birth? Noticing the silence, Yichuan finally spoke. "We inadvertently trespassed from the outside, and the injury inflicted upon your leopard was purely in self-defense, as it sought to endanger our lives." An elder retorted angrily, "You have shattered our peaceful existence. Since the day you began your wandering, your lives were destined to be anything but tranquil." Yichuan replied solemnly, "I know who you are and the purpose of your wandering. Now, only I possess the means to rescue you." The declaration stunned everyone present. The young man before them, appearing to be just over 20, spoke with such audacity. The same elder scoffed, "Do not presume that merely learning of our tale makes you our savior. What we desire is beyond your wildest dreams. I can assure you that within the next 3 minutes, I can heal your guardian leopard," Yichuan stated calmly. "Your guardian leopard is wounded internally, not externally. What makes you think you possess the ability to heal our deity? Another voice sneered. Without replying, Yichuan approached the shadow leopard and produced 500 milliliters of S-grade fresh water, stating earnestly, "Have this." Though the guardian leopard was initially skeptical of Yichuan, its curiosity was piqued by the S-grade water, and it extended its large, red tongue to drink eagerly, finishing the entire 500 milliliters in mere moments. To everyone's astonishment, the shadow leopard's condition rapidly improved, soon regaining its spirited demeanor, even letting out a satisfied belch. Shadow leopard friendliness level 20. At that moment, the system unexpectedly chimed in. Yichuan was taken aback. Why was the system addressing him in such a manner? It was not his pet. Ignoring it, he turned to face the astonished tribe. The tribe members stared at Yichuan in stunned silence, as if he were a creature from another realm. A reasonably attractive girl leaned toward the elder and whispered, "Grandfather, do you recall what Grandma once told us? She prophesied about the Savior, the one who rides the guardian leopard, wielding the elven sword, to sever the dark tree and help us vanquish the ageless tribe." The elder, somewhat incredulous, inquired, "Is it truly possible?" The girl nodded resolutely. However, this does not appear to be a mere youth. The elder hesitated, speaking with uncertainty. "Do you truly believe he is capable of wielding the spirit sword? Is this the sword you were referring to?" Yichuan immediately produced the spirit sword awarded by the system. In an instant, the sword emanated a dazzling, multicolored light, causing everyone to instinctively squint their eyes. Friendly level with the shadow leopard 20. The system chimed in once more. The elder, however, had already begun to tremble with excitement. How could this be? This is indeed the spirit sword. The young girl eagerly rushed forward, kneeling before Yichuan. "O benevolent Savior, I implore you to lead us in ending our wandering and returning to our homeland." "My dear girl, this is too much. Please rise." Yichuan was taken aback, attempting to assist her. Yet, hundreds of tribespeople knelt in unison, repeatedly uttering, "O benevolent Savior, I implore you to lead us in ending our wandering and returning to our homeland." "I can scarcely believe it, brother. This is utterly astonishing. In mere moments, he has persuaded these savages to kneel and pray." The little dragon was dumbfounded, truly a testament to the strength of the one I follow. He shall undoubtedly become the supreme ruler of the oceanic realm. Ha ha ha. Do refrain from speaking so recklessly. Cannot you see the gravity of the situation? Liang Hongying cast a disapproving glance at the little dragon, admonishing him for his lack of decorum. The little dragon merely pouted, falling silent. "O great Savior, please forgive our earlier impetuosity." The elder finally knelt as well, beseeching, "I implore you to lead us in ending our wandering and returning to our homeland." "Everyone, please rise." Yichuan, feeling a bit exasperated, stated, "I am not your savior. I have yet to save myself. How could I possibly save you?" "O great Savior." The elder insisted solemnly, 10 years ago, our eternal clan's shaman prophesied that one day you would ride the guardian leopard, wield the spirit sword, sever the demon tree, and help us vanquish the undying clan. "Sir, I have discovered a side quest. Do you accept?" Yichuan was momentarily speechless, about to respond when the system unexpectedly interjected. "A side quest?" Yichuan was aware of side quests, but this was the first he had heard of a side quest. He promptly inquired, "What is the side quest?" "Side quest. The host must ride the guardian leopard, wield the spirit sword, sever the demon tree, and assist the eternal clan in defeating the undying clan. Upon completion, substantial rewards will be granted. Do you accept?" The system replied. Goodness. Yichuan felt helpless. He had intended to simply decline, thinking that would conclude the matter. But now it had transformed into a quest issued by the system. How could he refuse? "If I decline, will the subsequent side quests not appear?" The host may choose to accept or decline. Seeing Yichuan's hesitation, the system spoke again. "I have but one question. Is there a deadline for this side quest?" Yichuan was compelled to inquire. The system responded, "There is no deadline. The host can complete the task at any time. You must finish one side quest before accepting subsequent ones." "Very well, I shall take my time in completing it." Yichuan shrugged slightly and accepted, detected that the host has accepted the side quest. "Please complete it as soon as possible," the system promptly replied. Without delay, Yichuan helped the elderly man to his feet and said earnestly, "Do not worry, sir. I will assist you in returning to your homeland." "Really?" the old man asked, visibly excited. "A promise once made is like water spilled." Yichuan nodded solemnly. "Having made a commitment, I shall certainly fulfill it." Friendly level with the nether leopard 20. The system chimed in. At this moment, Yichuan understood that the reason for the increase in the nether leopard's friendliness was solely to enable him to ride it into battle. Perhaps he would only be able to mount it once the friendliness reached 100? "We are immensely grateful." We will surely reward you generously, the old man exclaimed with enthusiasm. When shall we depart? Not just yet. It will be at least a month from now. Yichuan replied awkwardly. I will come to find you. I just need to know how to locate you. Upon hearing this, the girl promptly produced a blood-red feather and said, Savior, when you wish to find us, simply ignite this feather, and we shall appear before you within 3 days. Understood. Yichuan nodded and promptly stowed the feather away. Well then, unless there is anything else. Shall we return? Yichuan said with a smile, rubbing his hands together. Please accept this elven divine sword for now. No, no, no. You should keep it, the old man insisted immediately. None of us are worthy of wielding this elven divine sword. Is it really appropriate for me to take it? Yichuan said, unable to hide his skepticism. It is not a matter of appropriateness. You are our savior, and thus it rightfully belongs to you. The old man persisted. We implore you. Please aid us. Rest assured. Yichuan reassured him, patting the old man's shoulder. As men, we stand by our word. If there is nothing else, we should head back. Let us eat before we leave, the girl interjected. We are preparing a meal. It is only proper to extend our hospitality. Shall we dine first or depart directly? Yichuan turned to the three of them. Of course. We should eat first. The little dragon perked up. We barely finished half our meal earlier, and after all this activity, I am ravenous. Let us eat before we go. Indeed. A warm meal is in order, Zhao Feiyu added with a smile. Yichuan nodded in agreement. Then let us indulge. Thus, the four of them stayed behind to enjoy the meal. Though these people were somewhat uncivilized, their culinary skills were quite remarkable. Each dish was simple yet delicious, and they particularly praised the local wine, which revealed a multitude of flavors upon tasting, each one intoxicating in its own right, though not of the highest grade. The four unanimously agreed that the taste surpassed that of monkey wine. Good sir, what kind of liquor is this? It is simply exquisite. Yichuan could no longer restrain his curiosity. This is Baiwa wine. We brew a substantial amount each year, the elder replied promptly. If you enjoy it, please take some with you. Yichuan hesitated. Is that appropriate? The elder explained. We produce several hundred pounds annually, enough to last us a year. Each year, we have a surplus of a few dozen pounds that we store away. Currently, we have over 300 pounds saved. This is no longer merely Baiwa wine, but Baiwa brew, with an even richer flavor. Since we have it, we might as well give it all to you. Goodness. Yichuan was left utterly astonished. Such fine wine, offered freely to him. The Savior's stature in their hearts soared to unparalleled heights. Fortunately, they had large jars for storing their brew, and Yichuan promptly transferred 3 large jars into his system inventory, totaling 329 pounds. In return, he gifted them 30 liters of monkey wine and 30 honeycombs, a gesture of reciprocity. After nearly 2 hours, the island reappeared in the novice zone. Following Yichuan's disappearance, the turtle had been searching for the drifting island, guided by their faint connection. As the island emerged, Turtle Island had also approached within a mile of this new island. At that moment, the 3 little ones hurried onto the island, with Yichuan accompanying Liang Hongying as they mounted Wang Kai, while Wang Yun and Wang Fu each carried one of them, swiftly heading toward Turtle Island. The elder could not help but sigh. Truly, he is the legendary savior, possessing not only a divine artifact as sentient as the guardian leopard, but also an island based on a turtle's back. Simply astounding. Our decision to enter the novice zone was indeed correct. We have found the savior. The girl exclaimed joyfully. Our years of wandering were not in vain. We can now leave the novice zone and return to the oceanic world. The elder sighed in relief, a smile finally gracing his face after many years of gloom. Brother, you have returned. Blueberry Jam and the others rushed over, beaming with excitement. You've been gone all day. I thought you might have encountered danger. You little rascal. Do you wish for us to face danger? Liang Hongying retorted, her tone filled with displeasure. No, no. Oh dear. Blueberry Jam replied, feigning innocence. How could you think that of me? I was merely concerned. Rest assured, all is well. Yichuan gently patted Blueberry Jam's head. Let us all take a moment to rest. It has been a long day. I must first take a bath, though it is a pity my t-shirt is ruined. Little Flying Dragon said as he dashed off to his room. Yichuan chuckled and shook his head, then announced, Check-in. Check-in successful. Congratulations to the host for receiving 1,000 evolution points and 1 blue steel essence. The system promptly chimed in. What exactly is blue steel essence? Yichuan inquired, puzzled. One of the rarest gems in the oceanic realm, the blue steel essence, when infused into a weapon, augments its sharpness, hardness, and flexibility by 10-fold. The system promptly provided this astonishing revelation. Goodness, how powerful is that? Yichuan's expression shifted, but how should it be utilized? To harness the blue steel essence. It must be melted and then poured directly onto the weapon, which will subsequently absorb it autonomously. Caution: weapons infused with blue steel essence cannot be used for 3 days, or irreversible damage will occur. Regardless, this is indeed a valuable asset. Yichuan chuckled, promptly procuring a charcoal furnace and crafting a crucible for melting metal. He ignited the charcoal beneath, beginning the slow melting process. 3 hours later, as night fell, he had added over 30 pieces of charcoal. Yet the blue steel essence showed no signs of melting. This left Yichuan somewhat speechless, prompting him to summon Friday for assistance through the night. To Yichuan's dismay, Friday flatly refused. "Bro, I promised to stargaze with Sixth Sister tonight. I simply don't have the time to babysit this furnace." "Friday, have you grown too proud in my absence?" Yichuan exclaimed in astonishment. "I entrust you with such a crucial task, and you dare to decline? Have you forgotten who your master is?" "Come now, that is a bit harsh." Friday replied, his tone pitiful. "It's true you're the master, but you can't exploit me like this. Should a robot not be entitled to love? Must affection vanish? Then gaze at the stars while you keep an eye on the furnace." Yichuan threatened in a low voice. "Otherwise, I shall reclaim Saturday." "Well, I never said I wouldn't help." Friday, taken aback, quickly responded with a grin. "Don't worry, bro. I promise to keep you satisfied." "That is more like it." Yichuan rolled his eyes at Friday before returning to his quarters. During dinner, the little dragon animatedly recounted tales of his experiences on the drifting island to the three of them. Yichuan couldn't help but chuckle and shake his head. Returning to his room after the meal, Lu Yi had yet to accept the t-shirt ensemble, likely uninterested. So Yichuan opted not to insist further and simply removed it from the listing, deciding to give it to the little dragon instead. Subsequently, Yichuan glanced at the public chatroom messages, his eyes landing on a particular line. "Brothers, it seems I have reached the boundary between the novice zone and the oceanic realm. Cracks have appeared in the barrier of the novice zone. Does this signify the imminent end of our novice period?" Chapter 256, Classification of Tiered Terrestrial Creatures. Man, that's incredible. You've made it to the boundary with the oceanic realm? Have you been incessantly on the move for the past month? No. During the initial battle, I missed the opportunity and have been advancing northward along that barrier. It's been over 10 days, and here I am. Wow, you truly are remarkable. I'd love to interview you. Does your endeavor hold any significance? Even if you reach the boundary, won't you still be confined to the novice zone until it concludes? I am merely exploring, and the rest is of little consequence. Observing these chat messages, Yichuan could not help but press his lips together. There are approximately 10 days remaining until the opening of the novice area. Perhaps during this time, the fragments on the barrier of the novice area will accumulate, eventually becoming so numerous that a mere touch from the outside could shatter them. At that point, the novice area would fully merge into the oceanic realm. However, one wonders if the merfolk will still retain their initial intent of abducting all the novice island masters in the novice area to threaten Zhao Taijun. It seems this would undoubtedly lead to a fierce battle. Rather than dwell on the inconceivable, Yichuan chose to set aside his thoughts and succumb to slumber. After all, the recent confrontation with the Phantom Leopard prompted him to reassess himself. Although his combat prowess rivaled that of an SS level, engaging with such formidable beings necessitated the ability to eliminate them in a single strike, lest they seize the opportunity to vanquish him. Suddenly, Yichuan recalled something and promptly inquired. "System, the black-faced leaf monkey I encountered earlier is classified as an S-level entity. Yet in comparison to the A-level bush giant ape on my island, I feel that the ape could easily dispatch that monkey with a single punch. Furthermore, the SS-level Phantom Leopard I recently encountered seems to possess comparable combat capabilities to the bush giant ape. What is the explanation for this?" The system immediately provided an answer. "What do you mean?" Yichuan asked, perplexed. "Is there such a thing as a pseudo-S-level?" The black-faced leaf monkey, classified as S-level, is a terrestrial creature within the novice area. Conversely, the SS-level Phantom Leopard is an SS-level terrestrial creature from the Lost Continent. They do not belong to the terrestrial beings of the oceanic realm, the system elucidated. The S-level black-faced leaf monkey in the novice area is equivalent to a B-level terrestrial creature in the oceanic world, while the SS-level Phantom Leopard from the Lost Continent corresponds to an A-level terrestrial creature in the oceanic realm. The two do not belong to the same category and are not comparable on a macro scale. Is this truly the case? Yichuan inquired further, bewildered. Then, since Turtle Island is also situated in the novice area, are those three little ones not in a different category from the oceanic world? The sea turtles are products of the oceanic realm and are, therefore, classified according to the levels of that world, the system clarified, including the creatures on Turtle Island. Isn't this a bit far-fetched? Yichuan exclaimed, nearly rolling his eyes in exasperation. However, with the novice area drawing to a close, he felt there was no need to obsess over this matter. When the time came, the system would further delineate the levels with greater ease. Never mind, time for sleep. Detecting that the system has not yet checked in, would you like to check in? A voice from the system echoed in his drowsy state. Check in. Yichuan yawned, slowly rising. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points, 1 evolution point gift pack, and 1 blueprint for a large submarine. The system's voice followed suit. Yichuan immediately opened his eyes wide. To his astonishment, a detailed blueprint for a colossal submarine had appeared. Yichuan felt a surge of joy. He promptly exited his room and found that Friday was still diligently tending to the charcoal furnace, which piqued his curiosity. Could it be that this fellow was sulking over perceived neglect? Contemplating this, Yichuan asked somewhat irritably, I say, Friday, have you truly sat here all night? Brother Chuan, this iron block simply refuses to melt. Friday replied, a hint of grievance in his tone. I have heated the crucible to a brilliant red, yet it remains unmelted. Are you playing tricks on me? Yichuan was taken aback and immediately leaned in for a closer inspection. Indeed, although the blue steel ore had turned a fiery hue, there was no sign of melting whatsoever. Goodness, how stubborn! Yichuan exclaimed, his expression turning serious. Keep at it. I have plenty of charcoal here. I refuse to believe we cannot melt it. Brother Chuan, as long as you are willing, I would gladly burn it here for a lifetime. Friday declared with resolute enthusiasm. Let us go for a full 7 days and nights. We'll reassess afterward. Yichuan patted Friday's shoulder, his tone earnest. I appreciate your efforts. At that moment, Saturday had prepared breakfast. After their meal, Yichuan promptly upgraded the medium submarine into a large one, extending its length to approximately 200 meters, exuding an intimidating presence. Subsequently, he employed a weapon enhancement card to further reinforce the submarine, and with a tripling card, he transformed it into 3 vessels. Brother, what are you grinning about? Little Flying Dragon inquired with curiosity as he approached. Look, Yichuan gestured toward the surface of the water. Suddenly, with a thunderous roar, a massive splash erupted, and a gigantic submarine emerged before them. Little Flying Dragon was left in awe, incredulously asking, Brother, is this for real? Indeed, it's a large submarine. Yichuan shrugged nonchalantly. Surprised? My goodness, brother, when did you acquire such a formidable vessel? This is simply astonishing. Little Flying Dragon laughed heartily, adding, with this behemoth, even if a blue whale were to appear, we could effortlessly take it down. Come, let us explore inside. Yichuan called out as the other 5 approached, inviting everyone to enter the large submarine together. Wow, brother, this place is unexpectedly luxurious. Inside, the submarine was beyond imagination, prompting Blueberry Jam to exclaim joyfully. I absolutely adore it. The missiles and torpedoes have all been upgraded to tracking types. The previous ones are no longer usable, Yichuan remarked casually. In 7 days, you will each depart for the mineral coordinates, waiting for the family members to come for extraction. You may also take out these 3 large submarines. However, for gunpowder, I suggest we search the public chat room rather than mining at the sulfur and nitrate mines. I agree. I'll take one out. Little Flying Dragon responded cheerfully. Brother, what is that? At this moment, Blueberry Jam exclaimed in surprise, pointing ahead. Chapter 257, Sea Raiders. Everyone immediately turned to look outside. To their astonishment, they saw numerous yellow, cylindrical objects floating in the sea, perhaps dozens in number, spaced 5 or 6 meters apart, resembling some kind of jellyfish. Just as they were pondering this, a loud bang erupted as one of the yellow cylinders exploded, sending a tremendous shockwave radiating outward, even causing the large submarine to shake violently. What are those things? How can they possess such formidable power? Blueberry Jam asked in astonishment. I'm not quite sure, but it appears that they were launched from something. Yichuan replied solemnly. But the radar shows nothing within 100 kilometers, shouted Little Flying Dragon. There's only one possibility. Those objects are beyond the radar's scanning range. Yichuan asserted seriously, immediately maneuvering the submarine back to the surface and returning to Turtle Island. Beneath the sea, the explosions continued. Yichuan furrowed his brow and promptly commanded Turtle to unleash absolute gravity, propelling those cylindrical objects several dozen nautical miles away, followed by a sequence of explosions. Yichuan then opened the public chat room for the foreign district, seeking information about these objects. What is happening today? Why are there so many yellow cylinders in the sea? And why do they explode? I have some here too, on my island, with dozens in total, and over a dozen have already exploded, deafening me. Someone replied. What on earth is going on? These foul yellow things seem to pose a serious threat to our safety. Only heaven knows. Zhao Feiyu remarked gravely. It appears that not just us, but the entire foreign district is under threat from these cylinders. Is this a calamity for the novice zone? Or is there a powerful island lord cleansing us? Brother, are you joking? Is there really such a formidable island lord? Little Flying Dragon exclaimed incredulously. Even those veteran island lords might not possess such strength. Yichuan remained silent, quickly returning to his room and glancing at the public chat room for the Jojo district. This morning, I was out on a boat retrieving a supply crate when an explosion occurred in the sea, nearly killing me. It was terrifying. The sea surface and the water below are filled with yellow cylinders, densely packed, ready to explode at any moment. So it's not just me. Yichuan muttered in frustration, realizing this issue spanned 2 districts. Ultimately, he inquired of the system. System, what on earth is going on? Are the island lords targeting us? Or is this a test from the novice zone for all island lords? A band of marauders has discovered the location of the novice zone and identified a fissure in its protective barrier, intending to annihilate all island masters within, thereby monopolizing the region's resources. The system promptly provided an answer. Marauders? The emergence of this term cast a shadow over Yichuan's countenance. Once, they were island masters of a certain nation, but due to their transgressions, they were exiled and became wanderers of the sea, outcasts shunned by any island master. Ultimately, these exiled island masters formed an alliance dedicated to hunting down their former peers, seizing resources and minerals, and selling them in the black market. Over time, they came to be known as the Sea Marauders. Yichuan ceased further discourse and swiftly exited the room. Brother, what is happening? Xiao Feilong inquired anxiously. These individuals are Sea Marauders. Yichuan replied with grave seriousness. Instantly, a heavy silence enveloped the room. Zhao Feiyu remarked solemnly. The Marauder Alliance possesses strength surpassing that of seasoned island masters who have dominated the oceanic realm for over a decade. These individuals are unbound by morality, deriving pleasure from murder, often coordinating in groups to assault a single veteran island master, thus rapidly increasing their power. The concept of Sea Marauders had been mentioned in school, albeit superficially, without delving into detail. Yichuan continued earnestly. Currently, the entire novice zone is riddled with such explosive devices. Even if we manage to survive this ordeal, once the novice zone is opened, they will undoubtedly seek to obliterate us at the first opportunity. Oh my, what shall we do? Blueberry Jam asked with concern. Does that mean all our efforts thus far will be in vain? These devices are triggered by contact, Liang Honging interjected. The recent explosion of that cylindrical device occurred because a small fish brushed against it. Even the slightest pressure can detonate them. The ocean is teeming with various fish species, and they alone could trigger nearly 80% of the cylinders. For the remainder we encounter, we can simply destroy them with torpedoes or missiles. While those devices are a concern, the paramount issue lies with the marauders outside the novice zone, Yichuan stated gravely. They will undoubtedly show no mercy and will ultimately seek to eliminate us all. We must devise a strategy to either evade or eradicate them. This notion left everyone in a state of disquiet, for given their current capabilities, it seemed an insurmountable challenge. Brother, I wish to convey a message to the island master of our military district outside and request his assistance. After a moment's contemplation, Zhao Feiyu spoke with a serious demeanor. Do you think you could find a way? System, can I send a message out safely? Yichuan immediately inquired of the system. Currently, the novice period has not concluded. The dolphin can only operate within the novice zone. If it ventures beyond, it risks self-detonation, the system promptly replied. Damn. Yichuan seethed, his frustration palpable. The marine creatures outside are free to enter the novice zone, yet the inhabitants of the novice zone cannot access the vast ocean world. Surely, this cannot be deemed a protective mechanism for the novice zone. In the end, Yichuan shook his head. The dolphins cannot leave the novice zone. It seems that this cannot be done. There must be a way when we reach the mountains. I refuse to believe that we, just liberated, will be annihilated by those marauders. Xiao Feilong snorted dismissively, indifferent to the matter. For now, let us adhere to our original plan. Ultimately, Yichuan could only echo this sentiment. In the command center of the ocean world, a tall woman presented a cup of coffee to a man with a square jaw. Her voice grave. Commander, the novice zone may be in peril. What has occurred? The man took the coffee, his expression serious as he inquired. It is the Sea Marauders. The moment the woman finished speaking, the man's countenance shifted dramatically. Chapter 258, The Marauder's Pet, the 8-Step Spider. Even seasoned island lords tremble at the sight of these sea marauders, let alone the fledgling island masters. The man with the square jaw spoke gravely. What exactly is happening? There are 4 sea marauders. They have been searching for the novice zone for over 2 months and have finally located it. The woman expressed her frustration. stating that they plan to exterminate all novice island masters and monopolize the mineral resources of the novice zone. Immediately command Zhao Taifeng to personally lead 2 fleets to assist. The man declared without hesitation. Commander, while this reality is harsh, I must say, the woman hesitated. The novice zone has undergone a series of strange events. There are likely very few novice island masters left. Moreover, although Fei Yu is the new king of soldiers, he may not survive. Thus, I believe, the man's expression darkened. His gaze icy as he looked at her. Are the other island masters not human? Are they not our compatriots? Do they not deserve to be rescued? Yet, even with 2 fleets, the likelihood of defeating those 4 sea marauders is slim. The woman said, conflicted, the total value of the 2 fleets already exceeds hundreds of billions. If we act recklessly based on an uncertain outcome, it could lead to dire consequences. Or perhaps, would you like to take the position of commander? The man asked coldly. Very well, I shall issue orders to Zhao Taifeng at once. The woman's expression turned grim, and she ceased further words, turning to leave. Humph. The man scoffed, gazing at the vast expanse of the ocean world and the darkened areas nearby, tightly clenching his fists. Fei Yu, you must not come to harm. You must not. Otherwise, the sounds of explosions continued to reverberate. The sea turtle advanced 500 nautical miles that day, and beneath the surface, the explosions persisted without cessation. However, this also validated Liang Hongying's hypothesis. As the detonations continued, soon the entire cylindrical novice zone would be thoroughly eradicated. Thus, the day concluded. Unremarkable, yet filled with the ceaseless echoes of explosions. Reclining upon his bed, Yichuan glanced once more at the messages in the public chatroom of the Jiuzhou region. Today, a large aggressive sailing vessel was spotted merely a few hundred meters from my island, seemingly heading in my direction, only to be dispatched by a colossal spider. I fear I shall not sleep well tonight, dreading that the monstrous spider may devour me in the dead of night. Are you dreaming? Spiders in the sea? I am not deceiving you. It was an arachnid with 8 legs, each limb extending over 20 meters, and it can even spin webs. Utterly terrifying. Could this fellow be hallucinating from an explosion? An 8-legged spider? As the novice zone nears its conclusion, bizarre occurrences abound. Just as one island lord remarked, how could spiders inhabit the ocean? Perhaps akin to a multi-legged isopod? Yet those creatures hardly exceed half a meter in length and lack aggression. Still, the same sentiment persisted. If it is perplexing, do not dwell on it. After scrolling through messages for a while, Yichuan surrendered to slumber. Upon the break of day, Yichuan awoke to the raucous sounds from outside. Glancing at the time, he noted it was already past 7 in the morning. While muttering about signing in, he exited his room. Sign-in successful. Congratulations to the host for acquiring 1,000 evolution points and 5 incendiary bombs, resonated the system's voice. Incendiary bombs. He pondered, observing several individuals outside, gazing intently at the sea. To his astonishment, a gigantic spider traversed the ocean's surface with remarkable speed. Could such a large spider truly exist, moving across the water? Yichuan's expression shifted dramatically. This creature was indeed terrifying. It had traversed from the Jiuzhou region to the foreign zone in no time, suggesting a speed of at least 100 kilometers per hour. Oh no, it's sinking. Blueberry Jam suddenly shrieked. The spider was gradually submerging into the ocean, vanishing within mere seconds. Yichuan swiftly employed his shared vision to observe the spider, noting its speed had increased underwater as it approached rapidly. He promptly commanded the sea turtle to utilize absolute gravity while inquiring of the system. 8-legged spider, S-rank marine creature, late-stage adult, with legs measuring 21 meters, inherently savage, venomous, and capable of web spraying, a predator of the seas. The system provided its description without delay. Another S-rank marine creature? Yichuan was taken aback. However, despite being merely a late-stage adult, its combat prowess might not be inferior to that of a sea serpentine dragon. Be advised, all ranked creatures, due to regulatory effects, will experience a significant reduction in power within the novice zone. The system interjected once more. Yichuan was rendered speechless. If the system's assertions held true, then high-tier creatures like the sea serpentine dragon and the megalodon would possess combat abilities at least doubled in the oceanic realm. Nonetheless, this was not the moment for such reflections. As the absolute gravity was enacted, the approaching 8-legged spider was forcibly thrust into the depths of the sea. And the turtle's countercurrent technique, along with its water bombs, proved to be quite the ordeal for the creature. The 8-step spider, in a state of helplessness, discovered that the sea turtle possessed an astonishing immunity to its potent venom, rendering its toxic capabilities utterly ineffective. With no other recourse, the 8-step spider resorted to launching its attacks from the surface of the sea. Little flying dragon. Yichuan bellowed. Little Flying Dragon chuckled heartily and immediately called out to Lu Shuai to ascend the small hill. As the large artillery was readied, Lu Shuai also prepared a series of aerial super crossbow arrows, awaiting Yichuan's command. Liang Hongying, having received Yichuan's orders, swiftly boarded the medium-sized submarine, poised for action. As the 8-step spider gradually approached the sea's surface, now merely 100 meters from Turtle Island, Yichuan shouted, "Come forth." Little Flying Dragon, with a gleeful laugh, began directing the large artillery to initiate the offensive. In an instant, shells rained down upon the 8-step spider, yet they failed to inflict any harm. However, the assault did succeed in inciting the spider's wrath, prompting it to unleash a colossal white web towards Turtle Island. Oh no! Little Flying Dragon's expression shifted dramatically. If everyone were ensnared, the 3 little ones, circling high above, sprang into action. Wang Kai shot forth a feathered arrow that ignited the web. Although the web was exceptionally vast, the fierce flames of the feathered arrow were formidable in their own right, and just as the web was about to envelop Turtle Island, it was reduced to ashes. Yes, Little Flying Dragon snapped his fingers, aimed at the spider's abdomen, and commenced a new round of assault. As Yichuan and Zhao Feiyu were lifted into the skies by the 3 little ones, Lu Shuai and Liang Hongying also began their attacks. Chapter 259, The Great Battle Against the 8-Step Spider. In that moment, massive crossbow arrows and powerful missiles surged toward the 8-step spider. Yet, astonishingly, the spider's exterior was armored with an exceptionally hard exoskeleton. Even the mightiest of assaults failed to inflict any damage. At this juncture, Yichuan had ascended directly above the 8-step spider, gazing down upon it from a commanding height. This spider, with each of its legs serving as a weapon, measured roughly 5 or 6 meters in body length, and its head bore a striking resemblance to that of a human, exuding an aura of deep unease. Once the two had reached their aerial position, the 8-step spider became aware of their presence. The foremost pair of legs shot upward like lightning, targeting the 3 little ones. They swiftly dodged to the side, simultaneously diving down to strike the spider's body fiercely. The spider immediately spewed forth its web, accompanied by droplets of venom that effectively sealed off all routes for the 2 little ones. Once again, the flaming feathered arrow shot forth, striking the web and igniting it. As before, the web began to burn. Yichuan employed the reverse flow technique, directing a powerful gust of wind that expelled the venom far away, and at that moment, he finally positioned himself directly above the 8-step spider. With a decisive dive, he unleashed the force of absolute gravity. With a thunderous roar, an immense force of over 1,500 tons collided with the spider's back, driving it downward and even causing fissures to appear in its skeletal structure. Its 8 legs, akin to resilient springs, propelled the creature back upward after descending 7 or 8 meters, creating a violent jolt that Leaf Chuan could feel. Had it not been for his long knife wedged firmly in the spider's exoskeleton, he would have been launched away. Frustration etched on his brow. Leaf Chuan attempted to extract the knife, but it was ensnared too firmly. Despite exerting nearly 300 tons of force, he could not budge it an inch. At that moment, a faint sound echoed as the front 2 legs of the 8-legged spider retracted into its body, only to emerge from its back, viciously stabbing toward Leaf Chuan. Preoccupied with the knife, he was unprepared for the sudden onslaught of the razor-sharp legs, which struck his arm. Thankfully, he reacted swiftly, evading another leg, and executed an agile flip, driving several steel spikes into the advancing limb, momentarily halting its advance. By the heavens, this creature is no ordinary foe, Leaf Chuan grimaced, clutching his arm as he beheld the extending legs once more. With a powerful leap, he seized the rushing claws of Wang Kai and hurled a firebomb onto the spider's back. With a resounding explosion, flames erupted, engulfing the spider's back in a torrent of fire. Although the 8-legged spider was impervious to conventional weaponry, it seemed to fear flames. As the inferno blazed, it darted toward the sea, seeking to extinguish the flames with the ocean's embrace. However, at the moment it plunged into the water, it was thrust back up by a dolphin employing a powerful impact, propelling it above the surface for nearly a second before it submerged. Though brief, that second elicited indescribable pain for the 8-legged spider, and the firebomb continued to burn even underwater, only extinguishing when it descended 1,000 meters into the deep sea. At this moment, the 8-legged spider was seething with rage, sent into the novice zone by its master. It had a singular goal, to clear the area of all novice island masters. After all, the dense bombs could hardly eliminate every island master. Its purpose was to eliminate those who had yet to meet their demise. The master sought mineral resources, showing no regard for the assets of the novice island masters. Since the previous morning, It had already slain tens of thousands of island masters, yet now it faced a formidable adversary, which was utterly perplexing. How could their combat prowess be so formidable, particularly against the flames, which were nearly insurmountable? In response, the eight-legged spider began to widen its maw, rapidly constricting and weaving webs into a projectile of approximately 1 meter in diameter. The cannonball no longer feared the flames' assault. Upon striking the island, it would envelop the entire landmass in a web of silk, allowing it to gradually eliminate the island's master. With this thought, the eight-legged spider hastened toward the sea. As it breached the water's surface, its eyes had yet to discern its surroundings when it felt a heavy blow to its head. It was Zhao Feiyu who, witnessing the eight-legged spider's imminent emergence, plummeted from the sky. Upon landing on its head, his dagger, sharp enough to slice through steel, pierced one of its eyes. In an instant, a green liquid gushed forth, and fortunately, Zhao Feiyu managed to perform several somersaults, narrowly avoiding the spray. The eight-legged spider was driven to madness. Though it could not vocalize, the pain compelled it to emit a sound. The colossal silk cannonball, accompanied by a roar, was launched skyward, still aimed at Turtle Island. Simultaneously, the three little ones unleashed 2 fiery feather arrows at the silk cannonball, igniting it in flames. Yet, this did little to deter its trajectory. It soared for several dozen meters, remaining just 20 meters from Turtle Island, still brimming with power. "Oh my, how terrifying!" exclaimed Blueberry Jam, observing the scene from the island. Clutching Lu Yue's arm tightly. "We won't perish, will we? Have faith in our elder brother." Though Lu Yue felt the same trepidation, she offered quiet reassurance. In the next moment, the giant head of the turtle emerged from the water, launching a water projectile at the silk cannonball. With a resounding crash, the water bullet collided with the silk cannonball just 10 meters from Turtle Island, dispersing it into mere centimeters of silk that drifted gently into the sea. At this juncture, the eight-legged spider had no time to dwell on the silk cannonball. The pain in its eye had yet to subside. As Zhao Feiyu returned to the back of Wang Fu, Yichuan descended once more from the sky. With nearly 300 tons of force, he struck the spider's back, causing the wound to crack open anew. This allowed him to easily extract his long blade, which was soon followed by a flurry of slashes. Despite the exterior exoskeleton's formidable hardness, the weight of the over 300-pound sword, combined with its terrifying cutting power, left numerous shallow gashes across its back. "Come!" Yichuan laughed heartily, ascending once again as incendiary projectiles rained down. In that fleeting moment, the eight-legged spider retreated into the depths of the sea. Yet, having barely descended 500 meters, a spear gun erupted from the surface, piercing the wounded back of the eight-legged spider and pulling it toward the water's surface. It was Liang Hongying who, seeing that the missile posed no threat to the eight-legged spider, had returned to the surface to employ a super-automatic fishing gun. The eight-legged spider began to thrash violently. Yet no matter how it struggled, the reinforced steel cables held it firmly in place, preventing any forward movement. Fortunately, the harpoon had been strengthened and secured the base. Otherwise, the previous harpoon would have been utterly ineffective against it, Liang Hongying remarked solemnly. "Indeed, as my uncle once told me, truly powerful marine creatures are impervious to such weaponry." Xiao Feilong and Lu Shuai, now back on solid ground, echoed the sentiment with gravity. "Thankfully, my brother's incendiary grenades proved potent enough to inflict genuine harm on this eight-legged spider. Otherwise, the outcome would have been uncertain." Lu Shuai continued, adding that he had heard tales of this creature from the elder islanders of his family. "Really?" Xiao Feilong gasped in astonishment. "They say that when this eight-legged spider goes on a rampage, even a fleet could be annihilated by it," Lu Shuai stated earnestly. "Its legs are simply terrifyingly powerful, capable of piercing through a 1-meter-thick iron plate." "Good heavens, that is truly frightening," exclaimed Blueberry Jam, horrified at the thought of such thickness. "This is the terrifying nature of an S-class marine creature." Lu Shu shrugged. "Thankfully, we have discerned its weakness and can employ fire attacks to truly subdue it." Liang Hongying inhaled deeply, a smile breaking across her face. "In any case, this eight-legged spider can no longer harm us." With a wretched cry, the eight-legged spider, suffering from the flames, surged from the depths, desperately attempting to free itself from the harpoon, but it was too robust to escape. Again, Yichuan laughed heartily and bellowed, launching the third incendiary grenade at the eight-legged spider. Crack! A sharp sound echoed as the eight-legged spider darted forward several meters, narrowly evading the grenade's assault. In the process, it shed its back exoskeleton, revealing the tender skin beneath. Realizing it could not linger, the eight-legged spider mustered its strength to plunge into the sea, retreating hastily. The three small ones immediately unleashed 12 crossbow bolts, all striking its back, igniting a fierce blaze once more. This time, it was not merely the exoskeleton burning, but flesh and blood as well. The eight-legged spider leaped into the air, executing several powerful jumps before crashing heavily toward the water surface. I believe I can deliver the final blow and send it to its demise. Yichuan chuckled wickedly, positioning himself for another descent, his blade aimed straight down. The spider's singular eye watched helplessly as Yichuan charged forward, its 8 legs stabbing toward him simultaneously. However, with only one eye remaining, the accuracy of its attack faltered, compounded by its agony. Ultimately, as Yichuan's blade descended, its legs closed in, but it was too late. The body of the 8-legged spider was cleaved in two, and the severed halves slowly sank into the depths of the sea. Alas, what a challenging endeavor it has been. After completing all of this, Yichuan finally exhaled deeply, standing atop the dolphin's back as he smoothly returned to Turtle Island. It is truly unfortunate, however, that after such a strenuous battle, there was no reward to be had. Just then, the system suddenly announced, "Congratulations, host, for defeating the 8-step spider. You have discovered an item, Spider's Limb. Would you like to collect it?" Yichuan's expression shifted. Spider's Limb? This item can be used for the forging of various weapons. The system elaborated, stating that each limb could facilitate one forging, allowing the choice of crafting a dagger, sword, or short blade. How splendid. Yichuan's mood brightened. But how does one forge? He inquired immediately. A forging apparatus is required, came the system's response. What good is that? I have no such apparatus. Yichuan found himself at a loss for words, deciding to let the matter rest. At that moment, several individuals quickly gathered around him. What a pity, lamented the young dragon. The spider's limb is exceptionally sturdy. We should salvage it for weapon crafting. There's no need to rush. I have already retrieved it, Yichuan replied with a smile. It truly was no easy feat to slay an S-rank marine creature. After uttering these words, Yichuan suddenly paused and then exclaimed, "Wait, system, this is an S-rank marine creature. Shouldn't there be a core as well? Although it only equates to 20 liters of fresh water, it is still a rare treasure." The system promptly clarified, the 8-step spider, being a creature with an owner, had its core reclaimed by its master upon its demise. Ugh, Yichuan found himself at a loss once more. This seems like an exercise in futility. Meanwhile, on a small aircraft carrier in the oceanic realm, one individual frowned deeply upon the sudden appearance of a pearl before him. The 8-step spider has perished? What? Exclaimed another, incredulous. How can this be? The 8-step spider is an S-rank marine creature. Even our aircraft carrier could not destroy it. How could it possibly die in the novice zone? The 8-step spider's power is significantly suppressed upon entering the novice zone, the man replied gravely. Moreover, as far as I know, it is not the first S-rank marine creature to enter the novice zone. Are you suggesting it was slain by another S-rank marine creature? The other was momentarily stunned. Otherwise, how would one explain the death of the 8-step spider? The man gazed at his companion. Do you think the novice island masters possess the capability to defeat the 8-step spider? Indeed, that is unlikely. The other responded, slightly smirking, as if lost in thought. If that is the case, it seems the novice island masters have likely been mostly eliminated. I wonder how my dear nephew is faring. Do not worry. If that rascal lacked any skill, I would not have permitted him to enter the novice zone in the first place, the man remarked, a sly smile creeping onto his lips. If Yichuan were to encounter him, he would undoubtedly be taken aback, for he bears an uncanny resemblance to someone. Chapter 261. Forging a Sword on a Rainy Day. The day swiftly came to a close. After dinner, noticing that Friday was still stationed by the furnace, Yichuan could not help but smirk slightly as he approached. "Friday, have you made any progress?" he inquired. "It appears to be just like this morning, showing no signs of melting whatsoever." With a hint of exasperation, Friday replied, "Brother Chuan, are you jesting with me? This is not a piece of iron. It must be a stone instead. Would I deceive you given our bond?" Yichuan reassured him, patting his chest. "This is undoubtedly iron. If it doesn't work after 3 more days, we can discuss alternatives. Whatever you say goes. Keep it burning." Friday nodded vigorously, refraining from further comment as he added a piece of charcoal to the fire. With that, Yichuan felt a sense of relief. As he gazed up at the moon obscured by dark clouds, he instructed Friday to stoke the furnace in the warehouse before returning to his room. He opened the public chat room and glanced at the messages. "The bombs around me have all vanished, fortunately causing me no harm. The explosions even yielded several supply crates. How delightful. I envy you. My area has been obliterated, with nearly half of my island destroyed. It seems rain is imminent. The clouds appear particularly dense, suggesting a heavy downpour is on the horizon. But it matters not, for we have shelter. No matter how torrential the rain, it cannot submerge our island, can it?" Still no useful news. Time for sleep. With that, Yichuan slipped into slumber once more. He awoke again, stirred by the cacophony of wind and rain outside. Though it was already 7 in the morning, the sky remained pitch black, akin to the hour of 7 in the evening. The distant scenery was obscured, as dense raindrops formed a vast curtain between heaven and earth, punctuated by intermittent flashes of lightning that sent a shiver down one's spine. Time to check in. Yichuan muttered as he stepped outside. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host, for receiving 1,000 evolution points and a forging device. The system's voice followed suit. Just what I needed. Yesterday, I was contemplating the forging device, and today it has arrived. How splendid. Brother, the storm outside is exceedingly fierce. I fear we may not be able to venture out today. Upon seeing Yichuan emerge, the little dragon exclaimed loudly. If we can't go out, then we shall remain inside for now. Yichuan shrugged. Let Saturday prepare some hearty dishes. We shall indulge for the entire day. Don't forget the 100 Flowers wine. Jams and the others have yet to sample it. 100 Flowers wine. Blueberry Jam eagerly asked. Is it made from 100 different flowers? Essentially, Yichuan nodded slightly. It's just in time, as you all are set to embark on your journeys to your respective mineral resources tomorrow. Who knows when we will all gather again. By the way, brother, share your account number with me. Once I connect with my family, I will transfer the funds to you immediately. The little dragon snapped his fingers and spoke promptly. Indeed, brother, I am willing to transfer half of my funds to you. Blueberry Jam cheerfully exclaimed. No rush. I shall send the card number to our small group later. Yichuan replied with a smile. For now, I believe we should first forge the spider's limbs into weapons, shall we? Do we have the forging device ready? Can we commence the crafting? The others exchanged glances, intrigued. One at a time, Yichuan shrugged lightly. You go. What sort of weapon do you intend to create? As he spoke, he placed the crafting device in the center of the living room. Could one limb be fashioned into 2 short blades? Zhao Feiyu remarked. A hint of eagerness in his voice. One measuring 30 centimeters in length, 3 centimeters in width, and 0.3 centimeters in thickness. The other 50 centimeters long. Also 3 centimeters wide and 0.3 centimeters thick. No problem. Yichuan responded without further ado, immediately beginning the crafting process. With the assistance of the forging device. Within mere minutes, 2 short blades materialized before Zhao Feiyu. They appeared remarkably sharp. Zhao Feiyu plunged one blade forcefully into the concrete floor, and to his astonishment, it sank 20 centimeters deep. Upon extraction, there were no signs of damage whatsoever. Indeed, it is extraordinarily sharp. Zhao Feiyu exclaimed. Far more formidable than the dagger you previously provided. Naturally, Yichuan shrugged once more, then turned to the rest. Next, who will go? In a little over an hour. Zhao Feiyu had transformed all 8 limbs into weapons. Since his long sword was sufficient for any battle, Yichuan decided to forge a Tang Dao for himself. Just in case, Lu Yiwei and Blueberry Jam each received 2 daggers of varying lengths, as they were ill-suited for combat and preferred them for self-defense. After some consideration, Yichuan also crafted 2 daggers for Lu Yi, which he traded to her while preparing meals on Saturday. Simultaneously, he sent a message in the public chat room of the Jiuzhou region. Does anyone have sulfur or saltpeter? I wish to purchase. Wow, this big shot is quite impressive. Actually acquiring such materials, could it be for missile production? Sulfur and saltpeter are not commonplace. They are difficult to find and even harder to procure in significant quantities. Regardless of other stocks, I can assure you I have none. I doubt many possess them. I concur. The public chat room erupted into fervent discussion, when suddenly a female voice chimed in. I have 50 tons of sulfur and 50 tons of saltpeter. What do you intend to offer in exchange? This girl, astonishingly, claimed to possess such vast quantities of sulfur and saltpeter. Had she discovered a sulfur mine or a saltpeter deposit? If foreign regions had such mines, it was only fair to assume that the Jiuzhou region did as well. Perhaps she had uncovered and mined them? Without hesitation, Yichuan responded, what do you desire? Let me see if I have it. A large, offensively capable sailing vessel. The other party replied without a hint of uncertainty. Yichuan feigned a moment's hesitation. Yichuan appeared to be deeply conflicted, and the other party spoke again. This is my bottom line. If you are willing to trade with me, I welcome it. Otherwise, let us cease this discussion. After a full minute, Yichuan seemed to have made up his mind. Originally, I possessed a large attack-type sailing vessel and a medium attack-type sailing vessel, but I am currently in urgent need of explosives. Thus, I shall engage in this trade with you. With that, Yichuan placed the large attack-type sailing vessel in the trading area. Once the other party listed sulfur and nitrate, the two completed the transaction. At that moment, Yichuan manufactured 90 tracking missiles and torpedoes suitable for large submarines. Brother, What are you busy with? Come out and drink. Just then, Xiao Feilong entered, eagerly awaiting him. Chapter 262. Farewell, each departing their own way, I'm on my way. Yichuan laughed heartily and swiftly exited the room. The wine, known as Baihua, was less potent than the monkey wine, so Yichuan brought out 20 liters, intending for everyone to indulge that day. Saturday was also quite generous, serving 5 dishes at the outset and then bringing out one every 20 minutes thereafter. Braised pork knuckles, fragrant ribs, and chicken stewed with mushrooms. As everyone had previously mentioned, they nearly drank the entire day away, and by 10 o'clock at night, even Zhao Feiyu had succumbed to sleep. The room was a disarray of sprawled bodies, prompting Yichuan to chuckle and shake his head, choosing not to disturb them. After all, this constituted a delightful memory, one to be cherished by all. Outside, the torrential rain showed no signs of abating. Upon opening the public chat room, all messages revolved around the weather. The heavy rain has persisted for so long. I ventured out in a raincoat this evening and found that my island is submerged by a meter. What's so alarming about that? My island is over 10 meters high. Even if it were submerged by several meters, it's of no concern. Doesn't this seem rather unusual? What does it matter? If it gets too high, I can always board a ship or enter a submarine. Indeed, as the island owner had stated, whether it was unusual or not was irrelevant. After all, one sea turtle had always drifted along with the currents, and a rise in sea level by 100 meters held no significance whatsoever. Time to sleep. Detected that the host has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? In a daze, Yichuan heard this voice. Wow, I must have drunk quite a bit. I slept straight through to 6 in the morning. Sign in, Yichuan exclaimed, promptly heading outside. Sign in successful. Congratulations. The host has received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution points gift pack. The system's voice followed. Is it still raining? Glancing outside, he confirmed that the heavy rain had yet to cease. The sprawled figures were roused by Yichuan's voice. Heavens, I slept in the living room all night. Am I not supposed to feel uncomfortable? It seemed last night had indeed seen him drink too much. He had maintained a sober state for many years. Zhao Feiyu remarked seriously, a hint of fear in his tone. Fortunately, we were all friends, otherwise. Has the rain truly lasted for a day and a night? Little Flying Dragon turned and approached the door, gazing at the incessant rain outside, unable to suppress a slight grimace. Would this downpour persist until the novice area was opened? Brother Chuan, breakfast is ready. At that moment, Saturday entered, carrying a large pot of congee. After a night of revelry, I have prepared a soothing century egg and lean meat porridge for you all, beneficial for your stomachs. Saturday, you are so considerate. Seeing Saturday's calm demeanor, Blueberry Jam couldn't help but express her gratitude, exclaiming, I simply adore you. This declaration left Saturday momentarily speechless, unsure whether to take her words seriously. After all, during their first encounter, this girl had been quite hostile towards him. Ultimately, Saturday merely flashed a friendly smile at Blueberry Jam before retreating. After breakfast, Yichuan stated plainly, brothers and sisters, in less than 10 days, the novice area will be open. You are free to leave now. Brother, do I really have to go? Blueberry Jam paused, contemplating, perhaps I should stay. I have little interest in mining, after all. During this time, Brother Yu has been teaching you submarine navigation skills. Do you think it's merely for enjoyment? Yichuan countered sternly. At his words, Blueberry Jam lowered her head in defeat. Since both you and Lu Yiwei are comparatively weaker, each of you will pilot a large submarine. Inside, there are 30 missiles and 30 torpedoes, all homing types, capable of handling various dangers. Yichuan continued, moreover, I have reinforced both submarines, so even if we encounter a behemoth like a blue whale, they should withstand several impacts. Brother Yu, you four will each operate a medium-sized submarine, Yichuan said, glancing at Zhao Feiyu and the others. I have acquired several weapon enhancement cards recently, and the medium submarines have been upgraded as well. Therefore, their impact and weapon attack power are now several times greater than before. Really? Is that true? Little Flying Dragon's expression shifted, and he grinned. This is no problem, brother. Our combat experience is quite rich now, and we have nearly dealt with the formidable marine creatures. What do we have to fear? Then it's settled. Yichuan smiled. An hour later, Yichuan bid farewell to Zhao Feiyu and the other men, then saw off Liang Hongying and Lu Yiwei, leaving only Blueberry Jam, whose eyes glistened with tears. Brother, we are soon to be briefly separated. But I promised to perform a dance for you without clothing, and I have yet to do so. Shall I dance for you now? Her words nearly caused Yichuan to choke on his breakfast, and he quickly replied, No, let's save that for our next meeting. I'm in no hurry. All right then, it's a promise. Blueberry Jam contemplated, recognizing that it was indeed wise to be more reserved. She said nothing further and approached Yichuan, rising onto her toes to plant a soft kiss on his lips before turning to leave. Feeling the gentle warmth between his lips, alongside the blueberry jam that had already submerged into the depths of the submarine, Yichuan couldn't help but lick his lips. Sweet? Upon returning to his room, he observed the once bustling living room, now rendered desolate, and a sense of melancholy washed over him. After stabilizing himself on the sofa for a moment, he turned and entered the warehouse. The entire space was rendered oppressively hot due to Friday's furnace, where Friday huddled in one corner, continuously adding charcoal to the fire. Upon seeing Yichuan approach, he excitedly exclaimed, "Brother Chuan, it's already melted a little. Perhaps we will succeed by tomorrow." Really? Yichuan's expression shifted, and he immediately leaned closer. Indeed, the edges of the large blue steel essence had begun to melt, though other areas remained remarkably solid. However, progress was evident. "Friday, well done. Keep up the good work." Yichuan laughed heartily, patting Friday on the shoulder before turning to leave. With everyone gone and nothing to occupy his time, Yichuan decided to consume 2 inner Dan. After all, he had already undergone a cleansing process once, akin to drinking 40 liters of fresh water, and he was curious about the changes it would bring to his body. He promptly sat in the living room and swallowed both inner Dan. Chapter 263, Terrifying Physical Strength. In an instant, a refreshing sensation surged within him, followed by waves of invigorating energy radiating throughout his body. Reminiscent of the prior experience with the miraculous pills, yet this time, the feeling was even more intense. It felt as if every part of his body was being cleansed by pure water. The comfort was simply beyond words. After a good 10 minutes, Yichuan was so enveloped in this delightful sensation that he dozed off. Upon awakening, he realized it was already afternoon. He promptly began inspecting his body, and, as expected, many impurities had been expelled, although considerably fewer than last time, yet the scent remained notably potent. Outside, the rain continued to pour. Yichuan decided to strip off his clothes and dash into the downpour, allowing the rainwater to wash away the grime from his body and garments until he was completely cleansed before returning to his room with his clothes in hand. Saturday had already prepared dinner. Since Yichuan hadn't informed them in advance, there were still 7 portions. However, with 6 of them gone and carrying little food, Yichuan quickly posted the food in the group chat. As the others received the food, they began to converse. "Brother, I have already ventured over 300 nautical miles. I estimate I will reach the destination in 3 or 4 days. There haven't been any large marine creatures along the way, so it should be quite safe. I'll be a bit later. It seems impossible to reach the destination in less than 6 days. I'll take my time. Brother, this is my first time leaving alone, and I'm feeling a bit afraid." As Yichuan observed everyone reporting their safety, a smile crept across his face. "Let's have our meal first. Feel free to message me if any issues arise," he remarked before commencing his dinner. After nurturing himself with 2 inner Dan, he sensed that his physical prowess had ascended to a new zenith, as if an inexhaustible source of strength flowed within him. Perhaps a single punch could fell a B-class lion. Once dinner was concluded, Yichuan retrieved 5 bottles of body enhancement elixir and privately messaged Zhao Feiyu, Lu Shuai, Xiao Feilong, and Liang Hongying, recognizing that these 4 were the true mainstays of combat. The enhancement potion was straightforward, one merely needed to drink it. However, unlike the inner Dan, this elixir induced a rising heat within the body post-consumption, reminiscent of the previous experience with the miraculous fruit. Despite the temperature already hovering around 30 degrees, vapor visibly emanated from Yichuan's body, a rather alarming sight. As the heat intensified, he couldn't help but grimace slightly and promptly inquired, "System, what is happening?" The body enhancement elixir can double your physical strength, but this process will consume a significant amount of heat, requiring the host to cool down independently, the system promptly replied. Understanding dawned upon Yichuan, and he immediately dashed into the ring. In an instant, a hissing sound erupted, akin to a red-hot iron plunging into cold water, providing an extraordinary sense of relief. However, the temperature continued to rise slowly. Suddenly recalling the 3 companions, he instinctively recoiled and hastily returned to inform them, only to feel the heat surging again, prompting another sprint into the downpour. After enduring the rain for nearly half an hour, the oppressive heat finally began to dissipate. Yichuan exhaled a breath of relief and returned to his room. Upon inspecting his body, he noted a marked increase in strength. He swiftly found an ordinary dagger and lightly grazed it against his palm, leaving only a faint mark, with no further consequence. Can it truly be? Yichuan mused in astonishment, testing again with increased force, yet still encountering no harm. It appeared that his bodily resilience had indeed reached an impressive level. Laughing heartily to himself, He felt that such tests were insufficient and called for Saturday, who donned a raincoat and stepped outside. He handed her a crossbow, stating, "I will extend my arm. Shoot it." "Wait, are you seriously intending to harm yourself?" Saturday blinked in surprise. "Harm myself? Not at all," Yichuan retorted with mild irritation. "I am merely testing the strength of my body. That one T require a crossbow. I can handle it with a simple kitchen knife," Saturday declared, producing a knife from her hand. "I can just stab you with this, can't I? Really? Are you certain?" Yichuan queried, his brow furrowing in skepticism. "Absolutely. On Saturday." With unwavering determination, I stated, "Let me put it this way. While I pierce your arm, I can modulate my strength according to the robustness of your arm. I assure you that I can calculate the maximum force your body can withstand without incurring any injury. What are we waiting for? Let's begin." Yichuan nodded, urging Saturday to commence. He had not anticipated that Saturday possessed such remarkable skills beyond culinary prowess. It seemed both robots were indeed full of surprises. As soon as Yichuan extended his hand, a flash of cold light appeared, and before he could even react, the ordeal was over. "Is that it?" Yichuan asked, bewildered. "Indeed." Saturday nodded earnestly. "Brother Chuan, I have already conducted the experiment. Presently, without any protective gear, your skin can approximately withstand the force of this steel nail." Yichuan was taken aback. "In other words, this steel nail is just barely unable to pierce your skin, but with even an additional 1 in of force. It would surely penetrate," Saturday elucidated. "Brother Chuan, you must believe me. My predictions are highly reliable, and if you don't trust me, who else would you believe?" "All right." Since Saturday had stated it so confidently, Yichuan chose not to argue further. After all, as a robot, such precise instruments could yield predictions with an accuracy of 9,999. Time flew by, and before long, it was already past 10 in the evening. Yichuan took a hot shower before returning to his bedroom to check the messages in the public chat room. "The sea level has risen 5 meters, and half of my island is submerged. Damn it. This isn't even the worst part. The waves are crashing violently, and it seems something is subtly stirring the waters. Don't scare me. Surely, there can't be anything terrifying lurking? Regardless of whether there is or not, we should proceed with caution. We certainly don't want to meet a fate we are unaware of." This exchange caused Yichuan to furrow his brow. After all, it was highly unusual for rain to pour so heavily and for such an extended duration. At this moment, if nothing unexpected occurred, it was likely that something unforeseen would arise. Chapter 264. The amplification of the Great Blade and the mysterious airflow. This left Yichuan somewhat speechless, as it was supposed to be nearing the opening of the novice area, yet such circumstances still emerged, which was quite perplexing. However, as for whether any surprises would indeed manifest, he was uncertain and chose to disregard it for the time being, opting instead for sleep. The following day, Yichuan awoke at the crack of dawn. Even before 5 in the morning, he had been roused by a sudden motion. Typically, the sea turtle remained quite stable. Even in the face of tremendous waves, such violent shaking had never occurred. Through the connection of shared vision, he discerned that there were fierce currents surging upwards from the ocean floor, which was precisely why the sea turtle struggled to maintain its stability. Yichuan promptly sent a message to the group. "Has anyone noticed the violently ascending currents? Their strength is astonishing. The power of the ascending currents here is truly formidable. I have managed to bring the submarine to the surface, albeit at a slightly reduced speed." The little dragon responded instantaneously. "The ascending currents on my end are not excessively strong, yet I find myself struggling to maintain control over the submarine. Thus, I shall ascend as well," Lu Yue replied. From the responses of a few individuals, it appears that the entire novice zone is engulfed in tremendous upward currents. Yichuan could not help but inquire, "System, what is the situation?" Silence ensued. Yichuan shook his head slightly, exasperated with the system, which seemed to be operating with a lag, responding sporadically when needed, leaving one in utter bewilderment. "Detection indicates the host has not yet checked in. Would you like to check in?" The system's voice finally emerged with the arrival of 6 o'clock. "Check in," Yichuan promptly declared. "Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have acquired 1,000 evolution points. 1 evolution points package and 1 super anchor." The system's voice followed. "A super anchor? This super anchor can extend infinitely until it reaches the seabed, allowing a vessel weighing thousands of tons to remain stably afloat." The system's explanation ensued. "Receiving such an item so suddenly, does it imply that the forthcoming currents will be even more potent?" Yichuan pondered, yet did not dwell on it too long. He immediately secured one end of the super anchor to the turtle's back and cast it into the water. The anchor, weighing over a dozen tons, swiftly descended towards the seabed. Although the rope appeared to be relatively short, It elongated rapidly until it ultimately reached depths exceeding 3,000 meters. After the turtle traversed several dozen meters, the anchor sank deeper, completely immobilizing the turtle in that location. Of course, the turtle had already received Yichuan's command, halting its advance when further progress was impossible. Quite well, this should suffice for stability. Yichuan chuckled as he noticed Saturday had prepared breakfast and brought it over, prompting him to return to his room. It had been ages since he savored tofu pudding and fried dough sticks. After distributing them, he began to feast heartily before entering the warehouse. Friday burst into laughter and exclaimed, "Brother Chuan, come quickly. Is it done?" Yichuan's expression shifted, and he hurried over to witness the blue steel essence, having melted completely after 3 days and nights of heating. "Friday, well done." Yichuan laughed heartily. "Brother Chuan, what shall we do next?" Friday asked with a grin. Yichuan promptly retrieved a large knife, using tongs to grasp the crucible, pouring the molten liquid onto the blade. He observed as the liquid swiftly flowed downward, simultaneously seeping into the knife. Within a mere second or two, the entirety of the liquid derived from the melted blue steel essence had infiltrated the blade. However, that was all. The knife exhibited no discernible changes. What is the meaning of this? Yichuan mused perplexedly, reasoning that the knife should now possess significantly enhanced flexibility and sharpness compared to before. "Brother Chuan, I shall give it a try," Friday declared as he swiftly grasped the formidable blade. With one hand clutching the hilt and the other at the blade's tip, he exerted a sudden force, and to his astonishment, the once unyielding sword bent nearly 180 degrees, akin to a spring. "Goodness, has its flexibility truly become this remarkable?" Yichuan's expression shifted. Next, it was time to test its sharpness. Friday glanced around and inquired, "Brother Chuan, what shall we cut?" "Allow me to handle it," Yichuan replied, stepping out of the warehouse. He surveyed his surroundings and fashioned a solid iron block, measuring 1 meter square, from metallic sheets. With all his strength, he struck down fiercely. Crack! Accompanied by a sharp sound, the iron block was cleaved in two, as though slicing through tofu. My word! Yichuan was astonished. Indeed, this so-called blue steel essence has elevated both the flexibility and power of the blade to an entirely new echelon. It is entirely justifiable to claim that this sword ranks among the top 10 in the vast oceanic realm. Of course, this is merely my own assessment. The true test will lie in the battles to come. Exhilarating. Brother Chuan, it seems the entire ocean is trembling violently, as if some terrifying entity is about to emerge. Do you have any idea what is happening? Friday queried, stepping out of the warehouse, a look of confusion on his face. You can still sense this impending peril? Yichuan asked in surprise. Indeed. Friday nodded earnestly, stating, "This sensation is entirely unprecedented for me. Even though Saturday and I are robots, we have sensed the danger beforehand." His words stirred a sense of unease within Yichuan. Could it be that an SS or even SSS-level marine creature was approaching? "Fear not, with Brother Chuan here. It is merely a trivial matter," Yichuan reassured Friday with a smile. "After all, when soldiers come, let them face the soldiers. When water comes, let it be concealed by earth. Why should we be afraid?" However, with danger looming, it was indeed time for the three little ones, the sea turtle and the dolphin, to level up. Coincidentally, I had amassed 11,000 points of evolution value today, totaling 56,500 points, which was more than sufficient to elevate them to level 14. Calculating swiftly, Yichuan allocated 18,000 points of evolution value to the sea turtle. He felt the turtle's body undergoing subtle changes and immediately opened the turtle's information panel. Island Master. Yichuan type. Sea turtle level. 14. 02000. Skills. Water bomb. Intermediate. Reverse flow technique. Intermediate. Absolute gravity. 3,000 tons. Talents. Longevity. Rapid healing. Crawling. Levitation. 50 centimeters for 5 minutes. Yichuan noted that water bomb, reverse flow technique, and absolute gravity had all received corresponding enhancements. However, what astonished him was the sea turtle's new talent, levitation. Chapter 265, Levitation, the Corner of Destiny. System. What is this levitation? Yichuan inquired immediately. The turtle island can currently achieve a suspension of 50 centimeters for a duration of 5 minutes. The system promptly provided an explanation. Oh my! Yichuan's expression shifted. If the next adjustment allows for 1 meter, then the suspension time would extend to 10 minutes. And so forth. Is it possible that in the future, we might reach several hundred meters in height for months on end? Yichuan nodded, sensing the feasibility of such an idea, though he recognized the arduous journey that lay ahead. Without further ado, Yichuan allocated an additional 9,000 evolution points to the dolphin. the dolphin began to gradually enlarge, prompting Yichuan to promptly access its information panel. Name, Dolphin Friendliness, 100 level, 14 evolution points, 010, 000 skills, Sonic Disruption, Intermediate, Absolute Impact, Intermediate, Synchronicity, 30s. Talent, Deep Dive, 2, 800 meters. Note, Absolute Impact entails the dolphin attacking with its head, with an intermediate collision equivalent to a force of 100 pounds. Sonic Disruption can launch sonic attacks against all entities within a 210-meter radius, disrupting their actions. As before, there were no additions to the skills or talents. But both Sonic Disruption and Absolute Impact, as well as Deep Dive, had been enhanced. Dolphin Upgrade Complete. Congratulations, host. Your contracted beast has advanced to level 14 and received an upgrade package. Would you like to open it? The system's voice echoed. With eager anticipation, Yichuan responded. Open it. Opening upgrade package, please wait a moment. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1,000 growth points, 20 wheat dumplings, 6 A-class pineapples, and 1 Fate's Horn. What is the Fate's Horn? Yichuan mused, observing the slender, sharp horn measuring over a meter in length with some skepticism. The system quickly elucidated, Fate's Horn. A unique singularity, can effortlessly pierce through hard boulders and possesses potent toxicity, capable of inducing anesthesia in the dolphin. Is this my weapon for the dolphin? How is it used? Yichuan inquired eagerly. The Fate's Horn shares a profound connection with the dolphin. Simply toss it to the dolphin, and a miracle will unfold. Though perplexed, Yichuan followed the system's guidance, summoning the dolphin and hurling the horn towards it. As a blinding light erupted, Yichuan was astonished to see the 1-meter-long horn sprout between the dolphin's eyes, forming a 30-degree angle with its body. If the dolphin were to employ Absolute Impact in conjunction with this Fate's Horn, the resultant power would undoubtedly be exhilarating. Moreover, it was noteworthy that the horn could manifest or vanish at the dolphin's will, remaining concealed until combat necessitated its appearance. Furthermore, the dolphin's information panel now displayed the skill Fate's Horn, Paralysis Duration, 3s, implying that this attack could incapacitate enemies for 3 seconds, a sufficient duration indeed. Ecstatic. Subsequently, Yichuan produced 27,000 points and allocated them to the 3 small creatures. As their physiques gradually expanded, he accessed their information panels. Name, Albatross Level, 14, Mature, Evolution Value, 01000 skills, Diving Claws, capable of grasping objects weighing up to 300 kilograms, Flame Feather Arrows, 14 units. Human Piloted Flight, Talents, Diving, Fish Catching, Flying, Long Voyage. Albatross Upgrade Complete. Congratulations, the host pet has reached level 14 and received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? Albatross Upgrade Complete. Congratulations, the host pet has reached level 14 and received an upgrade gift pack. Would you like to open it? As Yichuan observed, the system's voice chimed in, prompting him to exclaim, Open all. Congratulations, the host has received 1,000 growth points, 43 wooden planks, 27 stones, and 1 lucky blind box. Congratulations, the host has received 1,000 growth points, 55 plastics, 21 metal sheets, and 1 small airplane manufacturing blueprint. Congratulations. The host has received 1,000 growth points, 43 stones, 26 metal sheets, and 1 incomplete treasure map. The incomplete treasure map was a welcome addition, as he previously possessed 3 fragments, and now he had 4. To assemble a complete treasure map, 10 fragments were required, meaning he still needed 6 more. Almost there. However, the emergence of a lucky blind box sparked Yichuan's anticipation, leading him to promptly declare, Open the blind box. Blind box opening. Congratulations. The host has received a double amplification for 1 day, pending use. Alas, another double amplification, delightful. Yet, Yichuan felt a twinge of regret as the rewards had concluded before the double amplification was unveiled, rendering it somewhat anticlimactic. Fortunately, there were still many supply boxes to open. Without hesitation, Yichuan approached the head of the sea turtle and began to open the supply boxes one by one. 12 wooden planks, 5 metal sheets, 3 bottles of mineral water, 11 stones, 7 plastics, for metal sheets, 2 purple sweet potato breads, 13 wooden planks, 6 metal sheets, 5 instant noodles. With the application of the double amplification, all rewards doubled. Oh system, perhaps in the future you might consider offering a double amplification lasting 48 or even 72 hours, for 24 hours feels rather insufficient. Wouldn't you agree? Having completed the tasks, Yichuan inhaled deeply and chuckled to himself. Yet, as he had imagined, the system remained unresponsive, akin to an immovable object. After lunch, with a moment of leisure, Yichuan donned his diving suit and leaped into the sea, eager to personally experience the strength of the currents. However, as soon as he plunged in, the powerful currents thrust him back, proving to be quite daunting. Goodness, these currents are overwhelmingly fierce. Yichuan murmured in disbelief. Pondering the nature of the seabed, was it truly this way in both novice zones? This seems to be the first time, doesn't it? This time, Yichuan leapt high into the air and immediately unleashed absolute gravity, his body crashing into the sea like a cannonball. With this impact, Yichuan plunged into the ocean to a depth of at least 1,000 meters. In the dim depths, he discerned a fissure on the seabed, not particularly large, stretching for hundreds of nautical miles and continuously extending to either side, from which currents were surging forth. What lay within this fissure? Yichuan furrowed his brow, eager to discover its secrets. Yet even dolphins could not venture so deeply into the ocean, and submarines were pressed against the surface. It seemed exceedingly difficult to investigate. The critical issue was that the system remained silent. After some contemplation, Yichuan opened the public chat room of the foreign region, hoping to ascertain if anyone possessed any knowledge. Damn it, my small submarine has been expelled from the sea. What on earth is happening? It was utterly baffling. I tossed a large rock from the island into the water, and it was all swept away. Simply insane. Brothers, this situation seems to be related to a colossal marine creature. Chapter 266, Super Shockwave, the Evolution of the Island. Upon hearing this, the individual immediately became the center of attention, and everyone began to inquire, "Dude, is this for real? How enormous could such a marine creature possibly be?" Indeed, this current affected the entire novice area. What marine creature could be so vast? Sigh. You must be joking. Yet the individual replied earnestly, "I have no reason to deceive you. I stood at the boundary of the novice area and the marine world, and I clearly saw the currents extending from the marine world. There's no mistake about it. If that is the case, then the situation remains unclear. Perhaps it is a terrifyingly large marine creature, or maybe it is another natural phenomenon. Who can say for certain? Alas, we can only wait and see." Although everyone continued to speculate, no one truly understood the specifics of the situation. As the day passed without any further incidents, Yichuan originally intended to procure some items. However, he currently possessed an abundance of basic resources, each numbering in the hundreds of thousands, and rare materials were equally plentiful, rendering further acquisitions unnecessary. After all, if something truly special existed, it was likely that no one else possessed it either. That evening, after sharing meals with a few companions, Yichuan dined while watching a movie, eventually heading to bed just past 10 o'clock. Detected that the system has not yet been checked in. Would you like to check in? Yichuan felt he had barely slept for 3 minutes when the system's voice interrupted his slumber. "Check in," he murmured, rubbing his eyes. "Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have earned 1,000 evolution points and a triple amplification card." The system promptly responded. With the double amplification, everything transformed into double. However, Yichuan did not feel a sense of fulfillment or joy. After all, the double amplification had lasted for over 20 hours. Yet he had not acquired anything of value. Was this double amplification not a waste? After having breakfast, Yichuan stepped outside for a brief glance. At that moment, the system's voice echoed, "Island upgrade complete. Congratulations, host. Your island has been upgraded to level 14. Would you like to open the upgrade gift package?" "Open it," Yichuan exclaimed, his expression shifting with anticipation. "Opening. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 5 A-grade pineapples, 9 medium nutrient solutions, and 1 super shockwave." Under the effect of the double amplification, everything was doubled. However, Yichuan's attention was drawn to the super shockwave, prompting him to inquire, "System, what is the super shockwave?" The super shockwave is akin to the shockwave produced by an explosion, yet it is over 10,000 times more powerful. Upon use, the host can selectively destroy everything within a radius of 100 kilometers. The system promptly replied, "It is cast by the sea turtle and can annihilate aircraft carriers weighing up to 100,000 tons, usable once every 7 days." "Wow, that's incredible," Yichuan exclaimed in disbelief. After all, this was an exceptionally fearsome capability, allowing for selective destruction. If he wished to obliterate multiple fleets within a 100-kilometer range, it would be a simple task. If the sea turtle previously excelled in defense, but lacked offensive power, it had now truly transformed into a formidable aircraft carrier capable of both attack and defense. Furthermore, the most exhilarating aspect was that, under the double amplification, he now possessed 2 super shockwaves. Although there was a 7-day interval required before another could be deployed, utilizing it just once could potentially annihilate all enemies. At that moment, Yichuan felt that this double amplification was indeed worth it. It was a blissful feeling, akin to sunshine after the rain. Taking a deep breath, Yichuan laughed heartily and turned to gaze at the small hill. Currently, the small hill had evolved and was estimated to be over 170 meters tall, stretching to about 200 meters in length, truly a proper small hill. The spring water at its base was notably thicker than that at level 13. As Yichuan climbed towards the hill, he couldn't resist scooping some up to drink, finding it as sweet and refreshing as ever. Looking down from the hill, a verdant expanse of towering trees stretched out below, evoking a sense of grandeur. "Old Boo," Yichuan called out. The Boo clan giant ape from the forest immediately emerged from the storage, approaching Yichuan with utmost reverence. Yichuan tossed it a gourd of fragrant wine, and after gulping it down, the ape surprisingly let out a satisfied belch, much like a human. Given that it was the day of evolution, Yichuan was apprehensive that the Boo clan giant ape might disappear due to the evolution, which was why he had summoned it outside the forest before retiring for the night. Indeed, the Boosie giant ape remains unaffected. After all, it is a terrestrial creature, and with everyone else gone, it stands as a formidable force on its own. Its existence must not be extinguished. "Old Boo, your home has undergone tremendous changes. Let us venture inside and see what it has transformed into," Yichuan said with a cheerful smile, leading the Boosie giant ape into the woods. With over an hour remaining before the double amplification fades, they aim to secure the newly emerged powerful terrestrial creatures to reap additional benefits. The ground was damp, seemingly because the evolution of the forest had not dissipated the rainwater from before. Small creatures within the woods appeared particularly fond of the soft earth, leaving their footprints imprinted in the moist soil, resembling a beautiful work of art. Chickens painted bamboo leaves, dogs depicted plum blossoms, ducks illustrated maple leaves, and ponies sketched crescent moons. Without the need for paint or brushes, a few steps produced a masterpiece. However, Yichuan found it peculiar. Previously, when the Boosie giant ape was present, even the birds refrained from calling out. Yet now, after the evolution, a multitude of small animals emerged, and even the birds chirped merrily. Could it be that this time, no terrifying terrestrial creatures had evolved? That seemed improbable. Contemplating this, Yichuan decided to venture deeper into the woods. Perhaps some truly fearsome beings would not emit a menacing aura, yet could still qualify as terrifying Class A terrestrial creatures. After advancing over 100 meters, they delved into the heart of the forest. Suddenly, the Boosie giant ape extended a hand, blocking Yichuan's path, squinting its eyes as it fixed a cold stare ahead. Yichuan's heart raced with anticipation. It was evident that something ahead was intimidating enough to provoke the Boosie giant ape. After several tense seconds, the Boosie giant ape picked up a stone the size of a basketball and hurled it towards a certain spot with force. A resounding thud echoed, but it appeared not to strike anything. Yichuan looked at the Boosie giant ape with curiosity. Just then, a swift sound cut through the air, and a gray figure sped forth from the depths of the woods, its elongated shape reminiscent of a giant python. With a mighty roar, the Boosie giant ape charged forward, delivering a powerful kick to the oncoming creature. The collision produced a thunderous noise. It was only then that Yichuan discerned the creature before him, over 7 meters in length, with 4 legs and a mouth measuring a meter long, filled with sharp teeth. A giant lizard? System, is this a giant lizard? Yichuan inquired with uncertainty. Ancient giant lizard, class a terrestrial creature, measuring 79 meters, weighing 1940 kilograms, possessing claws as sharp as those of a phantom leopard, and teeth capable of piercing a 3 centimeters thick steel plate, capable of poisoning any terrestrial creature below Class S. The system promptly responded. I must say, the A-grade terrestrial creature is indeed formidable. No wonder even the behemoth ape holds it in such high regard. Yichuan immediately adopted a serious demeanor, slowly drawing forth his long knife. After all, one would expect such a creature to be relatively slow, yet in that fleeting moment, its movements were nearly imperceptible to him, a testament to its speed, which must be at least around 300 kilometers per hour. Even though his agility had significantly improved, engaging in battle alone would undoubtedly pose a considerable challenge. Old Boo, this creature is exceptionally powerful. We must be cautious and avoid its claws or teeth at all costs. Yichuan murmured, and in an instant, he unleashed a projectile while stepping forward in unison with the behemoth ape. The behemoth ape charged head-on, while Yichuan launched a surprise attack from the side. However, as an A-grade terrestrial being, the ancient monitor lizard's combat prowess was not to be underestimated. Its razor-sharp claws lunged at the behemoth ape, while its 2-meter-long tail swept towards Yichuan, who was poised to attack from the flank. Yichuan leaped high, bringing his long knife down upon the tail. With a resounding clang, the blade, capable of slicing through a meter-thick solid iron, only managed to penetrate halfway into the tail, which was merely a foot in diameter. Fortunately, he withdrew the knife swiftly, retreating 7 or 8 meters just as the ancient monitor lizard turned to counterattack. Otherwise, he would likely have sustained injuries. "Old Boo, lend me some strength," Yichuan urgently called out, promising, "If we take down this behemoth, I shall treat you to 2 gourds of exquisite honeyed wine and a feast of charcoal-grilled ancient monitor lizard." Roaring in response, the behemoth ape seemed to comprehend Yichuan's rallying cry and let out a tremendous bellow before turning to flee. "Old Boo, wait." Yichuan was taken aback. His promise was quite generous, and it was disheartening to see the creature not only slack off, but also run away. Nevertheless, at that critical juncture, Yichuan had no time for further contemplation, his figure flashing as he re-engaged the ancient monitor lizard in battle. However, despite Yichuan's formidable physique and strength having reached impressive heights, he still paled in comparison to the A-grade terrestrial creature. Just as Yichuan found it increasingly difficult to withstand the ancient monitor lizard's onslaught, a resounding crash echoed as the behemoth ape leaped in from a distance, wielding a massive, jagged stone and crashing it down upon the monitor lizard's head. The critical moment came as the ancient monitor lizard was momentarily distracted by Yichuan's support, and the behemoth ape only cried out just before the stone struck, rendering the whole event rather sudden. The stone came crashing down on the monitor lizard's head with a resounding thud. With a dull thump, the ancient monitor lizard's head slammed into the ground. Yet, such an attack was evidently trivial for an A-grade creature. As it began to rise, the behemoth ape had already leaped onto it, delivering a series of thunderous blows with its fist, each the size of a sandbag, raining down upon the monitor lizard's forehead. After a mere few seconds, the ancient giant lizard had endured over a dozen blows, with blood streaming from its mouth and nose. Finally, its tail lashed out violently, sending the Boo clan's giant ape flying. In the next moment, the ancient giant lizard raised its claw, seemingly poised to strike the ape once more. Yichuan let out a fierce roar, gripping his long sword tightly with one hand and striking down towards the lizard's claw. With a resounding clang, 5 claws soared into the air. In that instant, the ancient giant lizard let out a piercing scream, its eyes locking onto Yichuan, now a fiery red. It charged towards him with an astonishing speed, once again defying Yichuan's attempts to capture its fleeting form. Relying solely on instinct, Yichuan summoned all his strength to unleash absolute gravity, delivering a fierce slash forward. In the blink of an eye, Yichuan found himself kneeling, gasping for breath, his body drenched in dark blood. Meanwhile, the once majestic ancient giant lizard had been cleaved in two. Starting from its head, cursing under his breath, Yichuan grimaced as he noticed numerous wounds appearing on the back of his hand, remnants of the lizard's sharp teeth during the struggle. As he observed the wounds beginning to heal, he felt relieved. Fortunately, he had become immune to toxins, and despite the potency of this A-grade terrestrial creature's venom, he felt little impact. "Old Boo, you should remain in the woods from now on," Yichuan said with a smile as the Boo clan's giant ape approached. "If we eliminate this creature, you will still reign as the king of this forest." Seemingly understanding Yichuan's words, the giant ape nodded in agreement. "Congratulations, host, for slaying an A-grade terrestrial creature. Reward, lucky gift pack. Would you like to open it?" The system's voice resonated, filling Yichuan with anticipation. Delighted, Yichuan exclaimed, "Open it." "Opening successful. Congratulations, host, for receiving 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of nutrient solution, and 1 exclusive nutrient solution for special tree species, along with 1 triple amplification card." With the double amplification in effect, all rewards were effectively doubled. However, Yichuan decided to use a triple amplification card on the exclusive nutrient solution, transforming it into 3 units. After all, the exclusive nutrient solution for special tree species was relatively rare. Having previously acquired only 2 units, it was prudent to stock up to avoid future shortages. Leaving the Boo clan's giant ape in the woods, Yichuan returned to his dwelling and dripped 1 unit of the exclusive nutrient solution onto the miraculous tree. He watched as the 3rd section began to gradually sprout symmetrical protrusions. Chapter 268, The Terrifying Undersea Tentacles. At this point, the miraculous tree's 3rd 30 meters was deemed complete. Gazing at the slowly emerging protrusions, Yichuan mused, "I wonder how many more 30-meter sections remain to grow." Currently, the sea turtle had acquired the ability to float, potentially reaching heights of several hundred meters and sustaining this elevation for months. If this wondrous tree is indeed connected to the Sky City, then could Turtle Island also gain access to this celestial realm? Contemplating this, Yichuan felt a glimmer of hope. However, regarding the Sky City, he had only gleaned a few hints from Friday, and further information eluded him. A splendid day begins with the conquest of an A-grade terrestrial creature. Gazing at the breakfast spread before him, Yichuan first distributed a portion to each of the 6 individuals before indulging in his own. He then sought out Saturday, inquiring, "Saturday, do you have any knowledge of the Sky City?" Upon hearing this, Saturday's movements momentarily froze, and he subsequently shook his head. "Brother Chuan, what is the Sky City?" Amused, Yichuan replied, "Come on, you're not fooling anyone. Your slip is all too apparent. Even I can see through it. Brother Chuan, all I know is that the Sky City does not exist within the same dimension as the ocean world and Blue Star," Saturday explained, his lips curling slightly. "Moreover, it seems that only seasoned island lords who have drifted in the ocean world for over 20 years possess any inkling of the Sky City's existence." "And what else?" Yichuan pressed, noticing Saturday's silence. "That's all I'm aware of," Saturday stated with utmost seriousness. "This knowledge was embedded in my mind upon my creation." Just like Friday, it appeared that while Friday was only aware of the Sky City, Saturday possessed a slightly broader scope of understanding, yet still merely scratched the surface. Could it be that other robots in this dimension also held fragments of knowledge? If so, perhaps the combined insights of all robots regarding the Sky City would yield a complete picture? Of course, this was merely Yichuan's conjecture. The true nature of the matter would likely only be revealed upon encountering those seasoned island lords who had drifted for over 20 years. Suddenly, Yichuan felt an increasing turbulence, as if the ship's anchor could not stabilize the vessel. After lunch, he sensed a gentle swaying once more. Stepping outside his room, he observed colossal bubbles continuously surging from the depths of the sea, causing his brow to furrow. Could trouble be brewing? Just as he pondered this, the swaying intensified, akin to a magnitude 5 earthquake. Following this, Turtle Island began to shift rapidly, nearly reaching a speed of 200 nautical miles. Yichuan immediately activated his absolute defense to prevent anything from being scattered by the tumultuous waters. What in the world is happening? Surely, they cannot be targeting Turtle Island specifically. Yichuan gritted his teeth and quickly checked the messages in the Foreign District's public chat room. "Did you feel that tremor? It feels as if an earthquake has struck. Damn, this is tragic. My island has been struck and sunk, forcing me onto my medium-sized submarine. It seems there truly is something terrifying lurking beneath the sea." What transpired was rather perplexing. A mere tremor occurred, and then everything vanished without a trace, leaving no discernible impact on my surroundings. It seems the disturbance was limited to this vicinity. However, one thing is certain, the entity was not targeting Turtle Island. Contemplating this, Yichuan activated the eye of transmission and beheld a colossal tentacle swiftly retracting into the depths, its girth comparable to that of an octopus's limb. Yet, what manner of appendage could be so extensive and lengthy? The reason Turtle Island was being dragged along was due to the anchor inadvertently snagging onto it. How on earth could I dislodge the anchor? Yichuan furrowed his brow, unable to contain his frustration. The anchor was tightly ensnared around the tentacle. The options were either to be dragged into the open sea or sever the tentacle. The system promptly proposed 2 solutions. How infuriating. This was tantamount to saying nothing at all. Moreover, if the dolphin ventured into the open waters, it would face the peril of self-detonation. Turtle Island, too, would likely meet a similar fate. It appears I have no choice but to resort to the latter plan. Without delay, Yichuan unsheathed a formidable blade, donned his diving suit, and, buoyed by the dolphin, plunged rapidly towards the seabed. Fortunately, the ocean floor here was merely 2,000 meters deep. The dolphin swiftly brought Yichuan to within a mere 2,000 meters. Thanks to the tentacle's frantic movements, the upward currents had diminished by at least 80%. Otherwise, it would have been uncertain whether Yichuan could have reached this depth. Dispensing with the dolphin's assistance, Yichuan employed absolute gravity. His entire frame suddenly augmented with the weight of 1,000 tons. Gripping the blade tightly, he struck fiercely at the tentacle adjacent to the anchor. A resounding boom echoed across the waters, even underwater, reverberating for thousands of meters. The sharp blade, combined with his formidable strength, cleaved through 2/3 of the tentacle. However, this act incited the wrath of the appendage, which began to thrash violently, its mere swipe reducing massive stones on the seabed to rubble. Yichuan was left in awe. After all, having severed only 2/3 of the tentacle, one could only imagine the devastation its true form could unleash upon the entire novice zone. Yet, despite this, with the dolphin's aid, Yichuan clung tenaciously to the remaining portion of the tentacle and commenced a rapid cutting motion with his blade. The tentacle, sensing pain, continued to struggle fiercely, slamming Yichuan against the ground repeatedly, causing him to spew blood and feel as though his very bones were disintegrating. Fortunately, just as he was on the brink of exhaustion, he finally managed to sever the tentacle. After Turtle Island drifted over 10 nautical miles, it gradually stabilized, and the anchor began to retract towards the island. Yichuan was also propelled towards the surface by the dolphin. Coughing, he lay back on the sandy beach, still expelling blood. This was truly a brutal ordeal. Yichuan could firmly assert that since his arrival at the oceanic world, he had never felt such desolation, as if death were imminent. And all of this was merely due to a single tentacle, whose tentacle possessed such extraordinary prowess. Even an S-class sea crawler would likely meet its end in the presence of this tentacle. Congratulations, host, for undertaking an extreme challenge and injuring an SSS-class marine creature. Do you wish to claim your reward, a luck-filled gift package? At that moment, the system's voice suddenly resonated. The world fell silent. Chapter 269, SSS Class. Autonomous breathing underwater, Yichuan felt a deafening buzz in his head. SSS Class. How many SSS-class marine creatures roamed the vast seas? To think he had encountered one, and even severed a tentacle. No wonder that a mere tentacle could surpass the might of an S-class sea crawler, especially considering it was operating at only half its potential. It was unfathomable to imagine the devastation this tentacle could wreak unrestrained. Not only would he be in peril, but even Turtle Island would likely be reduced to mere fragments. For the first time, Yichuan experienced the terrifying power of an SSS-class marine being. Strength had seemingly become his most fervent desire, particularly as his wealth reached a certain threshold, reducing it to a mere number. It appeared that strength was to be his foremost objective moving forward. Taking a deep breath, Yichuan consumed 500 milliliters of S-class freshwater before solemnly declaring, "Activate." Activation successful. Congratulations, host, for receiving 200 kilograms of fertile black soil, 10 units of nutrient solution, 1 internal elixir from an S-class marine creature, 1 experience gift package, 1 resource gift package, 2 absolute defenses, and 1 miraculous pill. The contents were identical to those from the previous lucky gift package earned after vanquishing the sea crawler. However, acquiring 2 additional absolute defenses was indeed commendable. Alas, if only the double enhancement had not expired, he would have relished the benefits even more. Yichuan shook his head, then noticed the miraculous pill. It was undoubtedly a valuable item, though its potential effects remained unknown. With that thought, he promptly swallowed the miraculous pill. Nothing happened. Yichuan felt perplexed. Could it be that this miraculous pill had expired? Congratulations, host. You have acquired the ability to breathe underwater, enabling survival for up to 30 minutes. 5 minutes later, the system spoke again. Incredible. Yichuan's expression shifted. He had not anticipated such a remarkable ability. Previously, he had relied solely on his diving suit, which stored oxygen for 15 minutes of breathing. However, having this ability was far superior. Now, he possessed the power to breathe underwater for half an hour, an extraordinary capability indeed. With this newfound strength in mind, Yichuan leaped directly into the sea. He was pleasantly surprised to discover that his skin could directly absorb oxygen from the seawater and release carbon dioxide, akin to breathing through his nose. How cool. Moreover, Yichuan was overjoyed to find that he could effortlessly dive to depths of 1,000 meters beneath the sea. However, to descend further, he might require the assistance of dolphins or the absolute force of gravity. To experiment, Yichuan swam in the ocean for half an hour. This half hour marked a critical threshold. Prior to it, his skin breathed normally without issue, but afterward, it became entirely ineffective, leaving him to rely solely on holding his breath. Consequently, Yichuan swiftly returned to Turtle Island. What a thrill! Perhaps due to the remarkable transformation of his physique, he felt as if he were walking on solid ground in the water. While he could not entirely replicate land-based combat, he found himself more than capable of dealing with A-grade marine creatures. Indeed, that tentacle was worth the effort. Yichuan nodded in satisfaction. When the super anchor was retrieved, that tentacle was brought up as well. Nonetheless, it had previously appeared to stretch for several hundred, even thousands of nautical miles. Yet at this moment, seemed to measure merely a few dozen meters. Could it be that this SSS-level octopus had the ability to retract its tentacles? Saturday, can you handle this SSS-level marine creature's tentacle? Yichuan inquired, scratching his head. SSS level. Saturday exclaimed in surprise. Brother Chuan, you actually managed to procure such an extraordinary ingredient. Extraordinary? Yichuan chuckled. It's beyond extraordinary. It's like a little cow on a plane. Simply astounding. Saturday replied excitedly. You have no idea. The higher the level of the marine creature, the more exquisite its flesh. And if it's beyond SSS level, consuming its meat might even grant you one of its abilities. Are there marine creatures above SSS level? Yichuan asked, astonished. My programming indicates that there are, but I do not know what those creatures are, Saturday stated earnestly. Brother Chuan, leave it to me. For dinner, you shall feast upon the most delectable food since entering the marine world. Much appreciated. Yichuan patted Saturday on the shoulder before returning to his room. The 2 knives he crafted for Lu Yi had not been collected by her, prompting Yichuan to shake his head slightly. It seemed she did not intend to contact him until she had risen to prominence. He chose not to send her any further messages, instead revoking the transaction and glancing at the public chat room. Has the air current disappeared? Are we safe now? Currently, I am at the boundary between the novice area and the marine world. Half an hour ago, I witnessed an enormous tentacle retracting from the novice zone into the marine world. It appeared to be injured. Is that true? Such a long tentacle must belong to an S-grade marine creature, yet it can be injured? I saw it clearly. Its tentacle was indeed severed by someone. My goodness. Can it be that even the formidable S-class and even more terrifying entities can be harmed? How utterly dreadful. Presently, no further useful information has emerged, and Yichuan could not help but chuckle and shake his head. With nothing pressing at hand, he simply opened an action film to indulge in a brief respite. Meanwhile, over 700 nautical miles away, deep beneath the ocean's surface, Blueberry Jam was swiftly navigating a large submarine. Suddenly, an alarm blared on the radar, indicating that a large threatening creature was approaching. Heavens, what is happening? What should I do? Blueberry Jam felt a cold sweat trickle down her brow and immediately sent a message to Yichuan. Brother, a large unidentified creature is heading towards me. What should I do? There was no response. Panic surged within Blueberry Jam, but then a spark of inspiration struck her, prompting her to send a message to the group chat. Liang Hongying replied instantaneously. What are you waiting for? Load the ammunition and launch an attack. I don't know how. I'm scared. Blueberry Jam sent a distressed emoji. Don't worry, our large submarine is fully automated. You can operate the mechanical arm to load the ammunition and then aim at the target to attack. Lu Yawai encouraged. Give it a try. Very well then. Fueled by a surge of determination, Blueberry Jam controlled the mechanical arm to load a homing torpedo into the launch chamber, then aimed at the target and pressed the launch button. Chapter 270. The encounter of Blueberry Jam with the Squalodon. The submarine's radar could detect objects within a range of 100 nautical miles. At the moment Blueberry Jam pressed the launch button, the unidentified creature was approximately 80 nautical miles away. While the torpedo's speed was 80 nautical miles per hour, the creature's speed remained uncertain. Amidst her anxiety, a full half-hour passed, and both the torpedo and the target had vanished from sight. Did I just eliminate that unidentified creature? Blueberry Jam swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. Just as she intended to inquire with the others, the previously lost target suddenly reappeared. What is going on? Blueberry Jam's face paled, and she quickly messaged the group. I just launched a torpedo that hit the target, but it vanished for several seconds and then reappeared. What on earth is happening? One torpedo is insufficient to deal with it. It seems the newcomer is not friendly. Xiao Feilong sent a bewildered emoji. When the distance narrowed to 10 nautical miles, Zhao Feiyu suggested, launch 3 homing missiles simultaneously. Only by firing all 3 at once can we hope to eliminate the foe, no matter what it is. I will give it a try. Blueberry Jam promptly replied. Meanwhile, over 1,000 nautical miles away on a medium-sized submarine, Liang Hongying's face darkened considerably. This reckless girl. How can she be so worrisome? Is she trying to drive me mad? In that moment, everyone felt a tight knot of anxiety in their hearts. Yet, the one most distressed was Blueberry Jam, who had long prepared the homing missiles and was anxiously awaiting the target to approach within 10 nautical miles. 10 full minutes had elapsed. Above the location where the unidentified creature had just emerged 10 nautical miles away, Blueberry Jam promptly pressed the launch button. In an instant, 3 tracking missiles were unleashed toward the enigmatic being, brimming with firepower. It must be dealt with. It absolutely must be vanquished. Clenching her tiny fists, Blueberry Jam felt her heart race uncontrollably. This indescribable sensation was something she had never experienced before in her life. Soon enough, a terrifying shockwave struck the submarine 3 times in quick succession, causing a slight tremor. The target vanished once again, and this time, even after more than 30 seconds, it failed to reappear on the radar. Had it truly perished? Blueberry Jam bit her lip tightly, her almond-shaped eyes fixated on the radar. 5 minutes passed, and still, there were no indications on the radar, prompting Blueberry Jam to finally exhale a sigh of relief. It seemed that this time, it had truly been eliminated. It was only after finishing the film that Yichuan noticed Blueberry Jam's messages, as well as those in the group chat. He promptly replied to Blueberry Jam, I was not in front of the super tablet just now. What is the situation now? I have launched 3 tracking missiles. And it should be dead by now, right? Blueberry Jam responded, "It has been 5 minutes, and it still hasn't shown up on the radar. I believe it should be finished." Bang! Just as Blueberry Jam finished her message to Yichuan and was about to reassure the group, the entire submarine was suddenly struck with a violent impact, causing her face to pale. She then caught sight of a massive head peering coldly at her through the command cabin's glass. In that instant, Blueberry Jam let out a piercing scream, landing on the floor in shock, utterly at a loss for what to do. Bang! Yet the enormous sea creature showed no signs of discouragement. After failing to damage the submarine on its first strike, it prepared for a second assault. As the submarine rocked, Blueberry Jam gradually regained her composure, trembling as she stood up to closely examine the colossal being. Though the sea monster was considerably smaller than the submarine, it still measured over 20 meters in length, especially with its gaping maw lined with sharp teeth, while its sides were remarkably smooth, evoking an inexplicable sensation. Moreover, the previous 3 missile strikes had inflicted grave injuries on one side of its body, with blood oozing out due to its violent thrashing, a sight both shocking and gruesome. Fortunately, the 2 impacts had merely caused the large submarine to sway without inflicting any damage, which temporarily reassured Blueberry Jam. She immediately replied to Yichuan, "Brother, the 3 missiles did not kill it. It has now struck the submarine twice, but thankfully, it has not caused any harm. What on earth is this creature?" Yichuan inquired urgently. At that moment, Blueberry Jam meticulously described the characteristics of the sea monster to him. A slippery tooth dragon. Yichuan furrowed his brow. This is a marine creature over 20 meters in length and weighing 60 to 70 tons, classified as a B-grade marine organism, inferior to the megalodon. Yet its strength should not be underestimated. Fortunately, modern submarines are exceptionally formidable and have been further enhanced, allowing them to withstand the impact of the Mosasaurus with unwavering resilience. Yichuan promptly reassured, "Do not fear, my dear. This is not an overwhelmingly powerful creature. Prepare 3 more tracking missiles and target its wounded area. Having attacked it 3 times already, is it feasible to continue?" Blueberry Jam inquired with some hesitation. "Rest assured, the 3 missiles have already inflicted damage. Striking its wounded area again will not exacerbate its injuries." Yichuan replied with an expression of determination. Blueberry Jam, encouraged by his words, proceeded to follow the same strategy, aligning her aim with the Mosasaurus's wound before pressing the launch button once more. The Mosasaurus circled the submarine several times, a top predator on the hunt for any vulnerability. Once detected, it could deliver a lethal blow to the vessel. With a few soft sounds, the Mosasaurus noticed the creature that had just wounded it reappearing and did not hesitate to flee. Alas, escape was futile. It was pursued relentlessly. Within mere minutes, the 3 tracking missiles detonated consecutively upon the Mosasaurus's wound. 3 shock waves surged forth, and this time the injury intensified by at least 3-fold. Blueberry Jam dared not look. Was this truly the wound I caused? How cruel. What is the status now? Yichuan inquired after a few minutes. All 3 missiles struck it. The wound measures a shocking 7 to 8 meters in length, and it appears quite alarming. I find myself filled with compassion. Blueberry Jam responded. Oh my. Just as she finished her reply, she shrieked in astonishment. A dozen great white sharks had emerged from the distance, launching an attack on the Mosasaurus. Chapter 271. What kind of place is this? You do not kill. Despite the formidable combat prowess of the Mosasaurus, it was now gravely injured and besieged by a swarm of great white sharks. After the Mosasaurus had dispatched 7 or 8 of them, the remaining sharks seized the opportunity to relentlessly assault its wound. As blood stained nearly 100 meters of the ocean, the Mosasaurus finally succumbed. Its immense body began to sink slowly into the depths of the sea, commencing a languid descent. After several minutes, Blueberry Jam emerged from her shock. This was her first encounter with such an intense battle, witnessing the brutal demise of a creature so vast, falling victim to the combined efforts of herself and the great white sharks. In that moment, an inexplicable transformation stirred within her heart. As Blueberry Jam gazed at the multitude of caring messages in the chat, a wave of emotion washed over her. After sending a simple okay in response to Yichuan, she finally addressed the group. Rest assured, I have successfully vanquished that creature. It was quite a close call. I always said that the combat prowess of a large submarine is formidable. Was it a plesiosaur, as my elder brother mentioned? It seems to be one of the most terrifying marine creatures from the late Jurassic period. Regardless, what matters is that I have dealt with the threat, marking a significant personal growth. Take heed, foolish girl. In an instant, everyone in the group began to comfort Blueberry Jam in their own unique ways. She felt a newfound strength. Even if she were to encounter another sea beast, she would no longer be paralyzed with fear. Sending a grinning emoji, she thought to herself. Honestly, I feel quite formidable now. Seeing that Blueberry Jam was not overly affected by this experience, everyone finally relaxed and burst into laughter. Soon, the night descended, enveloping the island in a rich, enticing aroma. Yichuan, who had previously lacked appetite, found his stomach grumbling at the delightful scent. Saturday, is our dinner not yet ready? This smells absolutely divine. Just a few more minutes on the grill, Saturday replied loudly. And I've prepared a meat soup with lychee mushrooms. In about 5 minutes. We shall feast. Excellent. Yichuan chuckled, arranging the stone table outside and pouring some floral wine. He then called over the bushy giant ape, grinning as he said, Old Boo, today, Brother Chuan will let you experience the taste of SSS-grade marine creature meat. I bet you've never had anything like it before. At this remark, the little eyes of the bushy giant ape sparkled with excitement. Whether it was the sight of the floral wine or the promise of tasting SSS-grade marine meat, it was clear that Old Boo was in high spirits. Saturday did not disappoint Yichuan, grilling the octopus to perfection, crispy on the outside and tender within. Yichuan, suppressing his own hunger, first distributed the food among the 6 of them before finally taking a piece of the grilled octopus for himself. It melted in his mouth. The previously detected aroma intensified, transforming into a new flavor once it reached his stomach. While it may not surpass the initial fragrance, this unique taste was equally praiseworthy. Indeed, as Saturday had claimed, the flavor was among the finest delicacies he had ever tasted. Yichuan inhaled deeply, savoring the aroma, and then took a sip of floral wine, absolutely exquisite. The bushy giant ape, too, was captivated by the flavor, scarcely pausing to drink the floral wine, devouring at least 5 pounds of octopus meat within minutes. Thankfully, Saturday had grilled plenty, or else Yichuan would hardly have had any. After over an hour of indulgence, Yichuan consumed 3 pounds of octopus, a large bowl of meat soup, and a pound of floral wine, only just beginning to feel full. His body felt warm, likely due to the faint energy contained within the flesh of the SSS-grade marine creature, which he had absorbed. What a delightful feast it was. Standing up and stretching, Yichuan couldn't help but laugh heartily as he bid farewell to the giant ape of the Boo family, intending to wash up and retire for the night. Just as he opened his eyes, the system's voice echoed, Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to do so? Under the influence of his biological clock, he promptly responded, Check in. Check-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution value gift package, the system announced. Wow. Another evolution value gift package. It seems that evolution points are quite abundant at the moment, Yichuan murmured to himself, now standing at the door. The Turtle Island had come to a standstill, which startled Yichuan. He quickly approached to take a look and was astonished to see that they had reached the boundary between the ocean world and the novice zone. He could also see the enormous crack suspended in midair, which appeared as though it could be shattered with just a few cannonballs. System. How many days until the novice zone opens? Yichuan inquired. 5 days, the system replied succinctly. Wow, that's soon. Yichuan exclaimed with a smile, speculating that perhaps some of them had already arrived at the designated coordinates. As dawn broke, Lu Yuwei had already arrived near the coordinates. Following Yichuan's earlier advice, she did not rush forward but instead began scanning with her radar, quickly yielding results. 1 large attack-capable sailboat and 2 small submarines. This revelation caused Lu Yuwei to frown. After all, she had never had combat experience, yet now she faced 3 targets. If she were to eliminate them, wouldn't that be considered murder? Eventually, she sent a message to Yichuan. Brother, I have arrived at the destination. But my mining area currently has a large attack-capable sailboat and 2 small submarines. Then use the tracking missiles to attack all 3 targets. Yichuan replied, having just seen her message. But is killing okay? Lu Yuwei replied timidly, feeling it might not be right to take a life. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback. Not kill. He found it somewhat absurd but replied nonetheless. The moment you entered the ocean world, the concept of not killing became foreign to you. Moreover, as soon as you discovered them, they also became aware of your presence. Believe it or not, in a few minutes, it could very well be you instead of them who is eliminated. Lu Yuwei was conflicted. Sister, be brave and take action. Yichuan concluded, choosing not to engage further with her. What kind of place was this, where refraining from killing seemed utterly impractical? Just then, an urgent alarm blared. Startling Lu Yuwei, the 2 small submarines had launched torpedoes at her. Chapter 272. Lu Yuwei comes to a realization. Oh my goodness. How did they launch torpedoes first? Lu Yuwei panicked. Perhaps in a moment of inspiration. She quickly deployed a dozen torpedo decoys from the large submarine to counter the incoming torpedoes. Subsequently, Liu Yue ceased her musings and simultaneously targeted the colossal ship along with two smaller submarines, promptly pressing the launch button. In an instant, 3 missiles were launched with great velocity. The most rudimentary of torpedoes soon encountered a torpedo countermeasure, resulting in 2 of them detonating prematurely. Infuriatingly, the target remained unscathed. Within one of the smaller submarines, an individual observed the explosion of the torpedoes, his brow furrowing in frustration. Could it be that they triggered a school of fish? Just as he pondered this, alarms blared, signaling an incoming attack. Cursed be the luck, having refrained from striking for so long. He had assumed that the submarine bore no weaponry. In a state of urgency, he dashed to reload. Yet, his speed was insufficient. As he collided with a torpedo, preparing for another assault, a missile struck the submarine. What on earth is happening? The small submarine began to rock violently, and the man was thrown about, sustaining a head injury that bled profusely. The incessant wailing of the alarm echoed, a testament to the destructive force of the torpedo, which had inflicted irreversible damage upon the vessel. He swiftly sent a message to the group chat. "Hurry and rescue me. My submarine has been hit, and seawater is about to flood in. Damn it, do you think you are the only one in peril? My submarine has also sustained damage. A second explosion is imminent, and the hatch is jammed. I cannot escape. Not to mention, our large ship has also exploded. You must have seen the gaping hole in the hull. Repairs will take an eternity. You ought to fend for yourselves. Please, save me first. I can fix the ship." Following a heated exchange, the group fell into silence, each ignoring the other. The man seethed with frustration, perhaps sharing the same fate as the submarine, his hatch now inoperable. He resolved to escape through the torpedo compartment. But as he entered, a torpedo detonated within. Just as he glimpsed a flicker of hope for survival, his fate was sealed. On the radar, both submarines had vanished. Yet the large ship remained, casting a shadow of doubt upon Liu Yue. Why does it persist? Could it be that a single missile had little effect? Resolute in her intent, Liu Yue dismissed her doubts and prepared to deploy another torpedo, pressing the launch button once more. Aboard the large ship, several individuals were busily engaged in repairs. They had utilized their basic materials to construct the vessel, and their current resources were scarce. 2 among them were desperately seeking to acquire materials at exorbitant prices, sweat glistening on their foreheads. However, before they could finalize a transaction with a resource-rich source, a torpedo struck the previous target once again, transforming what had been a minor leak into a gaping 5-meter-wide hole, allowing water to pour in rapidly, rendering their materials insufficient for repairs. What on earth is happening? Is there someone who knows of a mine in this location? The captain was trembling with rage. Yet we had been stationed here for 10 days without a single soul daring to explore. "Captain, discussing this now serves no purpose." The island lord beside him remarked darkly. "Having abandoned our island to follow you, now that the great ship has sunk, are we to perish alongside you? This vessel lacks a lifeboat. For I feared you would betray me. The lifeboat was discarded long ago." The captain shook his head slightly, stating that apart from death, you have no other choice. Curse it. Upon hearing this, 5 or 6 novice island lords were incensed. "If death is inevitable, let us kill him to assuage our grievances," one island lord suggested, prompting agreement from the others as they rushed toward the captain. On the radar, the signal of the great ship vanished after 10 minutes. Liu Yue finally let out a long sigh of relief and messaged Yichuan. "Brother, both the submarine and the great ship have been sunk. I have dispatched them all." Finally, seeing this message, Yichuan nodded in satisfaction. The survival of the fittest is the law of the ocean. Only a fool would utter the words "do not kill." Liu Yue couldn't help but stick out her tongue. It was quite embarrassing to be called a fool by her brother. Yet, he was not wrong. At such a moment, she was still pondering the question of whether to kill or not, which was no different from being a complete fool. Liu Yue replied, "This time, I finally understand. I will certainly not make such a foolish mistake again. Brother, you have taught me yet another lesson. It is those island lords who have imparted this lesson. Otherwise, would you have followed my advice?" Yichuan retorted with irritation before leaving the room. In the novice area, all necessary tasks had been completed, and with so many resources gathered, it seemed that now all that remained was to await the opening of the novice zone to venture forth. How exhilarating! Out in the open sea, a colossal octopus, hundreds of meters in size and possessing 12 legs, was swiftly making its way toward the novice area. Wherever it passed, monstrous waves surged, even swallowing entire islands belonging to well-established island lords. This octopus was indeed a creature that instilled terror in all who heard of it, with every being encountered fleeing in fear. "Boss." Outside the novice area, the sea raiders found their leader and anxiously reported, "That giant octopus is currently heading toward the novice area." "A giant octopus? The man was momentarily stunned, but his expression quickly shifted to one of alarm. You mean the SSS-class cunning tentacle octopus? Yes, that very one. His subordinates nodded vigorously. Though reluctant to admit it, they spoke. It has annihilated everything in its path. Seemingly in a furious rage. I recall that it was this creature that extended its tentacles into the novice area, causing the unprecedented upheaval that turned it into hell mode. Right? The man spoke with a sullen expression, expressing disbelief that it had come in person. Was there something in the novice area that captivated its attention? Surely. It must be that tentacle that had suffered in the novice zone. A subordinate responded, otherwise, it wouldn't be so enraged. Boss, could it be that fellow who killed the 8-step spider? At that moment, someone unexpectedly inquired. Chapter 273, The Revenge of the SSS-class Sea Beast. There is a possibility. The man nodded slightly. Shall we withdraw? The subordinate whispered. Withdraw? The man looked at his subordinate as if he were a fool and asked irritably. What do you mean by withdraw? This left the subordinate at a loss for words, and he timidly remarked, Boss, the cunning hand octopus, as an SSS-class entity, previously escaped unscathed from the life-forbidden zone. If we provoke it, shouldn't we calculate its trajectory and simply avoid it? The man replied nonchalantly. Its target is the novice area, not us. Why are you panicking? All right then. The subordinate bit his lip and retreated meekly. A day swiftly passed, and Yichuan maintained his usual routine until he finally went to bed, glancing at the messages in the public chat room. This is so boring. Why is it so hard to find resources? I've been searching for 10 days and haven't found a single spot. I did discover one location, but it was already claimed by someone else, and I wasted 2 of my attack-capable medium-sized sailboats. I've had enough. Indeed, many resources seem to have been taken. We can't compete. So we might have to wait until after the novice period to search elsewhere. Reading these messages, Yichuan found them somewhat amusing. The novice period was designed to protect everyone and help them develop quickly. Historically, novice island masters had a high likelihood of discovering mineral resources in the novice area. Once they entered the oceanic world, the veteran island masters had already scoured for years, making it exceedingly difficult to find resources anew. Alternatively, one could act like Zhao Taifeng and seize the merfolk settlement, but without formidable strength, that path was akin to a dead end. These novice island masters were truly naive. Time to sleep. Host has not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? The system's voice resonated as Yichuan awoke and stepped out of his room. Sign in, Yichuan said, already noticing the tumultuous ocean world outside the barrier. Towering waves, reaching heights of over 10 meters, crashed against the barrier, appearing particularly terrifying. What on earth is happening? What is going on in the ocean world? Sign in successful. Congratulations, host has received 1,000 evolution points and absolute defense 1. The system's voice followed. System, what is happening outside? Yichuan couldn't help but ask. Crash. As the words fell, a colossal column of water surged skyward, reaching heights of several hundred meters. With the retreat of the surrounding sea, a gigantic octopus, equally towering, materialized before Yichuan. Although separated by a barrier of the novice zone, the sheer size of this octopus was astonishing. Could it possibly be the SSS-level creature? Yichuan questioned incredulously. Was the tentacle I devoured truly linked to it? Before long, a massive tentacle of the enigmatic octopus extended towards the sky, confirming Yichuan's earlier conjecture that its appendages could indeed stretch and contract at will. In mere seconds, the tentacle elongated to hundreds of kilometers, thickening to several dozen meters, before crashing down upon Yichuan with tremendous force. Was this creature seeking vengeance upon me? Yichuan was momentarily bewildered. However, the presence of the barrier offered some comfort. Besides, his absolute defense had yet to dissipate. With dual layers of protection, he believed he could withstand such an onslaught. The tentacle struck the barrier with a resounding impact, causing the immense structure to tremble violently, and fine fragments began to rain down. The deafening noise nearly shattered Yichuan's eardrums. Within the novice zone, the ocean erupted into towering waves, chaotic and fierce. Several large, aggressive sailing vessels were caught in the tumult, disintegrating under the force. Their occupants left bloodied and without a grave. This was a catastrophe within the novice zone. Tens of thousands perished instantly from the shockwave of that single attack. In the next moment, the absolute defense shattered, and Yichuan found himself seated on the ground, a flicker of fear crossing his face. It was hard to fathom that even through the rules of this oceanic realm, this SSS-level sea beast could unleash such terrifying power. Without the barrier, how many island masters within the novice zone would have escaped its clutches? After failing to strike, the octopus's enormous, menacing eye, nearly a dozen meters in diameter, fixed coldly upon Yichuan. If looks could kill, he would have been torn asunder. Was it merely for consuming one of your tentacles that you would go to such lengths to hunt me down? Yichuan remarked with a wry smile. Perhaps I could offer you a giant octopus in return? Yet, the enigmatic octopus seemed oblivious to Yichuan's words, its tentacle poised for a second assault. System, what should I do? Yichuan felt a knot tighten in his throat. Should this behemoth launch successive attacks, the outcome would be an early end to the novice period. The novice zone prematurely opening, and the demise of all island masters at its hands. Rest assured, host, this time the tentacle shall not strike. The system finally responded. With the system's assurance, Yichuan felt a wave of relief, though he still inquired, why? Marine creatures of S rank and above are strictly prohibited from attacking the novice area. This is an unyielding rule within the realm of the ocean. The system elucidated that should this rule be flouted, even beings of SSS rank or higher would be obliterated by the very regulations they defy. Yichuan grasped the gravity of the situation. All marine life resides within this aquatic world. No matter how formidable one may be, the rules of the ocean hold dominion over all. The system had already shown leniency towards the beast. However, should it persist in its aggression, there would be no doubt of its demise. As the system indicated, after a brief half-minute, the cunning octopus finally retracted its tentacles, yet it did not depart, instead fixating its gaze upon Yichuan. It appeared to be waiting, poised to strike as soon as the novice area was accessible, ready to eliminate him without hesitation. Yichuan was left agape. This colossal creature harbored a temperament of immense pride. After roaming the ocean for decades, why stoop to contend with someone of his insignificant stature? This was utterly unbecoming of an SSS rank marine being. What on earth was he to do? Chapter 274. A hidden task, confronting the octopus. Faced with the relentless scrutiny of the creature, Yichuan found himself exasperated. Ultimately, he directed the sea turtle to steer in another direction. If he could not confront it, could he not at least evade it? Yet, it was utterly disheartening that no matter which way the turtle went, the conniving octopus followed suit. Fixating on Yichuan with unyielding determination. System, can the super shockwave inflict damage upon it? He inquired thoughtfully. Yes, but it will not be fatal, came the system's response. Not fatal? What use is that? Yichuan retorted, recalling that he had heard it could devastate aircraft carriers weighing over 100,000 tons, and thought it quite formidable. Is it not impressive? The system countered unexpectedly. Impressive. Yichuan exclaimed in frustration. If it truly is that powerful, then why not vanquish this giant octopus? The system fell silent. Yichuan, unperturbed, urged the sea turtle to change course toward the depths of the novice area. If evasion was not an option, he might as well distance himself considerably, seeking out an untouched mineral deposit. Once the novice area was opened, if he could survive this ordeal, he would sell the resources he had collected. He had discovered 2 diamond mines in total. One was gifted to Lu Yue, while the other remained unallocated. Thus, he resolved to head towards the unshared diamond mine, to wait for the novice area to be accessible. With a plan in mind, Yichuan commanded the sea turtle to advance, and as they neared the diamond mine, the novice area would soon be opened. Meanwhile, the cunning octopus continued to coldly observe Yichuan, remaining steadfast even as the sea turtle island faded from view. It was clear, it was intent on tracking Yichuan without fail. At that moment, amidst the vast ocean, a formidable legion of 100,000, the warriors of the merfolk, surged forward with great haste. Initially, the gluttonous merfolk departed from the novice zone and swiftly rejoined the main force. With the disappearance of the locator, the merfolk temporarily abandoned their plan to capture the novice island masters. However, since the gluttonous merfolk had returned and were able to locate the novice zone, why not seize the opportunity? Once again, it was the merfolk princess, Yutian, who led an army of 100,000 valiant warriors towards the novice zone. The merfolk warriors were fierce and battle-hardened, capable of facing 10 foes at once. Despite their modest numbers, capturing all the novice island masters would be a trivial task given their current strength. Yet, as the merfolk were 200 nautical miles away from the novice zone, they dispatched scouts to gather intelligence. At this moment, a scout returned, his face etched with terror. "Princess, we may need to retreat," he exclaimed. "What do you mean retreat? What has happened?" A tall merfolk impatiently questioned. One of the scouts timidly replied, "The cunning octopus is just outside the novice zone and has launched an attack. Although it hasn't breached the novice zone's barrier, the casualties inside are likely substantial." The tall merfolk's expression shifted. The cunning octopus has dared to challenge the novice zone? Is there something within that has provoked its wrath? Yutian inquired hesitantly. Could it be my younger brother? The gluttonous merfolk paused, then clapped his hands together in realization. If there is indeed something within the novice zone worth the cunning octopus's ire, It must be my younger brother. How could mere humans offend an SSS-level entity like the cunning octopus? The tall merfolk scoffed. My brother is capable of slaying A-grade marine beasts, such as the great white shark, at an early stage of development. The gluttonous merfolk retorted. Why should he not provoke the cunning octopus? Don't think just because you're strong that you're invincible. The terror of humanity is beyond your comprehension. The tall merfolk's expression darkened. Enough, Yutian exclaimed sharply. After a moment of contemplation, she added, for now, we shall remain here and wait for the novice zone to reopen before we act. Princess, we shall heed your command. The gluttonous merfolk snorted but then smiled cheerfully. When the time comes, I shall introduce you to my brother. His exquisite wine is simply unforgettable. Hee. Damn it. The tall merfolk seethed silently at the gluttonous merfolk's eagerness to curry favor with Yutian. If not for her presence, a confrontation would have already ensued. How dare you introduce my little Yutian to a human? Before long, Yechuan had ventured several hundred nautical miles, and the sky gradually darkened. Sitting atop a small hill and gazing at the vast sea, Yechuan couldn't help but let out a roar towards the heavens. 3 months had passed since he, an orphan with nothing, entered the novice zone. Not only had he amassed considerable wealth, but he had also incurred the wrath of an SSS-level behemoth and forged a bond with the long-lost Eternal Clan, gathering 7 united companions along the way. Everything feels like a dream. Yet, I am uncertain if I shall ever return to solid ground. Perhaps the ocean is my true home? Just as I pondered this, the voice of the system interrupted my thoughts. Hidden task detected. Will the host accept? I was taken aback. Why is the system presenting me with a hidden task at this moment? Hidden task. The host must acquire a fragment from the 12th tentacle of the SSS-grade creature, the cunning octopus, within 1 week. A generous reward awaits upon completion. Will you accept? The system elaborated. What? I was stunned. Are you out of your mind? You just mentioned this morning that even a super shockwave couldn't defeat the cunning octopus, and now you want me to procure a tentacle? Why not just send me to my demise instead? The host may choose to accept or decline. The system responded again. Wait a moment. Hadn't I already severed one of its tentacles? Wasn't that the 12th one? I suddenly realized and hastily inquired. That was the first tentacle, the system coldly replied. Damn. I felt a twitch at the corner of my mouth, wanting to curse, but found myself powerless, merely nodding in resignation. Fine, I accept. The host has accepted the hidden task. Please complete it promptly. The system replied immediately. Promptly? If that's the case, then why don't you just open the novice area for me right now? I yelled in frustration, convinced that my earlier mockery had provoked the system into concocting this elaborate scheme against me. You've turned rogue, system. You are not what you once were. Silence ensued, as if the system had crashed again. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. TMD, since there's nothing pressing at the moment, I might as well drown my sorrows and drink. With that thought in mind, I bellowed, Saturday, let's feast. Chapter 275, Super Missile, time to get to work. This time, I did not indulge in Baihua wine or monkey liquor. Instead, I opted for Erguo 2. I downed a liter and devoured 2 kilograms of braised pork before succumbing to a deep slumber. When I awoke the next day, it was already past 9 in the morning. I stretched lazily, still enveloped in the scent of alcohol, and chuckled wryly as I shook my head. As I made my way to the bathroom, I uttered, sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have obtained 1,000 evolution points and the blueprint for the super missile. The system's voice followed. A blueprint for a super missile? After my shower, I immediately examined the blueprint, only to discover that it required 2 tons of explosives. This revelation left me astounded. What an enormous bomb that would be. Had the system, feeling remorseful after my late-night critique, gifted me this? Everything else seemed manageable. But I would need to gather some sulfur and nitrate once more. Estimating that they must have finished their breakfast, Yichuan consumed a solitary piece of bread and sought out the girl from their previous transaction. He addressed her directly, sister. This time I require 1,000 kilograms each of sulfur and saltpeter. What is your price? Also a ton of charcoal. The other party responded immediately, indicating a pressing need for charcoal to manufacture explosives, thus foregoing any additional items. Yichuan, exhibiting great generosity, promptly placed 1 ton of charcoal in the trading column, stating, I happen to have an excess of charcoal. Let us both take what we need. The other party did not hesitate, listing the sulfur and saltpeter, and the transaction was completed. Without delay, Yichuan utilized 10,000 metal sheets, 1,000 plastic pieces, and 100 fabric scraps to construct a formidable super missile, towering at 10 meters and approximately 2 meters in diameter. A truly spectacular sight. System, I now possess the super missile, but where is the launch pad? Yichuan inquired while seated beside the missile. To his dismay, the system remained silent. Would it perhaps be provided during tomorrow's or the following day's sign-in? He thought little of it, knowing that as soon as the novice zone opened, the launch pad would be in place. As noon approached, Yichuan glanced at the messages in the public chat room, astonished to find that even after a day and a night, discussions about the mysterious strike from the octopus were still rampant. My ears are still ringing. What on earth was that yesterday morning? I was close to the novice zone's barrier and witnessed a massive tentacle descending from the sky, crashing into the barrier, which caused such chaos. Wow, you actually saw that. It must have been breathtaking. I observed it from my medium-sized submarine, which was jolted and sank nearly 100 meters underwater. Fortunately, nothing serious happened. Otherwise, brother, that was impressive. After a brief period of reading, finding nothing particularly useful, Yichuan decided to move on. Just as Saturday's lunch was prepared, he portioned out 6 servings before beginning his meal. In the afternoon, he contemplated taking a nap. However, just as he lay down, the dolphin sounded an alarm. Utilizing the transmission of thought, he discovered a medium-sized submarine slowly approaching from dozens of nautical miles away, having already launched a torpedo. Goodness, this fellow truly lacks awareness. Can he not see this massive sea turtle? Yichuan shook his head in disbelief and promptly leaped into the water. The sea turtle, having already detected the torpedo, unleashed a water bullet towards it. The colossal water bullet collided with the torpedo over 10 miles away, tragically resulting in an explosion before the torpedo could achieve its purpose. Meanwhile, Yichuan had entered the water, swiftly propelled towards the medium-sized submarine by the dolphin. The submarine, regardless of whether it launched torpedoes or missiles, could not breach the defenses of the sea turtle. Thus, it was fully capable of confronting this vessel. In Yichuan's perception, there were only enemies or friends. With sufficient allies at his side, all remaining entities were deemed adversaries. How infuriating it was that the explosion had occurred before reaching the destination. Within the medium-sized submarine, several individuals were monitoring the radar. What was intended to be a decisive strike had unexpectedly detonated mid-course. This left them in a state of confusion, and after a brief contemplation, they resolved to launch 3 missiles at the object ahead, determined to achieve a lethal blow. What could that possibly be? At that moment, a girl suddenly exclaimed in disbelief, pointing at a particular spot. The group hastily turned their gaze, only to discover a human figure, coldly observing them from 300 meters beneath the surface. The shock experienced by the group was almost indescribable. Was this truly a human or some kind of merfolk, capable of enduring such depths? Regardless of what it was, it certainly was not human. While humans could dive, surviving at a depth of 300 meters without succumbing to exhaustion or breathlessness was utterly implausible. Should we attack him? As they deliberated, Yichuan had already drawn his long sword and struck fiercely at the hatch, the sheer force coupled with the blade's sharpness effortlessly cleaving a gash in the door. In an instant, seawater began to rush into the submarine. How infuriating! What sort of weapon is he wielding? Is that a knife? How could it possibly slice through the hatch? The girl screamed in disbelief, her face a mask of astonishment. What should we do? We must flee. Do you think we can escape? The leading man replied with a cold laugh. We possess weapons, after all. Let us arm ourselves and confront him. Upon hearing this, the others nodded slightly. They had trained in underwater swimming for 3 years and could maneuver effortlessly in the water for a short duration. Dealing with one individual would surely be within their grasp. Crack! The sound of Yichuan's sword striking the hatch echoed once more. This time, even more seawater surged in, and the group decided against repairing the submarine. There was an island ahead, and they could always seize it. Without hesitation, they exited the torpedo launch chamber, each armed with either crossbows or machetes, charging toward Yichuan. Oh, how bold they were to emerge. Did they intend to teach me a lesson? Watching the eager group, Yichuan chuckled. Chapter 276. What lies beyond the gold mine? The group was momentarily taken aback. They had distinctly heard Yichuan's words. This person could speak underwater. Was he truly human? However, it is no longer permissible to ponder such matters. A few individuals, eager for confrontation, began to advance with their weapons drawn, while others armed with crossbows launched their bolts towards Yichuan. Yichuan, having sheathed his large blade, effortlessly seized one of the incoming bolts and, with a swift motion, thrust it into the chest of the foremost assailant. The assailants, already hindered by the sluggishness of their movements in the water, underestimated Yichuan's speed. As the bolt approached, they hastily attempted to defend themselves, but their reactions were woefully inadequate. They could only watch helplessly as the bolt pierced their chest, blood spilling forth. And they began to quietly embrace the inevitability of death. The remaining individuals were left utterly astonished. This person was indeed no ordinary human. They had initially believed their numbers would easily subdue him, only to realize they were mere prey. He could inflict harm without even wielding a weapon. The girl who first used the crossbow turned and fled, swiftly making her way towards the surface of the sea. Yichuan, however, chuckled to himself, swiftly incapacitating the remaining assailants and dragging them back to the submarine, where he began to plunder their belongings. The haul was substantial, amounting to 30 to 40,000 in basic supplies, along with large and medium-sized attack vessels, aircraft, and a tattered map. The spoils were satisfactory, and Yichuan promptly transferred everything to Cole's account before quickly returning to Turtle Island under the guidance of the dolphin. Just before the remaining assailants succumbed to their wounds, he managed to complete the transaction. Meanwhile, the girl had already floated to the surface, but she was still over 10 kilometers away from Turtle Island, surrounded by nothingness. She could only swim in the direction she remembered. To her astonishment, after just 5 minutes of swimming, the island appeared within her sight, momentarily leading her to believe she was hallucinating. As the island drew closer, her surprise deepened. It seemed to be moving on its own. Yichuan stood leisurely by the shore, sipping coconut juice with a smile as he inquired, "Have you made it ashore? You truly are human." The girl exclaimed incredulously, "But how can you speak underwater? That is something you need not concern yourself with." Yichuan replied with a grin. "You were just about to bombard my island with torpedoes, and I believe we need to have a proper discussion about that. Don't you agree? This world is inherently one of survival of the fittest," the girl replied with a resigned shrug. "Either we kill you, or you kill us. If we are outmatched and you retaliate, then so be it. Why bother with all this contemplation?" Her words left Yichuan momentarily speechless. She had a point. "How about this? Tell me something I might find intriguing, and perhaps I shall spare your life," he said, his smile unwavering. The girl's expression darkened. The man, in a desperate bid for survival, found himself bereft of his super tablet. In this vast oceanic realm, he would likely be deemed a mere outcast, with no hope of accessing resource boxes, a fate seemingly worse than death itself. "You need not fret excessively," Yichuan interjected, "in 3 to 4 days. The novice zone will be accessible. I believe that even without your super tablet, you can at least manage to survive." 3 to 4 days. The woman was taken aback by his words, which appeared to hold a semblance of truth. If indeed there were only a few days left until the novice zone opened, then attacking him now could lead to utter devastation for her, a fate too grim to contemplate. Regret washed over her, and she bit her lip, declaring, "I know of a mine, a rich gold mine, but I fear you may lack the capability to claim it." "I am quite curious to know the location of this gold mine," Yichuan replied, his demeanor shifting as he grinned. The woman promptly supplied him with a coordinate. Yichuan paused for a moment. The site was precisely at the juncture of the Jiuzhou and foreign regions, nestled just beneath the barrier. However, the barrier between the two regions had since dissipated. This mine could be easily acquired. Yet the woman's insinuation of his inadequacy suggested it was perilous, either fiercely guarded by a formidable island lord or inhabited by guardians akin to the previous sea catfish. "Is this coordinate genuine?" Yichuan asked, his gaze fixed intently on her. "I have no reason to deceive you," she replied nonchalantly, shrugging slightly. "However, besides the gold mine, there is another item I shall not disclose. You must see for yourself." "Very well, I shall honor my promise and spare you this once," Yichuan said coolly. "You may depart. Letting me go just like that is akin to signing my death warrant," she retorted, pouting slightly. "At the very least, grant me a small boat." "Fine. I shall provide you with one," Yichuan said, his tone turning serious. "But be forewarned, should you deceive me, your demise will be far worse than that of those others." With that, Yichuan tossed a small boat into the water, which materialized 100 meters away from her. The Turtle Island swiftly headed toward the intended target. He was now near the boundary of the two regions and anticipated reaching the coordinates provided by the woman by dawn the following day. Meanwhile, the woman struggled for a good 10 minutes before finally managing to clamber onto the small boat, which had drifted 500 or 600 meters away. Exhausted, she collapsed onto the deck, gasping for breath. After several long minutes, she regained her composure, her eyes scanning the endless sea. Frustrated, she struck the side of the boat with her fist, a fierce determination flashing across her face. "Let us see how you meet your end." With that, she vigorously paddled toward the given coordinates. After a little over an hour of travel, Yichuan received a warning from the dolphin once more. He promptly employed the 5-second shared vision technique, only to find the woman swiftly paddling a small boat behind Turtle Island, her face betraying an expression akin to vengeful delight. "What on earth? Has my fate already been sealed?" Observing her demeanor, Yichuan was momentarily taken aback. However, this only piqued his curiosity further. Apart from the gold mine, what other extraordinary treasures could that place possibly hold? Chapter 277. Could this really be an eel? As night fell, Yichuan sat atop a stone with a bottle of liquor, sipping as he watched the last rays of sunlight fade away, overwhelmed by a wave of emotions. The sea breeze brought a refreshing chill. It was only then that Yichuan returned to his room and, on a whim, sent a message in the small group chat. How is everyone doing at the moment? Ha, big brother. I have already arrived at the mineral coordinates. No anomalies detected either on the sea or beneath it, just waiting for the novice area to open. Xiao Feilong replied in an instant, accompanied by a flurry of grinning emojis. By the way, when are you sending over that bank account number you promised? I'm eager to transfer the money to you at the earliest opportunity. Absolutely, big brother, this is quite urgent. Please send the bank account without delay. Lu Shui chimed in. As for me, I encountered a school of great white sharks, which delayed my progress a bit. I should reach there by tomorrow morning. The others also expressed their sentiments. No problem, I'll send it right away. Yichuan responded, promptly forwarding his bank account details along with the name of the bank. Subsequently, Yichuan glanced at the public chat room. Another tedious day, it seems. Why do I have the feeling that the supply crates are dwindling? Is the novice area nearing its end, and with it, our exclusive benefits? Yet, my own progress is still far from satisfactory. Indeed, much of the time, resources have disproportionately favored foreign regions, even if we are not granted further assistance. Mirroring the previous novice zones where new players could craft battleships before the conclusion of their initiation period seems utterly implausible. 3 months have already passed. Has this novice period been significantly shortened? This remains to be seen. Who truly knows the circumstances? We seem to have drawn the short straw, encountering a hellish initiation phase. With 30 million novice island masters, the danger has nearly subsided, but can we estimate that in our Jiuzhou region, only 1 million of us have survived? Damn. Even 50,000 would be a blessing. Reflecting on this topic, Yichuan couldn't help but sigh softly. As they said, they have endured tremendous hardships. Out of 15 million people in the entire Jiuzhou region, if merely 50,000 remain, that would indeed be a miracle. Nevertheless, this has little bearing on him. Time to sleep. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to do so? The system's voice suddenly interrupted his dreams, causing Yichuan to furrow his brow. How could it already be 6 in the morning after such a brief slumber? A glance at the clock confirmed indeed it was 6 o'clock. Yichuan could not help but mutter about signing in as he exited the room. The voice of the system promptly followed, announcing, sign-in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution points package. Yichuan was taken aback. How had it transformed from a super missile launch platform into an evolution points package? With a twitch of his lips, he inquired, System, this is a matter of life and death. Do not deceive me. The system remained silent, and Yichuan brushed it off. He had now noticed that Turtle Island had come to a halt, indicating they had arrived at the designated coordinates. He immediately activated the semi-transmission. Beneath the sea, a colossal cavern revealed itself, adorned with a multitude of densely embedded golden stones. The quantity of gold here seemed to surpass that of the previously discovered rich gold mine. These golden stones extended deep into the cavern, and the dolphins swiftly entered, only to be astonished by the walls of the cavern entirely covered in gold. Judging by what was visible, there were likely thousands of tons of it. If all of this were gold, the value would surely reach trillions. Even with the rich mineral content of the ore and the gold deposits deeper within the cavern, it could easily amount to trillions. How exhilarating. However, just mere seconds after the dolphin entered the cavern, the semi-transmission was abruptly interrupted, and the dolphin shot back up, leaving Yichuan uncertain about the terrifying entities that might dwell within. Nevertheless, realizing the cavern might be quite profound, he had no intention of exploring it. After having breakfast, he tossed the super anchor into the sea. The descent from the surface to the seabed was approximately 500 meters, and it soon reached the bottom. The super anchor continued to delve deeper, leaving Yichuan astonished. This cavern was roughly 2,000 meters in depth. As the super anchor reached the cavern's floor, a slight tremor coursed through the entire cavern, prompting Yichuan to retract the anchor immediately. Moments later, a massive serpent-like creature emerged from the cavern, its head resembling that of a snake, adorned with yellow spots, particularly unsightly. It was nearly 2 meters thick. What on earth was this? A diamond sea eel? Yet, the largest diamond sea eel typically measures only 60 centimeters in length. Judging by its girth, this creature must have been dozens, if not hundreds, of meters long. Yichuan recalled that Lu Yi had once been bitten by a type of sea eel called the green giant, which was venomous. Fortunately, the diamond sea eel was non-toxic. But even a small sea eel's bite was painful, let alone this giant. However, The diamond sea eel appeared very cautious. It merely extended its 5 or 6 meter long head, observing for several seconds before retracting back into the cavern, disappearing from sight. Oh, so this colossal sea eel could not be dealt with by that woman, who claimed she lacked the ability. Yichuan scoffed, quickly moving to employ the super-automatic fishing gun, aiming it at the cavern before pressing the activation button. The 7-meter-long spear gun was launched with great force, swiftly penetrating deep into the cavern. The diamond sea eel had been quietly waiting, much like a hunter poised for its prey. As the spear gun delved nearly 100 meters into the cave, the diamond sea eel suddenly opened its mouth wide and fiercely clamped down on the spear gun. All its teeth exerted pressure, almost leaving bite marks on the weapon. In the next instant, the spear gun's barbs were released, hooking deeply into its flesh. The searing pain compelled the eel to dart back into the cave, its entire body plunging into the depths, tautening the reinforced steel cable. The force was so immense that it caused a slight tremor on Turtle Island, as if the island were being pulled into the sea. The sea turtle, with a gentle exertion of strength, firmly anchored itself in place. Realizing it could not escape this predicament, the diamond sea eel ceased its concealment and emerged fully from the cave, leaving Yichuan astonished. Was this eel truly over 200 meters long? Chapter 278. Who knows the meat on the plate? Each piece is delicious goodness. How thick, large, and long. Gazing at the diamond sea eel, Yichuan was utterly astounded. Despite having mentally prepared himself for the vastness of the ocean world, he was still momentarily taken aback. The sea eel seemed to sense the source of its troubles lay on Turtle Island and charged directly towards it, swiftly twisting its body to strike the turtle with its lengthy tail. The reverse current technique was unleashed, drastically reducing the eel's speed by at least threefold, followed by a colossal water blast crashing against its tail. Regrettably for the eel, which had mustered the courage to attack such a large creature, it was instead thwarted by the sea turtle's might. Although it attempted to break free, the strength of the reinforced steel cable was overwhelmingly powerful. Yichuan had already pulled back 2,000 meters of the cable, leaving only 1,000 meters still outside, preventing the eel from retreating to its cave. The poor diamond sea eel was in a state of despair. After struggling a few more times, it turned skyward once again. This time, however, it did not aim for the turtle, but instead leaped into the open air, breaching the water's surface, its small eyes finally catching sight of everything on the turtle's back. It then plunged back into the water, swiftly darting in a particular direction. If you think your size can drag me down, you are indeed naive. Yichuan scoffed, pondering how the eel could possibly imagine pulling the turtle anywhere. Indeed, despite the eel weighing several tons, it could not move the turtle at all. Instead, the turtle abruptly retreated, causing the eel to stumble, blood gushing from its mouth. The diamond sea eel felt a pang of hopelessness. How had it been deceived into leaving its cave, only to be treated in such a manner? What had it done wrong? As the diamond eel turned once more, it resolved to make a final attempt at escape. This time, it surged not from the depths of the sea, but rather propelled itself from the surface, intending to leap directly onto the island and shatter the fish spear launcher, thereby seizing its chance for freedom. Undoubtedly, this was a high-stakes gamble. Should fortune favor it, it would emerge unscathed. Should it falter, it would become a mere dish upon the table. Come on. Yichuan chuckled heartily, sprinting forward before leaping gracefully onto one side's back. Soaring into the sky, he then spun around, wielding a great blade, and descended with ferocity upon the diamond eel. Initially, the eel had aimed for the fish spear launcher, but upon seeing Yichuan plummeting from above, intent on claiming its life, it swiftly altered its attack strategy, twisting its body and unleashing its massive tail towards Yichuan. If I cannot strike down the great sea turtle, how could I possibly miss a diminutive creature like you? Yichuan laughed, deploying absolute gravity, a force of over 1,000 tons crashing down upon the eel's tail, accompanied by the blade that had already been thrust forward before the gravity descended. Upon landing, there were now two eels. The diamond eel opened its mouth, its body writhing violently. Fortunately, they were on the beach, causing no disturbance to the island. Otherwise, it would have been quite bothersome. Saturday, Yichuan exclaimed, wiping his blade. Brother Chuan. Saturday promptly dashed over. Here is a raw ingredient for you. Shall we whip something up today? Yichuan asked with a grin. That sounds splendid. Upon seeing such a sizable eel, Saturday's excitement was palpable as he eagerly nodded. I'll prepare a few dishes with its front half for lunch and whip up some appetizers with the back half this afternoon. Truly impressive. Yichuan gave Saturday a thumbs up, then called for the dolphin. Together, they plunged back into the ocean, the dolphin guiding them deep into the cave. Eventually, they reached the very depths, where they discovered a colossal nugget of gold. This revelation filled Yi Chuan with unshakable conviction that this gold mine was worth at least trillions. He had struck it rich. With exhilaration coursing through him, Yi Chuan was drawn back to Turtle Island by the dolphin. Wow, this is incredible. He laughed heartily. Though he had little interest in wealth, he relished the thrill of watching his bank balance soar. It seemed he would remain here for the time being, waiting for the novice area to open, and once he dealt with that colossal octopus, he would thrive thanks to this gold mine. At noon, Saturday prepared char-grilled eel soup, and crispy fish. It seemed that the diamond eel was indeed of a superior quality, its flavor remarkably exquisite. Leaving Yi Chuan eagerly anticipating whether the evening's eel would be even more delectable. After a brief slumber, he awoke to the evening. The aroma of fish wafting through the air. Clearly, Saturday was once again preparing dinner with the eel. Yi Chuan stretched lazily and strolled around Turtle Island. Upon his return, dinner was perfectly prepared. After exchanging a few items with the others, Yi Chuan poured himself a bowl of floral wine, savoring it alongside some fish while enjoying Guo Xiaojiang's comedic performance. As the evening progressed, after indulging in his meal and drink, he continued watching a film, not retiring to bed until well past 11 o'clock. In the small group chat, numerous messages had been exchanged, with everyone having arrived at their respective mining zones. Except for Blueberry Jam, the others had not encountered any anomalies and remained patiently in place, awaiting the opening of the novice area. Yi Chuan glanced at the public chat messages. Today, I accidentally bumped into the boundary between the novice area and the oceanic world, and I discovered a colossal octopus, towering several hundred meters high, quietly floating in the sea. Is this for real? A several hundred-meter-long octopus must be an elite sea beast, and a high-level one at that. This octopus possesses 12 tentacles, each appearing exceedingly long and quite terrifying. I wonder why it is stationed in the novice area. Could the severe tremors that occurred a few days ago be the result of its presence? It seems that this fellow is describing an SSS-level tentacled octopus. Don't scare us. Why would an SSS-level sea beast wander into the novice area? It must be at least an S-level, right? Look, you still don't believe it. Yi Chuan shook his head with a wry smile as he read the chat. What would these individuals think if they knew that the octopus was heading straight for him? Ultimately, he set aside these musings and drifted into slumber until he was stirred by the system's voice. Sign-in detection. You have not yet signed in. Would you like to sign in? Chapter 279. Wang Sanrui returns. Sign in. Yi Chuan mumbled sleepily. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution value gift package. The system's voice followed. Another evolution value gift package? Yi Chuan frowned slightly. System, what I want is a missile launch pad. A missile launch pad. The system offered no further response, and Yi Chuan, uninterested, exited the room. The dolphin's warning call echoed once more, prompting Yi Chuan to swiftly employ his shared vision ability. It was that woman, persistently making her way towards him, her face set with determination. It appeared she had been paddling this way ever since their parting. Yi Chuan chuckled wryly at this, then sat atop Wangkai and set off towards the woman, who was several kilometers away. For the past 2 days and nights, the woman felt as though she were on the brink of death. Fortunately, she had managed to catch a fish along the way, consuming it raw for a much-needed meal and a slight replenishment of fresh water. Yet, the overwhelming exhaustion still left her feeling as if she were nearing her end. Suddenly, she heard a bird's call and instinctively looked up, only to find a magnificent white bird slowly descending towards her. This sight caused her to furrow her brows, and she grasped her, or as a makeshift weapon, ready to defend herself. To her astonishment, she discovered that perched upon the back of the albatross was none other than Yi Chuan. A shiver ran through her as she struggled to comprehend the nature of this enigmatic individual, who possessed not only a mobile island, but also a flying albatross. How had he transformed such extraordinary creatures into his companions? I have released you, yet you continue to follow me, even to this very place. Do you not value your own life? Yi Chuan inquired coolly. Or shall I end it now? And no, I merely lost my way. The girl hastily replied. I have no idea which direction to take, and I have been wandering aimlessly in hopes of discovering land. Yi Chuan regarded her intently, remaining silent. I speak only the truth. If I utter even a single lie, may lightning strike me. Feeling the weight of his gaze, the girl quickly raised her hand in a vow. You are to turn your boat around immediately and keep your distance, Yi Chuan stated coldly. Once is chance, twice is coincidence, but thrice will not be tolerated. If I catch sight of you again, I shall ensure you return to your homeland. Then please, grant me some food and drink. I am on the verge of starvation and thirst. The girl pressed, emboldened by her circumstances. I have revealed to you the location of a vast gold mine. Surely that merits a decent meal? Sparing your life is the greatest mercy I can offer, and you dare to ask for more? Yichuan replied with a chilling smile. Besides, there lies a gigantic sea eel that I have yet to deal with. Do you truly have the audacity to request sustenance from me? Very well, I shall leave at once. The girl, realizing the futility of her demands, promptly turned and began to row her boat again. She had initially believed that Yichuan had vanquished the monstrous creature, thinking she could recruit a more formidable ally to challenge him and perhaps share in the spoils. However, this seemingly formidable individual was unable to even handle a sea eel, causing her to abandon all her ambitions. Although Yichuan needed to deploy the launch pad, he was not particularly anxious. After all, the current strategy of the system seemed to involve allowing the 5 of them to elevate to the next level. Achieving this would enhance their chances, even against the SSS grade C beasts. If all proceeded smoothly, they would likely level up by tomorrow. After enjoying breakfast, Yichuan found himself with little else to occupy his time and decided to inspect the flora and fauna of the island. Since Lu Yiweiwei's departure, the task of milking had been delegated to Saturday, and fortunately, the creature managed quite well, yielding several extra milliliters from each sheep without any reduction in overall production. Under Saturday's influence, Friday took on the responsibility of feeding the chickens and sheep, which brought an amused smile to Yichuan's face. Previously, he had struggled to compel it to work, yet now, under Saturday's direction, it eagerly volunteered. Could this truly be the power of love? At this moment, the miraculous tree had grown over 20 meters in its 4th stage, and it seemed that soon it would require another infusion of its specialized nutrient solution. Meanwhile, at the boundary between the oceanic realm and the novice zone, the leader of the sea marauders was fixated on an individual standing aboard a grand vessel. Their eyes locked through a barrier, a smile adorning the latter's face. This little rascal is truly unperturbed, remarked a companion with a hearty laugh, gesturing animatedly towards the figure. Naturally, this is my son, Wang Sanrui. The marauder leader responded with a grin, mimicking an embrace towards Wang Sanrui. Indeed, it was Wang Sanrui himself. Despite the initial turmoil instigated by Yichuan, he had displayed remarkable resilience, ultimately boarding a grand vessel that had arrived at the designated coordinates, successfully rallying the crew under the banner of the sea marauders. Even though his super tablet had vanished, leaving him reliant on the goodwill of others, what did it matter? Once the novice zone opened, his father, Wang Zhongyang, would enter and seize all the mineral resources, earning him significant credit. After all, his primary purpose in the oceanic realm was merely to serve as a locator. Everything else was of little consequence. As he contemplated, Wang Sanrui glanced at the faintly pulsating red light beneath the skin of his arm, the very locator planted by Wang Zhongyang himself. Boss, you truly did not deceive me. You are indeed the scion of the sea marauders, exclaimed a foreign man with golden hair and striking features, brimming with excitement. To be part of the sea marauders is simply magnificent. Indeed, otherwise, what did you think the locator I showed you was for? Wang Sanrui replied nonchalantly. The foreign island lord continued, once the novice zone opens, won't you be able to exact your revenge? Certainly. Wang Sanrui nodded, his thoughts drifting back to a harrowing scene. He recalled how he had been shot twice in the calves, and that scoundrel had forced him into the ocean, ensuring there were no islands or vessels within 100 kilometers to escape to, intending for him to sink into the depths or attract sharks to be devoured alive. Yet, fate had other plans. The blood he shed failed to draw any sharks, and after waiting through a long night, a ship arrived the next day to rescue him. One could only surmise that it was destiny's orchestration. As he contemplated his tribulations, a glint of malice flickered in Wang Sanrui's eyes. Yichuan, mark my words, Wang Sanrui, swear to ensure you meet a fate worse than death. Chapter 280. Feiyu takes on 2. Effortlessly and joyfully the day seemed to drag on, devoid of purpose, until evening approached. Checking his super tablet, he found a distress message from Zhao Feiyu. Brother, do you have any formidable weapons left? 2 large submarines have just arrived here. Large submarines. Yichuan was taken aback. Indeed, there are always greater forces at play beyond one's imagination. In the novice zone, it is quite remarkable that there are individuals capable of constructing 2 large submarines. A feat that is undoubtedly the result of collaborative efforts. Nonetheless, it is an impressive accomplishment. Yichuan promptly replied, Brother Yu, I lack any weaponry suitable for deep water operations. However, the medium submarine you possess has been enhanced with a weapon upgrade card, rendering its power comparable to that of a large submarine. If necessary, I can provide you with a diving suit, allowing you to approach and disable its propeller with a short blade. All right, Zhao Feiyu responded instantaneously. Without delay, Yichuan proceeded to trade the diving suit to Zhao Feiyu, which could be utilized for 15 minutes in the deep water area, advising him to conclude the battle within that time frame. However, after receiving the diving suit, Zhao Feiyu departed without further communication, likely in a state of urgency. He couldn't shake the feeling of misfortune. With merely 3 days remaining until the novice zone's opening, encountering such a predicament was nothing short of vexing. Previously, both large submarines had launched 2 torpedoes, of which he successfully neutralized 2 using a torpedo jammer. The remaining 2 were similarly countered as they approached within 100 meters, resulting in a collision that nullified their impact. Within the large submarine, Submarine A sent a message to Submarine B. "Brother, can we manage this? We are struggling against a single medium submarine." The primary issue lay in the fact that this individual possessed torpedoes. Submarine B replied gravely, "Thus far, they have launched 12 torpedoes, and I have only 1 missile remaining. What about you?" "I still have 2 missiles," responded Submarine A sternly, uncertain of how many torpedoes the opponent might still have. This was a crucial juncture. They had a significant advantage against that submarine and could not afford any missteps. "Goodness, it seems he is heading towards me." At that moment, Submarine B suddenly replied, "It appears he intends to launch an offensive. No need to worry. Even if he collides with us, the sturdiness of our submarine is not something he can easily breach." Submarine A replied nonchalantly, "Let us proceed." With the distance to Submarine B shrinking to nearly 100 meters, Zhao Feiyu first launched 3 torpedoes towards Submarine A, followed by 2 torpedoes directed at Submarine B. Damn it, this guy still possesses so many torpedoes. Within Submarine B, 7 or 8 island lords observed the incoming torpedoes, their expressions shifting dramatically. Yet, the proximity between the 2 submarines left them with no time to contemplate. They immediately launched their missile. They hoped the missile would collide with one of the torpedoes, generating enough force to detonate the other 2. In an instant, an explosion erupted. Followed closely by the detonation of 2 torpedoes, the enormous force generated propelling both submarines backward by several dozen meters. However, Zhao Feiyu suddenly shifted his expression. He had launched 3 torpedoes, yet the enemy had only fired a single missile. Could it be that they had exhausted their weaponry? Though this was merely a conjecture, Zhao Feiyu promptly armed 3 missiles and, without hesitation, launched them towards Submarine B before redirecting his vessel towards Submarine A. "Why is it heading towards me?" Submarine A detected an anomaly and immediately sent a message to Submarine B. However, there was no response from Submarine B. What the hell? Inside, the 8 crew members had ceased all activity, not even glancing at the radar. Instead fixated on the glass exterior as 3 missiles hurtled towards them like the scythe of death, crashing violently against the submarine's glass. A tremendous roar followed as the bomb detonated violently, shattering the glass of the submarine. In quick succession, the 2 remaining missiles entered the control room along with the seawater, initiating a second explosion. What happened? Submarine A watched in horror as the signal from Submarine B vanished. Turning swiftly to the small group, they realized the IDs of the 8 crew members had also disappeared. Good grief, a medium-sized submarine has annihilated a large submarine. The complexion of Submarine A changed dramatically as they recognized that the medium-sized submarine was indeed approaching. Without a second thought, they turned to flee. Knowing that this area contained phosphorus mines, they reasoned that they could always return after the novice zone reopened, bringing reinforcements to retaliate. "Do you think you can escape?" Zhao Feiyu smiled coldly, pushing the engine to its limits. The weapon enhancement card from Yichuan had fortified the entire submarine, making its speed comparable to that of a large submarine. Coupled with Zhao Feiyu's proactive pursuit, the distance between them was now merely 1 nautical mile. Meanwhile, Zhao Feiyu had tentatively launched 3 torpedoes. As Submarine A cursed, it fired missiles to disrupt the torpedoes. "No wonder they managed to take us out. They have weapons. They just launched 3 more torpedoes. I estimate they must still have armaments. What good is that to say now? Who told you to provoke them?" A notably striking woman was incensed. "Now they have locked onto you. If we fail to evade even once, it's a dead end. Now you blame me?" The man's expression hardened as he abruptly turned and slapped the woman. "I told you to eliminate that medium-sized submarine, and you were the most eager. Now you have the audacity to blame me. Why don't you just go die? Are you daring to hit me?" The woman glared at him with malice. "Do you know that when the novice zone reopens, you will still depend on my family? How dare you strike me now? To hell with you. We are on the brink of death. What is wrong with hitting you?" The man questioned with a dark expression. "Spare me your nonsense, or I swear. Even if I were to kill you now, no one would dare to speak out." The girl clenched her small fists tightly, seemingly unable to resist the urge to confront the man. Suddenly, a voice pierced through the tension. "They're coming. Oh no, they're coming." At that moment, the man's face changed drastically. He quickly turned to the screen. then took a few swift steps before leaping into the air and delivering a brutal kick to the girl's face. Boom. In that instant, the rear of the submarine was blasted open, followed by another missile entering the submarine's interior, resulting in yet another explosion. Poor girl. Just as she began to feel the pain in her face, it was game over for her. Yes. Zhao Feiyu's expression shifted as he snapped his fingers, laughing heartily. Indeed. No matter what kind of existence one faces, weapons remain the sole proof of strength. He then promptly messaged Yichuan. Both large submarines have been dealt with. They did not emerge from the submarines, and they don't have many torpedoes or missiles. That's good. Yichuan finally felt relieved, acknowledging that this must be a common issue faced by many island masters. After all, even if someone had managed to create an aircraft carrier without weapons, it would merely be a hunk of metal. Indeed, Zhao Feiyu said as he planned to return the diving suit to Yichuan. However, Yichuan declined the transaction. I no longer require the diving suit. Keep it for yourself. If I ever find a need, I may reach out to you. Very well. Zhao Feiyu accepted this without further politeness and promptly stowed the diving suit away. Yichuan couldn't help but press his lips together and exited the room. As he observed the sun nearing the horizon, he stretched lazily, contemplating. After today, only 2 days remain. How exciting. Meanwhile, out at sea, Zhao Tiexiong had personally led a fleet to the outskirts of the novice zone and contacted the leader of the sea plunderers, Wang Zhongyang. Brother Wang, what an insatiable appetite you have, planning to consume the entire novice zone's mineral resources. Oh, Brother Zhao, you rushed here in such haste. Are you also hoping to take a share? Wang Zhongyang laughed heartily. We keep to our own affairs. Did you really need to personally call me? All countries of Blue Star signed an agreement back then, stipulating that even after the novice zone concludes, established island masters cannot arbitrarily attack novice island masters. Nor can they seize resources discovered by them. Zhao Tiexiong replied coldly. Should anyone violate this agreement, they will face a united front. Seemingly, I do not belong to any nation, Wang Zhongyang retorted playfully. Then go ahead and test it. Zhao Tiexiong responded icily. If you dare to enter the novice zone, I, Zhao Tiexiong, will make you question your very existence. You may not be aware, but my son is in the novice zone, and he has survived. Wang Zhongyang jested. Surely, I can claim the minerals he discovers? Your son? Zhao Tiexiong paused, taken aback. Indeed, my son. Wang Zhongyang chuckled. Surprised, aren't you? Zhao Taifeng could not help but glance at his aide beside him, who had already pulled up the data and nodded in acknowledgement. Zhao Taifeng immediately looked at the information and remarked, Wang Sanrui does bear a resemblance to you, yet whether he has discovered any minerals remains uncertain. You need not concern yourself with that. When the novice zone opens, I shall assign him a fleet to reclaim a few mining areas, even through force. Wang Zhongyang chuckled heartily, adding, Moreover, your current worries should not be directed at me, but rather at that formidable octopus, correct? At this, Zhao Taifeng fell into silence. The treacherous hand octopus, an SSS-class sea beast. 3 months prior, the Alliance fleet of over 300 vessels had ventured into that forbidden area to engage the treacherous hand octopus, only to return with barely 20 ships escaping its wrath. This creature epitomized the pinnacle of power within the Forbidden Sea. But what could it possibly seek in the novice zone, lingering for several days without departure? It seemed rather fixated, unlike its previous encounters with the 300 warships. Island Master, if the target of the treacherous hand octopus is indeed the entire novice zone, should we not take action? The aide inquired softly. Take action? How? Zhao Taifeng turned to stare at his aide, questioning. Even if we mobilized our 100 or so warships and over 3,000 warriors, do you believe it would be effective? The aide fell silent. The ruler of the Forbidden Sea, a terrifying being capable of annihilating nearly 300 warships, remained an overwhelming force, even for Zhao Taifeng, one of the most powerful island masters. There's another piece of news, the aide said, pursing his lips before continuing in a hushed tone. The Dracula family is hastily approaching the novice zone. Those werewolves. Zhao Taifeng frowned, realizing the formidable strength of those barbarians. What business do they have in the novice zone? Logically, even if the werewolves found a mining area upon entering the novice zone, the Dracula family would not need to deploy 20 warships immediately. The aide whispered, unless someone has slaughtered all their kin in the novice zone, they might be coming for revenge. Are you referring to the Wolf Clan's mark? Zhao Taifeng turned to his aide, who nodded resolutely in response. This sort of incident last occurred 9 years ago. That pack of wolf cubs was utterly exterminated, and the instigator was pursued across a vast expanse of open sea, ultimately being caught and killed in the Forbidden Sea by this very group. Zhao Taifeng merely nodded, casting his gaze toward the direction of the novice zone. I wonder how that boy Feiyu is faring now. After dining, watching some television, taking a hot shower, and retiring for the night. The public chat room was abuzz with activity. Among the familiar voices were new faces. Wow. I've just discovered that another fleet has arrived outside the novice zone. Why are so many fleets congregating recently? Is that true? There's a massive octopus, along with 2 opposing fleets. If we venture out, won't we be utterly obliterated? Perhaps some privileged youths from powerful factions have also ventured into the novice area, arriving to welcome the young master? And what of that colossal octopus? Could it also be here to greet him? Regardless of the conjectures surrounding this matter, we shall only ascertain the truth once the novice area is unveiled. It seems that the opening is imminent, does it not? Observing the unfolding events, Yichuan found himself momentarily taken aback, realizing the external circumstances were far more intricate than he had anticipated. Nevertheless, it appeared to have no bearing on him. So he resolved to sleep. Awakening at the break of dawn, Yichuan stirred languidly as the system's voice echoed in his mind. Host has not yet checked in. Would you like to sign in? Sign in, he replied wearily, leaning against the headboard. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have acquired 1,000 evolution points and the blueprint for the forbidden gun. The system promptly announced. The forbidden gun? Yichuan was momentarily stunned, suddenly invigorated. Chapter 282, The Forbidden Gun, 2 Blue Steel Essence Stones. System, what is the forbidden gun? Yichuan inquired with curiosity. The forbidden gun is a divine weapon from the Forbidden Sea, unleashing terrifying power contingent upon the user's strength. The system responded without delay. Should the user shatter the mirror, the forbidden gun shall radiate its true brilliance. What does shatter the mirror mean? Yichuan pressed for clarification. Yet, no answer was forthcoming. It remained unclear whether the system was withholding information or simply lacked the knowledge itself. Yichuan quickly examined the crafting requirements for the forbidden gun. Blueprint for the forbidden gun 1, 500,000 metal shards, 5 stones, 5 pieces of glass, and 2 blue steel essence stones. More blue steel essence stones, and 2 of them, no less. Yichuan was left speechless, fully aware that the chances of acquiring such items were exceedingly slim. Even if he were to succeed, the process of melting them alone would take 3 days, surely not in time to confront that monstrous octopus, he mused, feeling a twinge of frustration. Indeed, the most sorrowful plight in this world is having something so close at hand, yet being unable to possess it. Rising to his feet, he distributed breakfast before adopting a trial-and-error approach by posting a message in the public chat room. Willing to pay handsomely for a single blue steel essence stone. Serious inquiries only. What exactly is blue steel essence stone, metal or stone? I have never heard of such a thing, and it appears the teacher never covered it either. Goodness. The ocean world is filled with peculiarities, including this so-called blue steel essence stone. The public chat room erupted with a flurry of discussions, yet none yielded any useful information. Communicating with foreign regions produced similarly unhelpful responses. It seemed he could only rely on luck or hope for a fortunate sign-in reward in the future. Subsequently, with nothing pressing to occupy his time, Yichuan made his way to the Turtle's head, gazing at the towering piles of resource boxes, intent on opening them all. Initially, I intended to open 5 supply boxes in the morning and another 5 in the afternoon, hoping that the probability of uncovering rare items might increase. However, the outcome proved to be no different from opening them all at once. Consequently, Yichuan temporarily set aside the supply boxes, which have now accumulated to over 100. Taking a deep breath, he silently prayed, and then proceeded to open all the boxes. 35 wooden planks, 23 metal sheets, 5 sausages, 13 cloth pieces, 7 wooden boards, 3 stones, 17 wooden boards, 1 blueprint for a large aircraft, and 500 grams of bread. Additionally, he found 11 plastic pieces and 1 blue steel gem. Yichuan could not contain his excitement and exclaimed aloud. Setting aside the other items, the highlight was that after opening more than 100 supply boxes, he had indeed discovered blue steel gems, 3 of them, to be precise, marking a bountiful harvest. Moreover, he also acquired blueprints for a large vessel, a long-range speedboat, and a small warship, all of which are considered valuable assets at this juncture. Immediately, Yichuan called upon Friday, chuckling as he said, Friday, it seems I might need your assistance once more. Brother Chuan, our bond is as sturdy as blue steel. Don't even mention trouble. I'm always here to help. Friday replied with a hearty slap on his chest, exuding camaraderie. Truly a good brother. Yichuan laughed heartily. It's actually not a significant matter. I have 2 blue steel gems that require your expertise. Brother Chuan, what was that you said? Friday inquired. I mentioned it's not a big deal. Just that. Please repeat the previous line, Friday interrupted. I said I might need your help again. Apologies, but I'm rather busy. Friday interjected. I still have crops to tend to and fruit trees to protect from pests. Oh, and Saturday seems to need some factory repairs. As Yichuan pondered, Friday suddenly clasped Yichuan's arm and cheerfully asked, Brother Chuan, are you implying you need to melt those blue steel gems? Indeed, I wonder if you have the time? Yichuan nodded. Of course, I have time. When shall we commence? Friday enthusiastically declared. Even if I have to forego food and sleep, I will ensure this task is completed. Your willingness moves me greatly, Yichuan said, patting Friday's shoulder. He then set up a workspace for Friday in the yard to begin the melting process. Subsequently, Yichuan crafted the long-range speedboat and applied a weapon enhancement card to it. This vessel boasts a remarkable speed of 300 nautical miles, equipped with formidable weaponry, enabling him to wield it against foes. As for the large aircraft and small warship, Yichuan decided to postpone their construction for the time being. With sea turtles beneath the waves and 3 small creatures in the sky, it would be quite nonsensical to expend energy on those builds. However, Yichuan has temporarily crafted all the small aircraft and equipped them with automatic shooters, enhancing them as a whole with a single weapon enhancement card. Whether this is a bug in the system or a small boon, it is quite astonishing that he could strengthen over 100 small aircraft and shooters with just one card. This was truly a remarkable windfall. After completing his tasks, he found that evening had crept upon him. After dinner, Yichuan sat on a stone outside, observing Friday as it melted blue steel essence, while Saturday kept him company, prompting a twinge of envy within Yichuan. Even robots can experience love. The day concluded amidst a flurry of activity, and Yichuan couldn't help but press his lips together. Only 2 days remain. System detected that the user has yet to sign in. Would you like to sign in? In the midst of his slumber, the system's voice echoed once more. Half-dazed, Yichuan muttered, Sign in. Sign in successful. Congratulations, host. You have received 1,000 evolution points and an evolution points gift package. The system's voice followed, yet Yichuan merely turned over and drifted back to sleep. When he awakened, it was already past 8 o'clock. Reflecting on the system's voice, he sighed. Yet another evolution points gift package. It seemed the system intended to allow his 5 companions to level up once more before the novice area was opened. Currently, he had a total of 700 evolution points, which was indeed sufficient to elevate them all by 1 level. Upon exiting his room, he found that Saturday had already placed breakfast on the coffee table, 7 bowls of beef soup, accompanied by 3 pancakes for each person. Yichuan distributed the breakfast, and after swiftly finishing his meal, he hurried outside, first allocating 20,000 evolution points to the sea turtle. Watching as the sea turtle's body underwent a gradual transformation once again, Yichuan promptly opened the sea turtle's panel. Chapter 283, Collective Evolution. The Battle Armor of the Giant Ape. Island Master. Yichuan Type. Sea Turtle Level. 15.02.2000. Skills. Water Bullet. Intermediate. Backflow Technique. Intermediate. Absolute Gravity. 3,500 tons. Talents. Longevity. Rapid Healing. Crawling. Floating. 100 centimeters for 10 minutes. The skills of Water Bullet, Backflow Technique, and Absolute Gravity continued to increase at a slow pace, just as before. What brought Yichuan solace was that floating, as he had previously speculated, indeed doubled both in duration and height upon leveling up, allowing for a 1-meter elevation for 10 minutes. It remains uncertain whether the next enhancement will increase by 50 centimeters for 5 minutes or double again. Only time will reveal the answer. Without further ado, Yichuan proceeded to allocate another 10,000 evolution points to the dolphin. The dolphins began to grow gradually, prompting Yichuan to immediately access the information panel for the dolphins. Name, Dolphin Friendliness, 100 level, 15 evolution points, 12,000 skills, Sonic Disruption, Intermediate, Absolute Impact, Intermediate. Shared Sight Transmission, 35s, Destiny's Horn, Stun Duration, 4s, Talent, Deep Dive, 3,100 meters. Note, Absolute Impact allows the dolphin to strike with its head, delivering a force equivalent to 3,400 pounds of impact. Sonic Disruption can unleash sound wave attacks within a range of 240 meters, disrupting the actions of anything within that vicinity. Upon reaching level 15, the required evolution points for the next upgrade increased by 1,000 points, totaling 12,000 points, while other required amounts remained relatively unchanged. Yichuan felt a sense of anticipation as Sonic Disruption had now expanded to a range of 240 meters. He wondered if it could affect the SSS-level Cunning Tentacle Octopus. If it could indeed make an impact, it would be quite impressive. Additionally, the stun duration of Destiny's Horn had increased by 1 second. Perhaps this single second could turn the tide in future battles? Upgrade complete for the dolphin. Congratulations, host. Your contracted beast has reached level 15 and received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? The system's voice echoed. Yichuan promptly replied, open it. Opening upgrade gift package, please wait. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 20 Orleans chicken buns, 6 A-grade bananas, and 1 small warship blueprint. The required evolution points had doubled, and correspondingly, the rewards had also increased, which somewhat balanced the equation. Not bad at all. Finally, Yichuan took out 30,000 points and distributed them among the 3 small creatures, coinciding with their gradual growth. He then accessed the information panels for the 3. Name, Albatross level, 15, mature stage, evolution points, 0, 12,000 skills, diving talents, can grasp objects weighing 330 kilograms. Fiery feather arrows, 15 arrows, manned ascension. Talents, diving, fish catching, flying, long-distance navigation. Upgrade complete for the Albatross. Congratulations, host. Your pet has reached level 15 and received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Upgrade complete for the Albatross. Congratulations, host. Your pet has reached level 15 and received an upgrade gift package. Would you like to open it? Yichuan then stated, open all. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 33 wooden planks, 17 stones, and 1 small warship blueprint. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 44 stones, 36 plastics, and 1 large automatic shooter. Congratulations, host. You have received 2,000 growth points, 37 metal sheets, 21 glass, and 1 lucky blind box. The changes in evolution points mirrored those of the dolphin, yet a lucky blind box had also appeared. At this moment, Yichuan felt that the blind box might yield a double enhancement, akin to the last time, though he remained uncertain. Nevertheless, to validate his hypothesis, he promptly chose to open the blind box. Blind box opening. Congratulations, host. You have received the giant ape armor. Yichuan was taken aback. Even if it wasn't a double enhancement, what was this giant ape armor? A battle suit meant for the Bu clan's giant apes? Upon further examination, he discovered that donning this armor would enable the wearer to exert 150% of their combat power. He pondered the potential elevation for the current A-grade Bu clan giant ape. With this thought in mind, he called out loudly, Old Bu. A few minutes later, the Bu clan giant ape emerged slowly from the woods, regarding Yichuan with a puzzled expression. Yichuan grinned and tossed the armor to Old Bu, declaring, this battle suit is specially crafted for you. Once you wear it, your combat strength will increase significantly. Care to give it a try? The previously dull glimmer in Old Bu's eyes brightened immediately upon hearing this, and without hesitation, he approached and donned the armor. Yichuan was now convinced that this was indeed a gift from the system tailored for the Bu clan giant ape. It fit perfectly and even possessed an almost invisible quality, making it appear as if it had vanished. Moreover, in Old Bu's hand materialized a nearly 2-meter-long bone, considerably thicker than a human thigh bone. Was this the weapon that accompanied the giant ape armor? Old Bu, you're impressive, Yichuan exclaimed, giving a thumbs up and laughing heartily. What level of combat power do you think you can achieve now? Old Bu merely stood still, glancing around as if there were no targets to attack. In response, Yichuan swiftly fashioned a solid cubic meter block from metal sheets. Gripping the large bone, Old Bu struck the cube with considerable force. The point of impact immediately caved in, transforming into a thin layer of iron, resembling 2 metal blocks at first glance. However, this demonstrated the formidable strength of the bone weapon. While it might not surpass his great sword, it was undoubtedly sufficient to contend with formidable foes. Handing Old Bu a gourd of 100 flowers wine, Yichuan laughed. Old Bu, you should head to the warehouse for the night. Our forest is on the brink of another evolution. Tomorrow, we shall battle together. Old Bu seemed oblivious to Yichuan's words. Upon seeing the wine, his eyes brightened. And without a word, he made his way directly to the warehouse. Hey, not even a word. That's quite disrespectful. Watching Old Bu's retreating figure, Yichuan couldn't help but feel a bit speechless, yet he dismissed it. After all, it was understandable for a primate to lack manners. As night fell, Saturday prepared the food. After distributing among the 6 individuals, Yichuan summoned the Bu clan's gigantic ape, and together they indulged in drinking and feasting in the courtyard, reveling in the moment. However, Friday cast a dubious glance towards the sky. Chuangu, do you see that flickering object up there? Is it an aircraft or merely a bird? Yichuan paused, immediately lifting his gaze to the heavens. Indeed, at an altitude of over 100 meters, a faint light was slowly pulsating. What on earth is that? Yichuan furrowed his brow. It didn't resemble an aircraft. Even if an aircraft were to flicker, it would not do so erratically. Friday rested his chin in contemplation. It seems as though it might be the eyes of some creature glowing. They blink intermittently, almost as if they are flickering. Yichuan expressed his skepticism. It appears quite large. Currently, it is 132 meters away. With an estimated body length of around 16 to 17 meters, Friday nodded. Do you see those faint glimmers behind it? They appear to be its claws. Claws that are also sharp. Yichuan's expression shifted. He recalled the considerable effort expended to eliminate the previous B-grade aerial creature. And now another one had appeared. Could it be an A-grade or perhaps even a B-grade aerial entity? Contemplating this, Yichuan instructed in a hushed tone, Saturday, ascend the small mountain now, and simultaneously control the large artillery and the super aerial crossbow for an attack, if necessary. Understood, Chuan Gu, Saturday replied, promptly climbing towards the small mountain. Friday, while you melt the blue steel essence, keep an eye on the situation on land. If it approaches the island, you must launch an immediate attack, Yichuan declared, tossing a tang knife crafted from spider steps to Friday. He then called upon the Bu clan's giant ape and leaped onto the backs of the three small ones, swiftly ascending into the sky. This left Friday feeling somewhat aggrieved. You want the horse to run but not allow it to graze, Chuan Gu. Am I indebted to you? However, the Bu clan's giant ape was far too heavy, and the albatross could not possibly bear its weight. After some deliberation, Yichuan opted to leave the giant ape on the island as a lookout, replacing it with Friday, which only added to Friday's bewilderment. What a grand spectacle. Must I really be summoned for this? The giant ape is nearly A-grade, even bordering on S-grade in terrestrial classification. Isn't that sufficient to handle that large bird? Nonetheless, the two ascended into the sky. As they drew nearer to the avian creature, Yichuan finally discerned its true form, a staggering 17 to 18 meters in length. Its entire body a pale yellow, though its face appeared somewhat flat and unappealing. Curiously, the system unexpectedly provided information about this aerial creature. Ghoul-faced owl, A-grade aerial entity. Peak adult form, measuring 19 meters in length, inherently savage, with feathers that can serve as weapons, and sharp claws. Dangerous. Goodness, dangerous. It seems that even the S-grade sea dragon and the SS-grade shadow leopard I encountered previously were not labeled as dangerous by the system. In the absence of a bearer, Wang Yun initiated the assault. However, the ghost-faced owl merely fluttered its wings, generating a formidable current that enveloped its vicinity, rendering Wang Yun unable to advance even within a meter of the creature. Although the three little ones were classified as S-rank pets, their relatively low level and their maturity stage posed a challenge against a fully grown specimen at its peak. It was quite perplexing that Wang Yun could not even breach the 1-meter threshold of this being. At that moment, the ghost-faced owl unleashed a volley of over a dozen feathered arrows towards Wang Yun. Swift as lightning, Wang Yun attempted to evade, twisting away, but the next instant, he plummeted towards the island, leaving one to wonder if he had been struck or if something else had gone awry. Frustration etched on his face. Yichuan furrowed his brow. No wonder the system deemed it dangerous. With such prowess, it likely rivaled the sea serpent. Friday, Yichuan shouted. Instantly, Wang Fu soared into the sky, followed by Friday descending from above, crashing forcefully into the ghost-faced owl. The owl recoiled, suspended mid-air, as it flapped its wings, shooting several arrows towards Friday. Yet, as a specialized metallic robot, Friday was impervious to the arrows, and the tremendous force unleashed at that moment easily penetrated the owl's defensive perimeter. The ghost-faced owl screeched, its sharp claws lunging ferociously at the incoming Friday. Under the moonlight, Friday felt the razor-like talons and, with a swift motion, wielded his tang dao to intercept, striking the claws directly. Sparks flew as the blade met the talons, the two adversaries barely exchanging glances before one claw's sharp tip was severed. As Friday descended, Wang Fu nimbly caught him once more. This provoked the ghost-faced owl, its ferocity escalating as it issued a piercing cry, launching its arrows in all directions. Yichuan scoffed, firing a barrage from his sand eagle. After fending off several arrows, 2 bullets struck the owl, causing its feathers to close and deflect the projectiles. Incredulity washed over Yichuan as he witnessed the owl's astonishing defensive capabilities. On the island, Saturday seemed to have observed the ghost-faced owl's formidable defense, unleashing a large cannon that fired with terrifying force, yet the assault was utterly repelled. Yichuan was momentarily taken aback, astounded by the creature's seemingly invincible plumage. Wang Fu executed a swift maneuver, carrying Yichuan upwards, leaping from over 20 meters above the ghost-faced owl, ready to replicate Wang Fu's earlier actions. Having learned from previous experiences, the spectral owl displayed newfound wisdom, swiftly evading danger by assuming a prone position. unleashing a flurry of arrows into the sky as if they were mere trifles. Cursed be the circumstances. Yi Chuan, undeterred, charged forth with reckless abandon. His physical resilience was formidable, augmented by a remarkably protective shirt, which absorbed the arrow's impact as mere pinpricks, while his longsword shielded him from any other assaults. The 20-meter distance was swiftly traversed. However, recalling the earlier encounter with Friday, the spectral owl had no desire to confront Yi Chuan directly and attempted to flee in another direction. Yet, in that fleeting moment, it was startled to find Friday nearby, the Tang sword descending once more, causing the owl to instinctively retract its neck. Merely a second's delay enabled Yi Chuan to